ABC Sport.
We begin this broadcast by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which this match will be played today and pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. We extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples listening.
And the moment of truth has arrived.
If you think you have anything other than a split second in this game right now, you're kidding yourself.
It's all to play for. Every single bloke has stood up.
They are leaving nothing out there. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else on earth.
Welcome to ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL Premiership season.
From 55, side bottom, launches, goal! The Crazy boys are on top of the AFL world. They win a spellbinding game of footy. Collingwood are practice.
This is ABC Sport.
The umpire holds the footy up.
You want your very best players having the ball in the moments that matter.
Take your moment. This is that moment.
Listen to the roar.
The pressure's certainly gone up. Punches the air with the right hand. That's why we love football.
Brilliant to watch. Stand by. The arms are outstretched as he pumps his chest out.
Fill your lungs, are you ready for it?
Wherever you are, do not move.
We're going the full journey.
'Cause here it comes. This is the 2024 AFL Premiership season.
From outside 50, goes bang with everything he's got.
Former bad boy looking to redeem himself with kicks like that.
One step nonchalant banana finish. Wow. Charlie Cameron snaps. Goal. Hey Siri, play John Denmark.
AFL.
From deep in the pocket. Oh, that is amazing.
Fill your lungs, are you ready for it?
This guy wants to add home on the biggest stage.
And Gordon can finish from 35. Oh, Errol.
It's there.
Superb finish.
What a hanger. He joins the party. Whacks through the goal. Oh, what a moment.
Brilliant, wasn't it?
There's nothing this man can't do. Rioli with some magic. The check side finish. He seizes the moment.
Stolen, snapped it over his shoulder. He's kicked an absolute ripper.
Spins around and buries it.
Lightning speed, Bobby Hill. He's Bobby Thrill.
This is just football at its best.
Weaves around an opponent and gets a brilliant goal. Gathers, snaps, he'll bring the house down. Time to steady and pull the trigger. Right foot drop punt is pure. We're not done yet.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season on radio, Sport Digital, and take us with you on the ABC Listen app. Just look for the AFL button. Something big is coming, I know.
Hello and welcome to the MCG in Melbourne for the King's Birthday Round 13 clash between Collingwood and Melbourne. Once upon a time, this was just a feature match on a public holiday, but Neil Danaher has turned it into a day of inspiration. He had a vision of country footy raffles, a meat tray, and maybe sell some bandanas. It has become far bigger than even he could imagine. An occasion which brings in the best both on-field and off-field, and it is far more significant than just the 4 points. Since being diagnosed with motor neuron disease in 2013, Neil has dedicated himself to fighting this devastating illness, the beast as he refers to it. And there is no cure. Through his leadership, his determination and his inspiration, he has spearheaded the Fight MND campaign, he's raising millions of dollars for research and support. He's become the outlier through all expectations, and while he has lost his ability to speak, to quote the man, at the end of the day, it's more said than is done. So he's fronting up while his family takes the reins and speaks on his behalf. Hi everyone, Matt Clinch with you for ABC Sport. It's the heartwarming tradition of King's Birthday Clash. The MCG in all its glory. We had 88,000 at the MCG last night. What a big 48 hours it has become. And how lucky are we that Neil is still with us. There's no late changes for each side today, so Jack Bytel and Jack Billings will be the sub. And the MCG, well, it's a cool day. The sun is poking through and is the perfect stage. Ben Cameron to call the action alongside me. Welcome, Ben.
Hello, Clinchy. It's great to be here, and this is a great cathedral to football, and today all of the parishioners are here at the altar of Neil Danaher, as you made mention of in that opener. I mean, this year, this day has become so sacred, through to a 10th year, fighting the beast, as you mentioned, and that's before we even get to the football, which Melbourne are coming off their heaviest defeat under Simon Goodwin, 92 points at the hands of Fremantle. We've got what happened in the qualifying final last year, Braden Maynard concussing Angus Brayshaw, and we didn't see him again thereafter. And let's not forget Stephen May at the Bluey Truscott medal, where he said, we're a better team than them. We should have smoked them. just to add a little bit of fuel to the fire. So there is so much in today, Clinchy.
There's just a little bit to work through in the lead up to the match, isn't there? And that's before we focus in on the on-field. The sliders are taking place under the big screen at the city end of the MCG, so we'll bring you that in just a moment. And as always, we'd love to hear from you. Share the day with us wherever you are on this public holiday in so many states. 0437 774 774. Essendon Premiership player, now he's manager to the Stars. Adam Ramanauskas is with you once more. Rama, the legacy is, as we look out on the MCG, the blue beanies from our spot on level 3. I mean, what a legacy Neil has left.
Yeah, good afternoon to everybody. No doubt, it's just there's so many of those blue beanies, and we're about halfway through the sliders at the moment, and I just think sometimes football does take a back seat, and it certainly does today with the legacy that Neil is leaving, and also what his family is doing to help fight MMD. I lucky enough to work with Ben Danaher in what I do Monday to Friday, and speaking to Ben and just about his dad and how he's continually fighting and fighting to find a cure is just quite inspirational.
What about the Danaher brothers last night?
Yeah, it was great, wasn't it? Yeah.
Carlton and Essendon, such a big occasion, but it felt like there was an opportunity there to try and capitalise on the fact that it's a public holiday next day, and I don't know, but that feels like a no-brainer to keep that tradition going.
Yeah, I know. Look, 88,000, I think it speaks for itself. Teams, they find these windows, and two big clubs, particularly when they're going pretty well, come together. There's always going to be a big crowd. It was a sensational night for football at the MCG. I think that fixture now, Essendon and Carlton have probably made their own. It's a bit similar to Richmond and Melbourne on Anzac Day Eve. I think that they've made that fixture their own now. So, yeah, and look, today it's the 10th game in the fight for MND, but also, this game now has been going for a long time. It was the Queen's birthday. Now it's obviously the King's birthday, and there should be a great crowd because it should be a really good game of football. I think Benny summed it up really well. There are a couple of little subplots to this game, I think, which will be interesting to see how they play out. To Melbourne go after Braden Maynard. I personally think Braden Maynard would embrace something like that. It's just the type of character he is. But they were really ordinary last week. Really, really ordinary Melbourne Lane. It's very, very rare you say that about a Simon Goodwin coach team because they're so structured and clinical the way they play the game, but they were just dismantled by Fremantle.
Yeah, we'll head inside the Melbourne camp with Alan Richardson, their GM of footy, with Lauren Borden, and we'll also hear from Beth Danaher, Neil's daughter, in the lead up to today. Now, you're here to come here early, Rama, which is good on your behalf, so your task is to critique each of the sliders, which I know you're very passionate about. The theme is rock stars this year, but sitting alongside you in the experts chair, he's one of our favourites, the North Melbourne champ, the game records holder. He is a rock star. He's been down the slide himself, so can tell us what it's all about, and he's back from Perth with the 4 points for the Kangas. Welcome to Brent Harvey.
So I was just saying off air, I reckon we're a sneaky chance to make the finals, the Kangas, if we win our next 9 in a row. Percentage will play a part, I know, but no, it was actually great to be over there to Perth on the weekend. I had no official duties in terms of the football part of it. I caught up with some ex-players and took them to football.
Your official duties was having a drink with them.
Yeah, I had a couple of beers with the ex-players and past players.
I don't know if you know this, but the camera found you during that last quarter.
My phone did start blowing up with some photos, and I didn't know you were over in Perth and all that sort of stuff. And then there was one where I was gesturing. It looked like maybe something on the field, but I can't remember doing it, Benny. And that was only after 3 beers, so it wasn't in the last quarter, I don't think.
You were giving the Marlon Pickett.
Yeah. Oh, I thought it was a bit much you going down and singing the song with the boys.
Yeah, I shouldn't have done that. Yeah, I shouldn't have done that, should have I?
No.
Yeah, I couldn't get down there quick enough. I missed the song, actually. I did go down the rooms and took the past players down there, but I did unfortunately miss the song, which would have been nice to hear.
You know what I always find interesting, Boomer, when past players go into the rooms, the current players don't necessarily know who they are. Like when you and I played, and we sort of a similar-ish time when we play, I knew every past player.
Yep.
Because that's what it was back then. You watched football, I knew the history of football, I understood all that, but now the current modern day players, they just don't know who many of them are.
Yeah, and I think they know the top echelon of players, but I took some boys in there from Perth that only played a handful of games and stuff like that, but that you're spot on, Rammer, and it's funny because there's more football on TV now. Yes. They probably should remember who the players are.
You'd hope they know the game's record holder. Like, that might be a good starting point.
I work at the club, Benny, and I've been working with these boys, so I reckon they might know.
He has got the chain around his neck as well.
But
So how big was it for the Kangas, Boomer? Obviously,
Yeah, it was
the
good.
debate around whether they win a game all season and the pressure that was coming on Alistair Clarkson, but to see them finally get that breakthrough win, how uplifting was it as a former great?
yeah, and I've seen how hard they've worked, and it looks. I know the supporters are not happy at the minute. We've only won one game, but before that we hadn't won a game, and it was just we're searching for that one win. It's been a big couple of years, not only for us, like Alistair Clarkson stepping away last year, the boys coming in. We've got abundance of young kids. I think that was George Wardlaw's first win in
It's about 4 players that played their first win, yeah.
And so it was unbelievable just for them to taste that success, see the elation on their faces after the game, the arms go up. It was a good feeling for all the supporters, I'm sure, but a better feeling for the players. And just to get that one win, they know what they need to do now. And it was a good build-up. West Coast didn't have their greatest team in. Well, it did help that they kicked 2 goals 16 at one stage as well. A little bit of controversial over the Elliot Yeo free kick, as there was in other games, late in games as well. So I'm sure that will be a talking point all week.
I think the challenge there for North is, okay, what worked in that game of football, and then you try to take that forward now into the remainder of the season. So, you know, if it was uncontested football, contested football, clearance, or whatever it was, you know, okay, how do we make sure that we win that category every single week? So you start to build your identity, and you go, well, yep, one win's great, and it should be celebrated and highlighted, but it's one win.
Yep.
It's one game of football, and if they want to, I know Boomer will agree, if they want to climb up the ladder, that can't be accepted as, you know, we've got the win now, everything's okay. We've got to try and build to 5 wins by the end of the season.
You're spot on, and you can't win 2 games without winning one, Rama. So we've got our first one on the board, which is fantastic. But those little wins of what we've been searching for so long now, and you're right, and I'm sure the coaches will break it down, whether it's contested or uncontested or time in possession or whatever it is that they want to focus on. Keep winning those little battles, and hopefully the scoreboard at the end of the day is in your favour more often than not.
There's a couple of elements that I think will be handy from a coaching point of view. The game of Jai Simpkin.
Yep.
The tackling and the pressure of Cam Zurha. Nick Larkey, we know he's a star. So it gives at least Alistair Clarkson a couple of areas he can build on the week to week.
Yeah, and I think the flashes of individual brilliance has been there for North Melbourne, even though they've lost a lot of games. Like, you know, the players that you mentioned there have been reasonably consistent individually, but it's becoming consistent as the collective. And that's where, you know, North Melbourne can have a good 20 minutes, but then the other, you know, 100 minutes of the game that you've got to compete and play, you drop away. So the individual can only do so much. It's the collective that has to do it, and that's where North Melbourne have got an abundance of talent, as Boomer mentioned, but it's bringing an abundance of talent together. High draft picks because they're ultra-talented individuals.
Yeah. And then there's the system that you've got to play within, and all that sort of stuff. So Rama's 100% right. It's bringing all that talent together, playing Alistair Clarkson's system, and hopefully we play some better football going forward.
Brent Harvey, Adam Ramanauskas, Matt Clinch and Ben Cameron, your call team for Monday footy with Lauren Borden down on the boundary. So just a quick overarching thought on today. Who's it more significant for? I think we're all curious to see what the Melbourne response is.
Melbourne.
And Collingwood are sort of just keeping it all together, trying to get the reinforcements to come back in. And both these sides have slid out the 8, so needing to just try and get a couple of wins just to hold their ground.
Oh, I think certainly Melbourne. Collingwood, yeah, they're a little bit beaten up at the moment with injury and who's available, particularly in that forward line. But Melbourne, that was probably the worst performance that I've seen under a Simon Goodwin coach Melbourne team in a long. I can't remember a poorer performance than that. So, and as I mentioned off the top, they're such a system structured based team, and you know, they were picked apart by Fremantle last week.
Have they changed their style? Sorry, Boomer.
That's all right.
Like, there's suggestions that they've gone away from their contest work at the coalface, making it a contest-based game to more ball movement style, which doesn't suit them as well.
If you look from afar, yes. Whether that's the case or not, I'm not too sure. But their winning ability to win that contested football is their one wood. That's what they need to get back to, and that starts from the middle with Viney, Petrarca, Oliver, Gawn, these type of guys. So yes, so the short answer to that, Benny, is yes. It looks like they've gone away from it, and I would like to think that they're going to get back to it. And the reason why it's more significant for Melbourne to win today, Rama, is because if Collingwood lose, I think people will say Yeah, they got 6, 7, 8 players out, nearly their whole forward line. If this Collingwood team beats Melbourne after last week's performance, well, I think it's more on the line for Melbourne today. And
I say this with some trepidation, given what you've said about North, and you are North Melbourne royalty. But by virtue of the buys, both of these teams actually play North Melbourne in their next game. So the winner will have a chance to put two together and try and solidify their spot in the 8, with the winner likely to move in anyway. So there is a real opportunity in front of the winner today.
On the SMS, 0437 774 774. Peter's been in touch from Oak Park in Victoria. My mate Tim lost his fight against MMD a couple of years ago. Neil Danaher is a legend and his work is inspirational. Go the Blue Baggers, 0437 774 774. Adam Ramanauskas has very generously agreed to take on additional responsibility. He'll give a 3, 2 and 1 for the ABC Footballer of the Year as the best sliders. Jack Riewoldt has just gone down. I assume he's Elvis?
No, the Killer. The Killer's front man.
Of course.
Yes.
It did seem rather obvious that he would go the Killer's front man, but just as a taste, so Nick Naitanui has gone down as the Jamaican bobsled.
That's an early. That's I like that one. And at the end kissed the lucky egg as well. So
Rama and Ben were very worried there wasn't an egg, but he produced that at the end. James Brayshaw has gone down as Axl Rose for Guns N' Roses. Joel Selwood as Robbie Williams in all his glory in the bright pink suit in which he wore on Grand Final day. Sally Pearson as Madonna. The former Australian captain Meg Lanning as Tina Turner. And swimmer Mac Horton as
Peter Garrett. That wasn't bad. He did the sort of when he got up out of the ice. Mac Horton did the famous Peter Garrett dance. So not bad.
Who would you go as if you had to go as a rock star?
Oh, that's a good question.
Oh, gee whiz.
Oh, I've just thought of one now, and it's because I'm peering across at their stand opposite to me. I think SK Warren was a fair old rock star in his own way.
A different rock star, I like it.
Look, my favourite band is Red Hot Chili Peppers, so maybe Flea with the guitar, maybe something like that. He was pretty out there, Flea, with what he wore.
What about you, Boomer? Who did you go down as?
I went down as a little Oz kicker, but there was no theme.
Right,
there was no theme back there. I actually liked the theme part
himself.
of it. Yeah, little Oz kicker, little helmet, and it was good.
He was a little boomer, living up to his name.
That's exactly what it was. That's why we went for it. Maybe Angry Anderson.
So
in the Batmobile. Get the slide set up as the Batmobile.
That would have been actually good.
Just give our listeners, Boomer, what it's like to be a part of. Like, it's such a big day, but to be one of the sliders and to have some insights into the Danaher family and to see Neil and his current state. He is the outlier. The average life expectancy when you're diagnosed with MND is around 27 months, and to think that he is still standing 10 years on. What's it like to be a part of something that's so much bigger?
Well, that's amazing there, isn't it? And the legacy that he's going to leave is going to be phenomenal. Rama touched on it before. This is a great venue to have something like this, and then to have the football part of it and bring everybody together is a bit of a cherry on top for me. But the day that I was involved, it was obviously a huge honour to even be asked to do something like that and be involved. You go back down into the rooms, you're with all the other sliders, you're getting photos, you're meeting a few people, and it was I think the honour in itself just to be asked to participate in the day was very humbling. And it's look, the money he's raised is one thing, but I think the legacy that he's going to leave is going to be even bigger than that.
We're very fortunate. Ian Cohen is part of our commentary team in both the AFL and the NRL on ABC Sport. He made sure that Beck Danaher only spoke with us in terms of radio interviews today. They are doing so much, the Danaher family, on all fronts. And before the sliders went down, our own Lauren Borden got to catch up with Beck Danaher.
It's so lovely to be down by the slide next to Beck Danaher. The sun's shining. It's probably a little bit of a false warmth maybe for the sliders, but what's the anticipation like in the Danaher family for today?
Oh, we're so excited about seeing these sliders go down into this pool. There's about a ton of ice in there. It is absolutely freezing, but I think I'm most excited about their costumes are looking so sharp, so they will be rocking that stage soon.
No, I do like the rockstar theme. It's nice to maybe get a little bit of a hint of what is going to be coming down to the slide. But can you just take me back to 10 years ago and what some of your really early memories are of the first Big Freeze?
Some of my earliest memories about the Big Freeze was actually packing the beanies at 2 a.m. around the family kitchen table. We started just from such humble beginnings. It was all about trying to tell people about this beast of a disease, and we knew if the Australian community knew about it, they'll get behind us, but we could never consider 10 years on to see the nation turn blue. It just provides us with such hope for the future.
And there was a really lovely moment on the MCG last night with all 4 brothers out there. You could just see the joy on their faces. What were the reflections that you got from your uncles and your dad after that?
Well, I guess they didn't think this would be a moment they would be having. Dad got told 27 months to live, and that was back in 2013. So when we have these opportunities to come together as a family, they're just even more special for us. So seeing their smiles out on the G, you know, Essendon's being such an important part of like the fabric of the Danahers. And now we're looking forward to taking it one step further at the G between the Ds and the Pies. It's exciting times.
And today is that day where MND is in the spotlight and everyone learns a little bit more about it. But what's it like for yourself as a family? This is your life day in, day out. And how do you have the resilience that we see?
Well, Dad lives by a motto, which is when all is said and done, more is said than done. The mark of a person is not what you say, it's what you do. And if Dad can have that viewpoint, if Dad can wake up every single day and keep fighting, then what can I am there, I'm going to back him every single day. So it's days like this where we see a tangible show of the support the Australian community has for it. I'm just inspired every day by Dad. The resilience he shows, I'm just so blessed that he's here, and we are having a lot of fun whilst we raise awareness and funds for this to beat the beast.
And you've got a big job now. You've got to pump up the sliders before they go down. Can you just give us a little insight on what your message might be?
Oh, well, Dad, you know, he's renowned for his inspirational statements. So the sliders are very nervous. There's a lot of nerves, but they will rise to the occasion, and we're going to have a lot of fun in the next hour.
Thanks for your time, Beck. Really appreciate you jumping on with us on ABC Sport.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Beck Danaher alongside Lauren Borden down on the boundary, who'll be with us throughout the call. Matt Clinch and Ben Cameron to call the action. Adam Ramanaskas and Brent Harvey are your experts on ABC Sport. And yes, the image of the family packing up the beanies at 2 a.m. to send them out as to where it started and where it's finished, that's now available in hardware shops, in supermarkets. Apparently Neil's original idea that he thought bandanas would be a better look, and the family overruled him. And to think that he said at the very start of this journey, I'm going to be a tough bugger to kill, and he is still there. The final of the sliders is going down, Adam Ramanaskas, and it is the tennis legend, Pat Rafter.
Yeah, as Angus Young from ACDC. So, Brian Johnson?
Yeah. So, Beck is there providing the push as Neil is sitting in the chair alongside her, and he's got the black chesty blondes and the hat and the curly hair coming out the back. So, he might be a contender for Ramas.
Yeah, not bad.
He's still in good nick, isn't he, Pat? Looks like he could get out on court today and hit a few forehand volleys. Looks very fit.
On the circuit, you reckon, Benny? Getting back in.
Well, he had a coach, he was saying in one of his interviews, who has suffered from MND, so was really keen to get involved in this as a national campaign and try and continue to grow awareness and find a cure for it. So Pat Rafter, like so many international sports stars who have heard about this and keen to play their part, to be here at the MCG in front of a crowd that we think is going to be somewhere sort of around 80 to 90,000 this afternoon, and the scene set ahead of what's going to be a big match between Collingwood and the Demons. So Ramas 3-2-1 in the big freeze still to come, but you're looking at it, yeah?
Yeah, I'm just looking. Just give me a minute.
Normally he looks at the stats, Boomer, and wants a bit more time.
Yeah. Or handballs when it gets too hard for you. Yeah. But I won't be doing that today.
So give me your take, Boomer, on the Blues and the Bombers last night. Carlton sort of solidified their spot that maybe they're the next best of the chasing pack. 2 games behind Sydney. They get 2 points clear of the Bombers and a game clear of Port Adelaide and Geelong. But Carlton feel like they have a gear that they can go to, which other sides might not be able to keep up with them. And it's the versatility of roles which was impressive last night.
Yeah, it certainly is, and they did look the better of the two teams last night. The biggest thing that I noticed from Carlton, and it wasn't really ball in hand, it was the front on pressure. I'm not sure the stat, and I couldn't find it last night on smothers, but it felt like they had a lot of smothers, which means that they're pressing forward and putting the opposition under enormous pressure. That's without ball in hand, Clinchy. So when you've got ball in hand and they've got so many options now, they look a different team with Sard back. He's run and drive off half back. Their key pillars up forward. They're Walsh and Cripps through the middle. They just got role players, Wiedering down back, and then the rest just slot into those positions around them. I think they're a really even balanced team now, which I've never thought that of Carlton Rammer before. No. They've had their big guys, but they haven't had much around them. And I just feel now certain players are playing roles within the team, and they just
They're accepting of it.
They look balanced over the whole field. There's no weak line in their team now. You probably say, their backs weren't fantastic, but they are now.
I think once a player realises they can have a long career by being a role player,
yeah.
And that's where a team sort of forms. And if you look at like Chincotta over the last couple of weeks, he's played a terrific role. Nick Newman, just playing a terrific role. Matt Owies, I think he's nearly kicked 20 goals for the season now. So, there's plenty of role players at Carlton that are just happy to do that role, be happy with it, go out there every week, be a chance to win a football game, and that makes for a happy club. But what I've picked up with Carlton, particularly this season, is their efficiency with ball in hand and when they can create turnover. Last year, they were a beast of a team around contest and clearance. But this year, it's more been about, if we win the ball back, we can go quickly the other way and we can score. Like Essendon had 60 inside 50s last night, so they had 20 more within that game. But I just thought when Carlton did move the ball from one end to the ground to the other, Essendon couldn't defend it.
And that's a great point. 40 inside 50s to 60. Yeah. They win the game pretty convincingly. You're right, Ramo, and we go back to those role players in Boyd, Cowan, Kemp now. They just play their role. They get the job done. The job on merit last night,
Chincotta.
By Chincotta.
Which was an interesting role because Elijah Hewitt kind of took him at the stoppages and then Chincotta picked him up outside of...
Well, that was on purpose because Merritt's running power is underrated.
Yep.
And I don't think they thought Hewitt could go with him there, so it was Chincotta come up to him, then just run with him.
And then he kicks a couple of goals in the last quarter.
Right.
Clearly Michael Boss is saying, righto, Jack Martin hasn't been there. What can we do? Zach Williams goes forward and... Tom De Koning, he could be...
He looked good last
night. The next generation standout ruckman if he can do that consistently.
And Todd Goldstein's been a good player this year.
He played well.
He's been a good player. And
he played well, but De Koning played better.
He played a lot better. And so does Pitney get back into the team on the back of that? I don't think so.
They seem to look better with just the one ruck, don't they?
If you can play like that, they certainly look better.
He had 11 clearances last night.
I think... Prior to that, Carlton were concerned, can he ruck for an entire game?
Yeah.
Is his body capable of doing that? Because they know they've got a prestigious commodity in De Koning and what they do with him. But it's like, can we afford to leave him in the ruck the whole game?
And then the issue is, I think, when they do have just De Koning, is they don't really want Cripps, being the navy blue chipper that he is, having to ruck, and you see Kennedy do it, Harry Mackay goes up there, so just how it all balances out, I think.
So the Blues haven't been, at this stage, in a top 2 position on the ladder for 23 years.
Wow.
Can they win the flag?
Certainly. Yeah, I actually think there's probably 6 teams that can win it on any given day. Look, Sydney clearly look the best at the moment, but I think the best of a few other teams is good enough to win. Geelong yesterday, it's a 6-0 start. So, Sydney run them down, and it's a 60-point turnaround in that game. But it just shows Geelong's best is capable of beating Sydney.
I totally agree. I think there's 5 maybe teams that can win the flag. Now, they do have to play some good football to get there, and Carlton's certainly one of them. We've seen that consistently from Carlton. Geelong's been a team, but they've dropped off a little bit. The Giants, obviously, through injury, have dropped off a little bit as well.
Yeah, looked unbeatable.
They looked the best team in the competition the first 6 weeks. Personnel, injuries comes into it, obviously. Kelly being a big factor in that.
I think the black and white team that we're going to see today,
once they get all their players back
on their best day, they're certainly good enough.
And Melbourne, we don't have to go back to last week because I think that was just one out of the box. But Melbourne on their day, if they get everything together, they can beat any team in the competition quite convincingly.
That's the curiosity of this season, isn't it? The Bombers have now lost their last 2. Brad Scott said, we planned well, we didn't execute. They're the big improvers of 2024, but there's a bit of work to be done.
There's work to be done. They needed to win one of the last 2, and they sort of failed that.
They were in the top 8 until round 18 last year. The wheels fell off, so everyone's sort of waiting to see whether we see that again this year.
They need Parrish back into that midfield.
Yeah, they certainly do. And Redmond was Redmond's a huge house. So they've got some, they're 2 really A-grade players. Yeah. They're 2 A-grade players and super important to Essendon. So you add them in, the whole game looks a little bit different. Does Merritt have to go out and get 35 possessions? And I thought Carlton were well coached last night. I love the tagger coming back a little bit into the game. Now Merritt still had 21 touches.
Is that hard for you to say, Boomer?
A little bit, yeah. But
You didn't catch up with Krause for dinner in Perth?
You had your moments, Boomer.
I miss Crowley in Perth, sorry.
I've got a question around taggers for Nick Takos this afternoon. We'll get Boomer's thoughts on that. Great to have your company on King's Birthday Footy on ABC Sport. It's Collingwood and Melbourne. Brent Harvey, Adam Ramanauskas, Matt Clinch, Ben Cameron and Lauren Borden with you for Monday Footy.
It's the most magical time of the year, right? Footy season. This season, you can get your footy live and ad-free on the ABC Listen app. Unbelievable. AFL, NRL, men's, women's. Whatever you fix, we've got you covered.
If he does, he bounces it through.
Every goal, try, mark and tackle. Called by ABC Sports expert commentary team.
A wonderful goal!
Game, set, bingo.
100% pure footy, live and ad-free on the ABC Listen app. This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL Premiership season.
AFL. On your radio.
On digital. And take us with you on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
It's become a big occasion at the MCG. King's Birthday Footy between Collingwood and Melbourne, but the occasion has become so much bigger with the 10th year of the Big Freeze and Fight MND. The inspiration that is Neil Danaher, having been diagnosed in 2013. He's still playing a pivotal role in trying to fight the cause and find the cure. A big welcome to our listeners joining us for the first time at the MCG. Matt Clinch and Ben Cameron to call the action. Lauren Borden is down on the boundary. Your experts is the North Melbourne champion, the game's record holder, Brent Harvey, and the premiership player for the Bombers, now manager to the Stars, Adam Ramanauskas. There's no late changes for either side, so Jack Billings will be the sub for the Demons, and Jack Bytel for the Magpies. We've had the Sliders make their way down. So the final was Pat Rafter, who I think made a very late claim for Adam Ramanauskas.
Yes, very late. It was Brian Johnson he was, so obviously Johnson of ACDC, and he was good. He got the crowd going.
Aaron Phillips went down as Pink. Nick Natnui went down as the Jamaican bobsled, who had
This is tough. Well, I'm ready, though.
Had the egg at the end. James Brayshaw was Axl Rose from Guns N' Roses.
Did they all have the music? Because I only heard...
Yeah, no, they had the music.
Oh, they did. I only heard the ACDC
I'm going to preface this. I like a bit of theatrics.
Yeah.
You like a performance?
Yeah, I like a little... I needed something.
Rafter was in character, wasn't he?
Rafter was right. So he's in. He's in.
Just let me continue to roll down the candidates. Joel Selwood went as Robbie Williams in his bright pink costume, or suit, in which he wore on grand final day. Sally Pearson, the champion hurdler, went as Madonna. Meg Lanning, the Australian cricket captain, went as Tina Turner. Jack Riewoldt, who is no sort of shrieking violet when it comes to big stages and embracing the crowd, having sung the Killers once upon a time when they won a premiership. He went, of course, as Brandon Flowers of the Killers, and Matt Horton, the swimmer, went as Peter Garrett. So the 3, 2 and 1 in the ABC Footballer of the Year for the best dressed slider and best on-field presence.
An apology to Nick Nat, but he's missed the break.
I couldn't believe that.
Well, he actually was wearing a costume that said Buffalo Soldier at the start.
Oh, so you reckon it was Bob Marley?
Well, he was at the start, so I couldn't quite hear what was going
he
on.
had the egg at the end, so he's a Jamaican bobsledder.
Well, initially he was wearing sort of a camouflage cargo suit that said on the back Buffalo Soldier.
Nah, I've disqualified him. I'm sorry. I loved it. I loved the theatrics at the end, kissing the egg, but that's a movie. That's not a rock star.
No.
Well, maybe he was.
I'm going to give one to
Bob Marley.
I'm going to give one to Mac Horton for Peter Garrett. I thought when he got in the water at the end and then he did the famous Peter Garrett down, I love that. Really enjoyed that. 2 to Erin Phillips as Pink. She looked fantastic.
She did. Cut the hair and very much embraced the role.
And really embraced it. 3's, I reckon it's a clear cut. It's Pat Rafter. It's Brian Johnson from ACDC.
Game, set, match,
Rafter. He was in the crowd to start his performance.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
it was reminiscent of Nick Riewoldt when he was Freddie Mercury, wasn't it?
Yeah, not quite to Nick's level, but close. I think Pat and Nick are setting the standard now for future years.
You've got to have a certain element about yourself, don't you?
You've got to be. I was hoping Jack Riewoldt would have been way more out there.
Yeah, run the risk that it might all go be wrong at the expense of being the star of the day.
Was this the first year that there was a theme?
I think so.
I can't remember. I thought the other ones, and certainly one I was involved in, was just do whatever you wanted to type of do. So I really like the theme. I like the theme.
So that's all the build-up to Big Freeze 10 here at the MCG. The King's Birthday Clash, round 13 of the AFL between Melbourne and Collingwood. Just before we knuckle in on the matchup on the two sides, we can head down to ground level, where Lauren Borden with us today is able to catch up with the GM of footy for the Demons, Alan Richardson.
Thanks, Clinchy. I'm down on the boundary line with Melbourne footy boss Alan Richardson pre-game. Thanks for joining us. There's been a lot of attention on the club this week after a 90-plus point loss. Can you just give us an insight into the week and dealing with the spotlight on the club?
Yeah, look, obviously a really disappointing performance, a performance that we weren't proud of. Initially it was to address the game in a really thorough manner. It wasn't a game that we labelled a mulligan and let's move on, because we've had a bit of this, so we've had some ongoing issues, particularly around our contest and defence, something that we take a lot of pride in. So it was really analysing for the players to get a visual, what did it look like, why, and then dig deep into the why, and then probably as importantly, if not more importantly, what are we going to do about it? And that's sort of how the week unfolded, if you like. Here's what happened. Let's talk about the why, and here's what we're going to do about it later in the week.
So at what point do you get to that point where you can say, all right, we're not forgetting about it, but we're actually going to focus on Collingwood now?
Yeah, the guys have the way most clubs have their week structured up is a couple of days. We played over there on the Sunday. They had the Monday off. Tuesday they come in and do their review. And even at the back end of that Tuesday, we're starting to shift towards Collingwood. Wednesday is a pretty significant training day for us. Thursday off. And then we're not even talking about that. Although if there's some learnings out of that we need to refocus on, that becomes part of the way you train. But there won't be any reference to what happened the week before. It'll all be referencing towards Collingwood.
And you mentioned the stoppages there as an area of concern. Is Clayton Oliver's form as well something that you're just looking at to kind of boost him up to what we've seen in previous years? Yeah, no, look, obviously it's well publicised. Clay's had a challenging off-season. It meant that his pre-season was not quite where we needed to be, but I know he's still been doing some pretty good stuff for us, Claz. I know he's not where he wants to be, and we'd like him to take his game to another level. What we've seen on the training track is really positive, and we think it's not far away. His commitment to his footy, his commitment to his team has just been outstanding. So we think his best form's close, and we'd all acknowledge it's not there yet. It's a bit like our team in many ways, but we think he's really close. And you've got Jacob Van Rooyen and Bailey Laurie as ins coming into the side to bolster that forward line a little bit. Does that mean that we'll see Harry Petty going down back? Well, we'll have to wait and see. It'll depend a little bit. No, look, he'll start forward early. But what we did like last week was what Tommy Mack did. Tommy Mack went forward and kicked a couple of goals. That's the beauty of having Tom in the team. He's been in really good form in defence, particularly in the absence of Jake Lever. His ability to be able to mark the ball has been wonderful for us. But no, he's got experience. It doesn't faze him if he has to shift positions. Harry, a bit like Claz, hasn't quite been where we'd like him to be. Once again, we think he's pretty close. His contest work is really good. They're a very strong intercept marking team. I know they've got some injuries, but certainly not in the back half. They're really strong back there, and they start a lot of their attack from the back. And just being able to compete and bring the ball to ground so that Chandler and Cozzy Pickett and Bill Laurie this week can get to work is going to be important, and Harry's a big part of that. Alan Richardson, Melbourne footy boss, joining us on ABC Sport. There is a rivalry between these two clubs. Things have happened on the field and off the field. It's surely got to be an extra driver for players coming out today. I don't know. I can only speak for Melbourne, but given you come off the performance we've come off, you can imagine where our focus has been. It's about making sure that we respond. We were embarrassed. We were disappointed. We need to do something about that performance for ourselves and for our fans. We probably didn't really... It doesn't come into it. Does that mean the players don't think about what happened in a final series in terms of, we had quite a dominant performance. I think we won entry by 20-odd and lose the game, so that's hard to swallow. Clearly there's the Brayshaw stuff that I don't think is in their mind. But look, it's an important game for both clubs. They're 9th, we're 10th. We're both in touch. We're both on positive ledger in terms of win-loss. A really good position to launch if both teams improve, and that's really our focus. And then you have a moment during the week where Neil Danaher comes and speaks to the club, and it probably puts everything into perspective when it comes to football. I saw Jake Lever wrote an article on the club's website saying how it helped his attitude when he first came to the club. But does it help in a way when you have someone like Neil Danaher, who is very much an inspirational person? Oh, definitely. I mean, he's just amazing. He's, what is it? I think motor neuron disease, you're supposed to live for 27 months, or that's the average. And it's now 10 years. So he's an incredible person. He's a fighter, and he's fighting for others. Obviously he's fighting for himself, but his purpose is to make the world a better place for others after he's gone. And so there's a lot of messages for us. We've had Neil speak to us for a long time now, but given the circumstance we find ourselves in, having a really disappointing performance and potentially getting down on, where we sit in the footy landscape, for Neil to come in and give you a bit of context, but really talk about how you can either let things happen or you can do something about it. That's his big message. And so we're all about the doing today. It's not about the talking.
Is it a special day too when you look over and you see the ice and the slide and you maybe think back to when you went down?
No, I'm glad I'm not doing it. That's all I think of. My actual slide was a disappointing one. I was Mark Robinson, and I had it teed up with Kenny Hinkley and Leon Cameron that because it was Robbo, and not too many coaches like Robbo, they were supposed to come over and shove me down the slide in a show of disdain, but they chickened out, so it sort of fell a bit flat, but we know we're doing it for a good cause. Whenever you can help, it's a real honour, and it's amazing what they've done.
A win today would obviously put you in the top 8 as well. Would it be nice just to have that going into the bye?
Oh, no, definitely. Yeah, no, there's no doubt. We're not shying away from that. Clearly our focus is to get our game back on track. That sort of stuff will look after itself. But, yeah, it'd be good to go into the bye with a win. But we know that we have to improve a fair bit based on not just last week's performance. We've been a bit inconsistent, and that's our focus.
Thanks for your time, Alan. Really appreciate it, and good luck today.
Good on you, Lauren. Thank you.
Lauren Borden down on the boundary with the GM of footy at the Demons, Alan Richardson. Matt Clinch and Ben Cameron to call the action. Brent Harvey and Adam Ramanauskas are your experts on ABC Sport. There's no late changes with Jack Bytel and Jack Billings, the subs, this afternoon for the various sides. As you can hear in the background, Melbourne and Collingwood have made their way out onto the MCG. And now the full game preview with Rama and Boomer. Boomer, the Melbourne response. We heard from Alan Richardson there. We started by analysing what's happened and then worked out what are we going to do about it. Yeah. What response are you expecting today?
Well, when I was listening to Alan talk, I was just having some numbers. So last week against Fremantle, Melbourne were minus 80 in disposals, minus 42 in contested possessions, minus 25 in clearances, minus 29 in inside 50s. But the big one, Rama, for me, when you've got the ball in hand, you can't tackle. They've had an extra tackle, Fremantle and Melbourne last week as well. So that's the big one that stands out. Now, we probably don't need to talk too much about Melbourne's performance last week because our listeners will probably turn off, change the station. So we will see a response. And I like what Benny said before around getting back to that contested game. I'm sure that Petrarca, I'm sure that Oliver, and I'm 100% sure that Max Gawn and these type of guys certainly won't put up a performance like that or won't let everybody else put up a performance like that, because those three guys in particular, they come to the party every single week. We know what we're going to get. It's time for the other guys to jump on board. Sorry, Jack Finey, I should add in there as well. So I think we're going to see much more desperate Melbourne today, and if we see that, the clearances are going to change, the contested football is going to change, and it's going to be a really good game.
Yeah, well, I'm interested to see how Collingwood set up this forward line. So the names out of that forward line are many, so it's really, really tricky to get a forward line that they think is going to compete and is going to win the game. I think it's more about competing rather than trying something tricky for the Pies. Like you look at those. Bobby Hill, obviously premiership player. Lockie Schultz, Hoskin Elliott's back in. McCreary, Lipinski, Frampton. You know, that's still missing some names, but it's good enough. It's got to be good enough. And last week, I know in that last quarter it was 20 inside 50s to 6 in the Bulldogs' favour in that last quarter. So the forward line really didn't get that opportunity. But you know, it's about them when they do get the opportunity, putting the score on the board. So it was reliant upon a lot of goals from midfielders last week. Dacos had a terrific game of football, but he just couldn't carry the team over the line. So, you know, until they get some of those names back in that forward line, Elliott, Myercheck, etc., even Mason Cox, who does create a target and a contest there a lot of the time for those smaller forwards to come into the game. They're going to have to manufacture ways within that forward line to win the game. So, and the strength of Melbourne, Boom, for so many years has been their defence and how they're set up. Structurally, Melbourne's set up from the back half of the ground to the front half of the ground.
Yep.
That's always how they've gone about their game. So, it's questions on both teams. And, maybe they don't get answered early in this game, but later in this game, really when the whips are cracking, I think we'll find out a little bit about, I think, particularly Melbourne, Boom.
Speaking of those guys, in the absence of those guys of Pendlebury, Jordan De Goey through that midfield, McRae gets an opportunity now. He's been starved of opportunity because they've got so many guns through that midfield. Sullivan, this is probably his 6th or 7th game in a row now. Can those type of guys step up in the absence of the stars of Collingwood? And I think Collingwood set their defence so well. Melbourne set their defence so well. But I still feel the game's going to get won through the midfield today. Who wins stoppages? Who wins the clearances? Who wins a contested possession? And Clinchy, you touched on before around the taggers. You just have to get the job done today on Nick Dacos, because once you take Dacos out of that team, yes, Josh is more of an outside player. Nick's wins the ball.
16 clearances.
Yeah, he wins the ball inside. He wins the ball outside. He kicks goals. He does everything. Melbourne would be crazy for me today not to go after Nick Dacos in a hard way. And you don't have to bash him and crash him. What you have to do is what Carlton did to Merritt last night. He has 21 touches still. You know that Dacos is going to turn up and have 5-6 touches a quarter regardless. So he's going to have 20. It's what he does with the ball. I didn't see Merritt pierce the football through the middle of the ground last night and set Carlton up. That's what Melbourne need to do to Dacos today. Every time he gets that ball, he's got a hand on the jumper. He's getting pulled to the ground. They're not helping him up. They're holding him down. And they've got to make his life a little bit hell, especially in the first half.
You spoke about the role Alex Chincotta did last night on Zach Merritt. You also look back to Friday night where we saw Marcus Bontempelli and the impact in which Jared Berry had, taking him out of the game, and Lachie Neale by the contrast of someone who wasn't tagged. So do you think Nick Dacos can be stopped?
Well, I think anybody can be stopped.
We've seen it against Hawthorn.
Can a side execute it within the rules,
there are not many players that are untaggable.
At least blunted, isn't it?
Yeah. I think it's more the effect that they have on the game. Like, they can still get their touches, but where are they getting their touches? Are they forward or centre where they're going inside forward 50? And I think that's the question on Christian Petrarca today. Everyone's saying, he needs to either play forward or in the midfield. No, he doesn't. He can play both the roles.
Yep.
It's just how you use it effectively and at the right moments. And that's what I think Petrarca's coming to terms with, because previous season he's really played more as a mid. And now that game where he kicked 5 here, people are sort of going, well, why don't he play in the goal scorer? Because Melbourne have their own issues with their forward line as well. So that's the question. Collingwood don't tag.
No.
Like, are Petrarca and Nick Dacos going to go head-to-head?
I wouldn't have thought so.
Well, I think it's probably likely at stages they do today.
They shouldn't, but they probably will.
Yeah.
Because
it's just how the game will work.
And both teams will wait to see who throws the first punch.
Yep.
If I'm coaching Melbourne today, I'm throwing that first punch, and the first punch is, not literally, is coming by someone putting their arm across Nick Dacos from the very first bounce. So he knows. And what happens, Clinchy, when you get tagged and you're not really in the game, you start searching for the ball. So Nick will start getting the ball back of centre. Where do you want Nick to get the ball? It's back of centre, because if he's kicking the ball inside 50, Collingwood is scoring 9 times out of 10. So you want to get it. He can have 20 or 25, and if 18 of them are behind centre,
no worries.
That's a huge win.
The luxury Craig McRae does have is he can put him back across half back if he wants to try and take some of that pressure off. But I mean, the big question is both forward lines. Ash Johnson has lost his spot. Nathan Kruger comes in, gets his opportunity off the back of
which I'm glad he does, because he's been out a long time. He's had injury and the like, and he's an aggressive forward. I think all Craig McRae wants is a contest. He just wants a contest forward of the ball where if you don't mark it, they don't mark it, ball comes to the ground, then it's up to our smalls to get there. So, that's pretty simple. And then you look at the other end of the ground, as Clinchy was alluding to, Van Rooyen comes back into the team.
Alan Richardson said Petty will start forward.
Yeah.
Not getting a great return out of him, just the 2 disposals and a goal last week. So it's interesting.
He doesn't look comfortable.
When do coaches concede that it's not working? Simon Goodwin is trying to find what the solution is for their forward line.
He was a premiership defender. That's where he was playing the game really well. And then, comes to last year where he has a good game where he kicks, I think, 5 or 6 against Richmond, but he can't hit the scoreboard.
I would be trying to get him to Darcy Moore today. I don't think he's going to kick goals. I think he's kicked the bag once that I can remember.
Like the Billy Frampton role in the grand final.
Well, that's what I'd be doing. I'd be sending him to Moore and say, mate, you play on him and he does an intercept mark. You don't need to kick 3 goals for us to win the game. You need to keep Darcy Moore really quiet.
Brent Harvey and Adam Ramanauskas, your experts, Matt Clinch and Ben Cameron to call the action. Laura Borden is sitting in the front row of the grandstand this afternoon. Loz, welcome again to you.
Thanks, Clinchy. It's lovely to be down here. It's such a big occasion and the weather's turned it on as well. So it's probably sitting about 15, 16 degrees, but pretty pleasant to be down here. A big crowd's come out. I don't think it'll match the 88,000 of last night, but it should come close. It's looking quite full. There was the crowd in full force. Just when they announced Braden Maynard, they did the number 4. First the boos came and then the cheers from the Collingwood fans. So it's one to watch today in the first quarter to see that reception from the fans and from the team as well. And as you mentioned, Jack Bytel, Jack Billings coming to the bench now as the subs for their 2 sides.
Who are you tipping, Rama and Boomer?
I'm on the D's.
I'm on the D's also.
Yeah, bounce back.
So the Demons looking to respond. Clayton Oliver takes his spot alongside Jack Crisp, who stands just behind Jim Steins' most consecutive games, and the scene is set. A sea of blue beanies in honour of Neil Danaher in the 10th edition of Fight MND, and 2 sides outside the 8 fighting their way back in. Collingwood and Melbourne. Here's Ben Cameron.
Cameron wins the opening tap, going after it. Viney gathers the footy, squeezes a kick forward for the D's. Onto it, Josh Dacos for the Pies. He'll tumble a kick out towards the southern wing. Windsor takes the mark for the Demons. Defensive point of the square, kicks out towards the wing. Van Rooyen leading up. Moore spoils it down. Hill roves for the Pies, gets a handball away to Quaynor. All of this on the southern wing. Handball back to Hill. Handball forward to side bottom, running backwards. In trouble, breaks 1 tackle, then a second. Handball away to Hill. Tries to take on Pickett, shrugs him off. Gets rid of him, says, get off me. Gives it off to Quaynor, who kicks the Pies to half forward. Looking for a marker down there, Frampton. Spills to Lipinski. Handball to Hoskin Elliott. Room to steady and finish. Perfect start for the Pies. Inside a minute, the opening goal of Kim's birthday. Collingwood 1 straight 6. Melbourne yet to score. Your experts, Adam Ramanauskas, the Essendon Premiership player and games record holder Brent Harvey.
Well, boom, you go back to centre wing there on the Shane Warne stand side of the ground. First it was side bottom who was able to rip through a couple of tackles. Then it was Bobby Hill who's able to just push off Cozzy Pickett, which we don't say very often at all. But then the ball goes inside forward 50, and it's a really good contest with Frampton and Tom McDonald, where the ball comes to ground now. I don't like this matchup if it's going to continue. That's Stephen May on Will Hoskin Elliott.
Yep.
Hoskin Elliott is going to have him for pace, boom.
Absolutely.
So you look there, Hoskin Elliott receives that handball. May is 5 or 6 metres behind him. That's just because of the sheer pace of Hoskin Elliott.
We're all looking for the Melbourne statement, but it was Bobby Hill who shrugged off Cozzy Pickett. He's in the middle here trying to get a clearance. Pickett works it out to Salem. Gets the hand pass away. The chip comes out to Sparrow, who takes the mark from Rivers. Kicks up towards Christian Petrarca. He marks it left half forward. Hand pass to Clayton Oliver. The Melbourne midfield getting involved. The kick is out on the full, though, under the pressure.
Well, the handball wasn't really there from Petrarca. He didn't need to give that. He could have wheeled on his right foot and got the ball into one-on-ones, and that's what you want as a forward. And he decided to give it outside on Clayton Oliver's left foot, who was under pressure.
Maynard forced the kick out on the full. As Howell looks to kick Collingwood up to the wing. Cameron in a wrestle with Gawn, almost had enough of it. Chris with a hand pass forward for Collingwood to McCreary, trying to knock it on under the pressure of Rivers. He can't gather on the members' wing. Rivers fought well, wins the footy. Hand pass to Sparrow, he runs out of room as Chris sees him out of play and a boundary throw in. Collingwood with the opening goal of the match through 2.5 minutes on ABC Sport.
Hoskin Elliott did the flapping of the arms like a bird. I'm not sure if it was the Jason Gillespie Condor celebration or maybe the Magpie. Cheerio to Dizzy, I'm sure he's listening in South Australia.
He's in Pakistan these days.
Well, I don't think he's left just yet, has he? He has taken up the job with the Pakistan national team. There's a whistle on the play from the ball in. Free kick going the way of Petrarca.
So Neil Bullen, who's starting at half forward, is coming up and taking Nick Dacos at stoppages. So Nick Dacos getting on the fly. Bullen going really defensively with him then.
Petrarca driving ball just inside 50 here for the D's. No one able to mark. Loose footy swatted on by Viney close to the boundary line. Quaynor, he sees it out, trying to come left half forward for the D's. Collingwood by that one Will Hoskin-Elliott goal. That's the only score in the match through the opening 3.5 minutes.
So Neil Bourne putting a lot of time in the Dacos here, Rama, just not letting him start where he wants to start.
Thrown in, Gorm was able to get rid of Cameron from 50. The Melbourne captain goes for home and hits the post. Into the left goal post. That would have been a start for the Demons. Collingwood 1 straight 6. Melbourne 1 behind. 4 minutes gone on ABC Sport.
Howe brings it in quickly, gets it onto Noble, just shoved as he kicks, so dribbles it up to the wing, attacking it quickly, McVie loses it, Pies back there through Noble, handball to side bottom on the southern wing, forward of the centre line, Maynard receives it, kicks infield for Crisp, he looks inside 50, has Frampton out deep, one-on-one with May. May gets back, halves the contest, brings it down for Rivers, at fullback for Melbourne, twists and turns and runs away from them. He'll kick up to the wing.
Where Maynard had his back to the ball, but Petty was able to take the mark regardless. Melbourne, hand pass away to Petrarca, up the outer wing, with a hand pass to Langdon, links up again with Petrarca, they're now at half forward, Fritsch's kick is smothered, Howe got a crucial smother in there, they take it back through Maynard, hand pass away, Finn McRae kicks in the middle of the ground, and Hoskin-Elliott takes the mark. Attacking side of the centre circles, Collingwood with the opening goal. Hoskin-Elliott points deep inside the attacking 50. That's where he intends to send it. In the direction of Frampton, wrestling with May. Frampton spoils it down. Schultz's hand pass to Lipinski. To McRae. It opens up in front of him. And he dribbles through the second goal of the match. Collingwood with a fast start. The opening 2 goals of the match here at the MCG King's Birthday Footy on ABC Sport. They're 2 straight 12 to Melbourne, 1 behind. Adam Ramanauskas and Brett Harvey are with you.
Rama, that goal started on the back there. Bailey Fritsch had 2 options going inside 50 and he just tried to be a little bit too cute. He had one on the fat side of the ground, drop punt, would have just been 25 metres out, probably waltzed into open goal. He tried to take the option that wasn't there and it was around his body. He got smothered, and then of course Collingwood's transition, we know, and we spoke about it before the game, most of their scores happen from the defensive 50 transition to what we just see there, to McRae waltzing into to open goal.
I think also, Beamer, what's noticeable, just we're only 6 minutes into this quarter, is the energy of Collingwood.
Yep.
You know, whether it's in tackle or whether it's trying to break through tackles at the moment, Benny, they look a bit more on the Melbourne at the moment.
It's the pressure Pies, isn't it? Perfect bounce back in the middle. Collingwood with the opening 2 goals. Cameron wins the tap down. Dacos bursting through but running defensively. Now kicks forward. Cripps gathers on the bounce. Handball to the goal kicker McRae. His handball errant. Bounces to McCreary. Goes and gathers it. Centre half forward for the Pies. Pickett. A pile driving tackle. Goes straight into the midriff of McCreary. Takes him down to ground and a ball up. Centre half forward for the Pies. This is Monday Footy on ABC Sport.
From the throw up, quick kick forward by McRae, back courageously, good mark taken. And back with the flight, Trent Rivers courageously has it 25 metres out from his defensive goal.
The Pies are getting some really good matchups on May. Just then they had Lockie Schultz, and he won't want to play on Schultz because Schultz hits up at the football.
Out to Sparrow, didn't really favour he against Josh Dacos, but Tom McDonald makes it work. Hand pass away to Salem, around the members' wing, kicks up to Turner. He has it between wing and half forward on the members' side. Fritsch offers a lead against Howe. That's ignored. Turner swings onto his right. Long towards Petty. Getting back. Cameron takes the mark. The Collingwood ruckman providing good support.
Had 51 hit-outs last week, Darcy Cameron. Kicks laterally here to fullback and Quaynor. Gives it to Noble, who goes for a run. Back to Quaynor, back to Noble. He'll kick around the southern wing. Up goes Hoskin-Elliott. Takes the mark. Kicked the first goal of the game and now just ambles back off the mark. Right beneath the great southern stand. Goes back to Quaynor on the logo. He'll just poke a kick over the top for Lipinski. Collingwood happy to go into a slow play here. Monday Footy on ABC Sport. Short kick again for Sidebottom. A veteran who had the longest gap between premierships in AFL AFL history. He dabs it over the top and Crisp, the Iron Man as Corbin Middlemass calls him, 227th consecutive game today, closing in on Jim Stein's record.
A lot of uncontested mark for the Pies. Melbourne are playing close enough is near enough, or near enough is good enough, and it's not at the minute.
Short to Lipinski into the pocket, looking for Kruger off hands. It goes out of play. Out of boundary thrown in the left forward pocket. So Kruger and Frampton swapping up forward. Petty has started forward for the Demons. Darcy Moore is alongside Daniel Turner. Jeremy Howe has the job on Bailey Fridge. Gawn tries to take another ruck for Melbourne. Hand pass straight to Schultz of Collingwood. McRae to Lipinski. Snaps onto his right towards Hoskin Elliott in the goal square. Brought down by Salem. Comes charging in to support McVie and lays the tackle to lock the ball out. Just 10 metres out from the Magpies' goal at the city end. Collingwood 2 straight 12. Melbourne 1 behind. 8 minutes gone. Opening quarter on ABC Sport.
Up it goes, top of the attacking goal square for the Pies. Gawn laying it down into the pocket. Crisp gathers for Collingwood, gives it to Josh Dacos. Centering high ball, Gawn's there. Defensive mark for the Demons. Their ever reliable skipper. There's a little bit of a pre-game tradition these days. Plays chess against Clayton Oliver on game day. And Gawn had the win today. Goes to May in the back pocket. Short again to McVie. Slips over as he kicks, but the kick is good and wins his away down the wing.
He gets the hand pass over the top to Laurie, who thought about giving it back. Now takes a bounce, looks up, tries to pull his kick to Pickett. Lunging forward, he just marks on 50. Hand pass to Fridge, couldn't quite juggle it. Under pressure, turns it over. Maynard lays the tackle. Hand pass away to Lipinski, to Crisp. Kicks up towards Kruger at half forward. Stephen May is a loose in defence for Melbourne. He drives a kick long, looking for McCreary and Hoskin Elliott. They crash the pack. Salem dives in. McCreary can't get a boot to it. Salem over the footy. Nick Dacos comes charging in. And the umpire will ball it up in the goal square for the Magpies, only metres out from goal.
Oh, is that dragging it back in there, Benny? On Christian Salem?
Well, by the Elliott Yo standard, probably.
Yes.
Gawn taps it down straight to the boundary line, just wide of the behind post. Umpire wants to fling it back in. They are swarming at the moment, the Pies.
For the listeners, what we debated that for about 10 minutes before we came on air. You and I had Rama's argument.
We were taking him on, weren't we, Clinchy? I gave us the points too.
I don't think we ever win.
From the throw-in, slipping over there, Kruger, taking it away. Sparrow turns it over, straight to Josh Dacos. Flying shot, misses right. They are all over the Demons to start this King's birthday clash. 2-1 plays, 1 behind. 10.5 into the first.
Collingwood fans are into Stephen May.
Of course, he made the comment in the best and fairest presentation night that he thought Melbourne were the better team and they should have smoked Collingwood in the final. Darcy Moore's response was, we were too busy celebrating to take any notice of what Stephen May had to say.
It's a good response, isn't it?
That's a great response.
As Judd McVie takes it from the kick into Stephen May up to Howe. He goes the big fly but couldn't hang on. Up on the back of Max Gawn. He likes the big occasion, Jeremy Howe, but on this occasion just couldn't quite hang on, and he locks the ball in on the AFL logo on the far wing. No, a free kick going Melbourne's way. It's going to be Bailey Fridge.
Yeah, took his legs out, I think the call was.
Jeremy Howe just couldn't quite hang on. Out to Windsor on the Shane Warne stand win. Inside 50. Petrarca with one arm. Can't take the mark. Turner trying to fend off the tackle of Sidebottom. Now Darcy Moore's locked up by Petty. And the umpire will ball it up 45 metres out from the Demons' goal at the Punt Road end. Collingwood by 12 points.
Every time the ball goes into a forward 50 at both ends, there's not a lot of space. There's a lot of presence there.
And they find a way to goal. Gawn wins the tap down. Nick Dacos clear and kick. Salem marks it. 48 metres out. Plum in front. Wants to chip into the pocket. Pickett a lateral lead and he's got it. 35 out, 30-degree angle to the left-hand side.
It's a smart lead by Pickett. Those lateral leads are so important when your teammate is 60 or 70 metres out, because teams love to fall back and protect that corridor. So the space is a little bit wide, and this is, better than a 45-degree angle for Pickett here, so should convert.
That little canter. He comes in to try and spark the D's into action. Hits the post. Second poster of the day for the D's. Max Gawn hit the same one earlier on. So 2-1-13 plays 2 behinds. 12.5 into the first. Monday footy on ABC Sport.
Ben Cameron and Matt Clinch calling the action. Lauren Borden down on the boundary. Adam Ramanauskas and Brent Harvey, your experts on ABC Sport. As Jeremy Howe brings the Pies back into play. Kicks out towards left half back, where the mark is taken by Dean. Charlie Dean getting his opportunity, his 5th game of AFL footy. Switches it back inside the defensive 50 to Quaynor. Off and running as he takes a bounce. Running away from Langdon. A second. Langdon offers a good chase, and Quaynor has to hurry his kick up the wing. It missed Hoskin Elliott. Might still work to Bobby Hill, although Tom McDonald slides in for Melbourne, trying to knock it out to Bowie. Chris was clean. Hand pass, though, too sharp for Hoskin Elliott. Melbourne take it back through Sparrow. Tackle by Chris. Hand pass turns it over. Josh Dacos for Collingwood. Inboard to Sullivan. Back to Josh Dacos on the members' wing. Looks right, then left. Goes in the middle of the ground. Risky kick. Doesn't make it to side bottom. And Bailey Fritsch working back takes the mark for Melbourne.
In the long sleeves, bites off the kick, looking for Petrarca. Good pack mark. Lots of pies around him, wheels and goes. Has a man on deep, tries to get it down there. Unable to mark. Turner sockers it off the deck and misses. Just wide of the target, very nearly. 10 points Collingwood's lead. Nearly 14 played in the first.
Maino quickly back in for Collingwood, so a couple of the Bronx cheers for their respective sides. And Jack Chris, maybe it's a delayed applause for Maynard as he kicked in, as Chris takes the mark, and it's Hoskin Elliott who marks it right half back. Collingwood by 10 points. Rama Melbourne missing a few of their opportunities. Their disposal is just lifted back up to 62%.
Yeah, they look like they've settled this last sort of 6 or 7 minutes of this first quarter.
Josh Dacos out to Braden Maynard. To make our job as commentators easy as the Collingwood fans are trying to cheer. Kicks up towards Bobby Hill. Tom McDonald comes charging out. Double-handed makes the spoil. It ricochets out towards the wing where Petty gathers. Hand pass to Windsor. Back to Tom McDonald. He kicks up the wing and Turner marks in front of Dean. Between wing and half forward for Melbourne.
So the man they call Disco climbs off the deck. Just dabs it short. Viney takes it. He veers out onto his left. Driving ball for Chandler. How they're with him. Swats it away. It stays in play. Coming across Noble. Clever little soccer away to Howe. Gets a handball forward. Pinched though by Fritsch. Now Chandler under pressure. Free kick. It'll come back and go to Noble. I can only assume a high fend off. And pinged. Yeah. High contact from Fritsch on Noble.
Oh, it's a bit unlucky there too.
So Collingwood by 10, Monday footy on ABC Sport. Quarter hour mark of the first.
The kick up towards half-back. No mark claimed as side bottom lays the pressure, and Kruger trying to just hack a few metres forward, but Melbourne are well set. Salem can gather. Fires a hand pass back to Stephen May. He's at right half-back. Turns and comes in, boy, to Van Rooyen. And Jacob Van Rooyen takes the mark. He chips it into the middle of the ground. And a chance for Laurie to get involved and works it out to the members' side. Rivers kicks up towards Langdon at right half forward. Of course, he famously made the comment that Collingwood were all duck, no dinner. These two sides haven't minded the war of words. It's been more Melbourne as the kick inside 50. Chandler was up, thought he almost claimed the mark. Darcy Moore did enough. As Sparrow with a centering kick, he might have been over the boundary line. No, free kick Melbourne's way. It's coming back to Cade Chandler. Hard against the boundary.
High tackle.
So Josh Dacos' tackle in the eyes of the umpire. His left arm just made contact with the head, so it'll come back to Cade Chandler just inside 50. This is Jamie Elliott territory.
Both teams are setting up super well behind the ball. They're both manufacturing a spare. So when each team goes in, the visual of it, when they look up, there's a spare behind the ball for hence why Melbourne just low in the eyes there, Rammer, a couple of times.
The Demons desperately need a spark. A couple of posters. Cade Chandler deep out to the left. He's out of bounds on the full. As it's left all the way, and you can hear the Bronx cheers.
Yeah, well,
change Collingwood by 10, Rammer.
It's really easy for Collingwood to generate that spare because Neil Bullen's going with Nick Dacos. So, and Neil Bullen's starting on a half-forward flank. So, I think they've got to roll one of their wingers to try to even the numbers back up there, Melbourne.
Yep. Jeremy Howe with the free kick. Played 100 games for the D's, of course. Long up towards the members' wing and off the hands of the pack, out of play, a throw-in.
Because if that's the case between Moore, Maynard and Jeremy Howe, they love that. One of those three will just be loose the entire game.
And you don't want that. You don't want that for the Pies.
Thoughts of Adam Ramanaskas and Brent Harvey. Lauren Borden between the benches.
Just watching the Collingwood bench, Oleg Markov hasn't been on all game. 17 minutes played and he's still on the bench. There's been plenty of rotations, but he's just not going on.
The Pies work it down the members' wing. Nick Dacos soccers it on. Coming out to meet it, McDonald. Coughs it up under pressure. Getting back there to try and help him out, Neil Bullen. Shovels it out to Sparrow. D's win possession. And a kick to Van Rooyen on the wing. What do you think about that? Long time to be on the bench.
He's standing, waiting to come onto the ground now.
Up towards Jeremy Howe, who sets himself, flies in the air against Turner, can't take the mark, front and centre, Chandler, one way then the other, back to Viney, chisels a kick inside 50, gone on the lead, can't hang on to the mark as Darcy Moore spoiled, Pickett front and centre, kicks towards the teeth of goal, Fritsch back with the flight, underneath at side bottom, the Collingwood defender taps it to Dean, out pass looking for Noble, good composure, he's able to find Harrison, cuts back into the corridor, around Turner to Darcy Moore, links up with Quaynor, who chips it out, and Jeremy Howe takes the mark in the right back pocket.
Pies defence at the moment, bending but not breaking. Bites off a tough kick to McRae. He marks. Pokes it forward towards the wing. McCreary loops a handball over the top to the run of Josh Dacos. Veering away from his chaser. He kicks to half forward looking for Bobby Hill. Mays there. And punches it out. Throw in 48 around from the Pies goal.
Coming on now, Marco, and the player that he's been waiting for is Braden Maynard.
He was booing too from the bench. Get him off. Collingwood by 10 points. Nearly 19 played. Monday footy on ABC Sport. Umpire brings it back in. Gawn just taps it down. There's a whistle on the play. Free kick. It'll come back and go the way of the big ruckman from the D's.
And Jeremy Howe's that spare at the minute, Rammer, you're talking about because of Neil Bullen's coming up, but they'll manufacture at Collingwood where they get the spare that they want, and it looks like Howe is the man at the minute.
So Max Gawn into the middle of the ground. It's a good weighted kick to find Bowie at the back edge of the centre square. Out past to Salem. Changed his mind at the last moment as Schultz offered chase and kicks out to Howes, who takes the mark at right half back. As the Demons try to find an avenue forward. Judd McVie marks. He kicks wide to Windsor. So around the boundary line out to right half forward. Now the all-important kick as Fritsch and Van Rooyen are the deepest targets. Sends it in the direction of Turner against Quaynor. And Turner takes the mark. It was impressive as he had the size mismatch and just held his position in front.
Just jumped at the ball. Kept his eyes on it. There's a little nudge there by Quaynor, but Turner just good enough to hold it.
Daniel Turner, in his 8th game of footy, kicked 3 goals against the Tigers on Anzac Eve. The Demons are crying for a forward to stand up. Turner with the sideburns, cut short, and the black boots as he starts his approach outside 50. Looking for the Demons' first goal of the match. Turner comes in and he misses. Out to the left and misses everything. So a couple out on the full now. Chandler previously, Turner now. What's that, the last 4 scores? No, 3 scores, because 2 haven't counted. 3 scores for the Demons, but it's still Collingwood by 10 points. The last goal came at the 5-minute mark. We're 20 minutes gone. Opening quarter on ABC Sport.
Noble kicks across the goal mouth for the Pies off to Howe, who kicks low, flat and hard onto the chest of side bottom. It's half back. Kicks up towards the wing. Quaynor takes it, dispossessed in the tackle. Yep. Fritsch has got him holding the ball.
It was well done by Bailey Fritsch. Quaynor wanted to get back onto his right foot, but Fritsch just corralled him towards the boundary, and then that last moment attacked and caused a turnover.
Bites off the kick into the middle of the ground. Finds Petrarca. He looks inside 50. Take your pick. Pickett or Sparrow, they both fly for it. There's a little shove on the play, and it's against Ozzie Pickett, so John Noble to get it. Right back pocket for the Pies. They lead it by 10 points, nearly 22 played. Opening stanza Monday footy on ABC Sport.
Johnny Noble's got a decent corky out of that.
Of course, missed their premiership last year. John Noble didn't feature in finals. Back in the Collingwood lineup in 2024 as he kicks long up towards the wing. Kruger's there. Cameron as well. Max Gawn in the pack. What an impressive mark. The Melbourne ruckman able to hold his ground and take the mark. He's got Van Rooyen deepest as he veers out to the right. Sends it in that direction. Setting himself, Turner in from the side. It gets to the back. Pickett swoops onto it. Outside of the boot. Kicks Melbourne's first goal of the match. Might be an appeal for touch, but Cozzy is hoping he can get Melbourne on the board.
That looked like a deviated Clinchy.
Off the post or
off the hand?
He kicked it off the outside of the boot, which is always hard to just truly try and work out. But Cozzy Pickett having kicked it behind previously, hoping that as they go back to the middle, this review doesn't conclude it was touched on the way through. Collingwood by 4 points, 2-1-13 to Melbourne 1-3-9. Pickett with the Demons opening goal of the match.
I'm not sure who the Collingwood player was.
Charlie Dean.
Charlie Dean put his hand straight up to say that he touched it. But what Pickett done there, Rammer, was he crumbed the ball at pace.
Yeah, well, Nobles can't go with him at the moment.
It was fantastic. And right foot check side, which looks like, I think, is going to be a goal.
Just getting a look at it right now. It's the pinky. Yeah.
It's never good when everyone's in position, is it? And there's a pause because we're just not sure.
Oh. Did it flick the pinky, or what do you think, Rama?
I can't see because the finger is camouflaged with the crowd in the background.
Too hard to override. That's a goal.
Has to be conclusive to override. Umpires.
What? Thank you.
Should have never doubted you, Rama.
No.
Wow.
It's a bit like sort of Betty Cameron with Isaac Rankin running too far.
Don't worry about the optometrist this year, Rama. The eyes are good.
My eyes are good.
So it goes from being a 4-point margin Collingwood's way back to a 9-point margin. And Melbourne, with the last 3 scores of the match, but none of them have... 5, if you count out on the Fulls, the last 5 shots on goal, but none of them have eventuated in a goal.
That's poor by Melbourne.
Sums up their day so far, and Howe goes up the middle. Lipinski at centre-half back.
They should have been way better set up there, Melbourne. You can't allow that kick up the middle.
Well, they had so much time, Rama.
Yeah.
They had the time there.
Flares it to the half-back flank, and guess who? Braden Maynard. Jeers and cheers. Kicks up towards the wing, and Crisp on the lead. Takes it. Gives it back by hand to Maynard. Tries to wait a kick. Turns it over. Petrarca steals it. D's quickly back the other way. Big Polly Farmer hand pass. At half forward, Pickett. Handball misses. Viney riding shotgun. It was a perfect 30-metre handball from Petrarca, followed up by a missed 2-metre handball.
And again, he couldn't kick that in, though, because it was Dean, again, who manufactured the spare for Collingwood. Pickett looked up and the visual just didn't allow him to kick it. So he had to manufacture something, and the handball went out of bounds.
Brent Harvey with you on ABC Sport, thrown back in. Cameron knocks it to the front for Collingwood. Harrison tries to tap it on to Lipinski. Underground hand pass for Crisp, who can't control it, and Wings takes it over the boundary line. Lauren Borden on the boundary.
Well, while we're praising Rama, picked John Noble's corky. He's just come to the bench and he's been limping all the way along the boundary line, but he's not going to get any treatment on it, just sitting on the bench.
He's going to be sore for the day, unfortunately, John Noble.
Over 80,000 in the MCG, and as we look out from our commentary position, the sea of blue beanies in the 10th edition of Fight MND. Thrown back in. Harrison locks the tackle up on Jack Viney.
You don't mind getting a corky in the game, Boo, but not in the first 20 minutes.
Half time is when it will seize up too.
Cameron and Gorn tangle. Oliver tries to knock it out. Chris puts a boot in there. Gets it on to Markov. Hand pass picked off by Langdon. Gives it away to Clayton Oliver. He's been quiet. Kicks up inside 50. In the pack. Petty couldn't take the mark. Howe had it bumbling around. Pickett opens up with a hand pass to Chandler. Got a hand pass away to Petrarca. Now away to House. Bumped into by Maynard. And the kick goes out on the full. Braden Maynard making his presence known. And Bowie comes across to remonstrate. He's never far from the action as Sidebottom takes the free kick.
It feels like the kindling has been lit at the MCG.
You're not going to out-noise Collingwood. So they're like the cheers now for Braden Maynard is just drowning out the boos.
He kicks up towards the wing. Sparrow roves the pack. Sidebottom smothers his kick out of play. Just to add some wrinkles to it, of course, his dad involved at Melbourne for a long time. His brother played a couple of seasons there, so there was a little bit of a connection too, but...
And his collision, of course, in the qualifying final, the last time Angus Brayshaw played a game, retired at the start of the season. I don't think he's going to change his ways, is probably what we're seeing here. As Jack Crisp is a little worse for wear in that tangle. The kick comes up from Melbourne to Turner. He's set upon by Darcy Moore and Brainerd Maynard, and the umpire will ball it up at right half forward for the Demons. Collingwood by 9 points, 2-1-13 to the Demons 4 behinds. We haven't had a goal since the 5-minute mark of the opening term. We're now at the 26-minute mark. From the ball up, spills out the way of Viney and Sidebottom. They can't keep it in play. There's a fair bit of holding going on off the ball. Alex Neil-Bullen has had one touch. He's doing the job on Nick Dacos this afternoon.
Yeah, it's gone to the length where Dacos come to the bench, so did Neil-Bullen. So I think we're going to see that match up for most of the day. Dacos had no impact on the game as yet either.
Dacos has had 4 disposals. Clayton Oliver's had 3. And Christian Petrarca leads the way for Melbourne with 8. A chance for the Demons as Rivers drives it inside 50. Van Rooyen comes charging out, can't take the mark. Turner's hand pass to Petty to the goal mouth. Dean under pressure. Turner trying to stick a boot in there. Collingwood desperate on the last line. Lipinski out to side bottom. Experience kept it alive. Got it back to Howe. Hand pass to Dean to Sullivan. They find an avenue out of defence through Maynard.
Oh, Cozzy Pickett was closing on him. Just gets a kick away. Hoskin Elliott takes the hang. Hits the ground running. Kicks to Frampton. He's got Bobby Hill at half forward in an acre of space. Bobby Hill can wait for it. Hard up against the boundary line. Pulls the kick unselfishly and spots up a leading Kruger. Collingwood go whooshka. Back pocket to full forward and Kruger will kick for goal.
So that's their style of play. I was nearly going to say that Jeremy Howe probably should have stepped over the line and gave a point up, but they keep the ball alive and they go from one goal square to the other in 4, 5, maybe 6 seconds. Electrifying stuff.
Nathan Kruger, last played in round 7 of 2023. Been involved in the sub 6 of his last 7 games. Gets the start today. Puts his laces through it. And Collingwood have jumped Melbourne. The opening 3 goals on King's birthday. 3-1-19. Plays 4 behinds. Collingwood by 15 points. Late in the opening term, Adam Ramanauskas and Brett Harvey on Monday footy on ABC Sport.
Yeah, Booth's spot on. Collingwood keep the ball alive on the goal line, so all the way down the other end of the ground, but it's then a 2-on-1 contest with Hoskin Elliott and 2 Melbourne defenders, and Hoskin Elliott's able to take a terrific mark there just on Melbourne's half-forward line. Then it's just go from there. And Bobby Hills, he's such a special player for Collingwood. Obviously a Norm Smith medal last year, but, you know, in all he's right to have a shot at goal, but then squares the ball up to Kruger, and that's Kruger's first goal in a long time. You can see the elation of his teammates, how they celebrated with him.
Adam Ramanauskas with you on ABC Sport. Max Gawn wins down the tap, does the roving hand pass to Bowie to Clayton Oliver. Back to Gawn at the back edge of the centre square. Loops the hand pass out to McVie. At right half back for the Demons. He kicks up towards Sparrow. He reaches out to take the mark. Moves it back inboard to Bowie. It's a big swing though when you think about the Cozzy Pickett touch off Charlie Dean, and Kruger kicks a goal at the other end. Melbourne still searching for their first. The kick comes up to Viney. He marks from Neil Bullen. Hand pass to Oliver. Under pressure, Sparrow brought down by Maynard. No prior opportunity, says the umpire. Schultz gets a hand pass forward to Harrison. Tries to thread the needle to Lipinski, but getting back Rivers. Takes back the footy for Melbourne on the wing.
Southern side of the ground, sends it inside, attacking 50, knocking it down Cameron. And Collingwood, 3 goals to zip in the opening term on King's birthday. There was a number of chances for Melbourne. Christian Petrarca down and a little sore as well. He looks worse for wear. Has played 145 consecutive games as of today. Got a massive knee in the ribs from Darcy Moore late in that quarter, and he's lying prone on the turf at the moment. Doesn't look in a good way, so that could easily be broken ribs for Christian Petrarca.
Yes. Arms up.
And it's a direct hit too with the knee.
He does not look in a good way. We'll have further updates on track from Lauren Borden downstairs, but the goal kickers Hoskin Elliott, McRae and Kruger for the Pies. Melbourne didn't register one in the opening term. Collingwood lead by 15 points at the first change.
Melbourne's first goalless quarter against Collingwood since 2012, so their equal worst opening quarter in a Queen's birthday clash. And on the SMS, 0437 774 774. If Melbourne need some inspiration, they only need to... The only 2 teams to be goalless at quarter time this round, both came back and won. That was North and Sydney. That's from Jono in Canberra. Tony in Glenelg says, great to hear the call. And Cole from WA says the umpires are still ignoring 90% of the Magpies' high tackle offences. And Simon in Largs Bay says, I feel like every time I hear Bailey Fritsch called or go near the ball, I feel like playing lounge music. King's birthday footy on ABC Sport, on ABC Radio, ABC Sport Digital, and now streaming on the ABC Listen app. Just look for the AFL button.
In this brand spanking new season of Spicks and Specs, we will rock you. Ready?
Sorry, Adam, we can't do that. Queen won't give us the rights.
Well, I can't stomp and clap.
It's all right. We've come up with a sound-alike.
Adam, Miff and Alan are back for all new Spicks and Specs.
You will be rocked by us. Okay, yeah. Nailed it.
All new Spicks and Specs.
Beautiful.
Sunday nights on ABC TV and streaming on ABC iView.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
A sea of blue beanies in honour of Neil Danaher and the 10th edition of Fight MND. And two sides outside the 8 finding their way back in. Collingwood and Melbourne.
Looking for a marker down there, Frampton. Spills to Lipinski. Handball to Hoskin Elliott. Room to steady and finish. Perfect start for the Pies. Inside a minute, the opening goal of King's birthday.
Frampton spoils it down. Schultz's hand pass to Lipinski. To McRae. It opens up in front of him. And he dribbles through the second goal of the match. Collingwood with a fast start.
He's got Bobby Hill at half forward in an acre of space. Bobby Hill can wait for it. Hard up against the boundary line. Pulls the kick unselfishly and spots up a leading Kruger. Collingwood go whooshka. Nathan Kruger, last played in round 7 of 2023 and involved in the sub 6 of his last 7 games. Gets the start today. Puts his laces through it. And Collingwood have jumped Melbourne.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
King's birthday footy on ABC Sport. A red alert as Christian Petrarca heads down to the rooms. Collingwood leading by 15 points. 3-1-19 to the Demons 4 behinds. And after the big freeze sliders all had their moment in which we think Pat Rafter got the 3 votes from Adam Ramanauskas as the best in costume. Now the footy and, Melbourne Rammer are able to fight their way back in that contest, but they just couldn't get any show for it on the scoreboard. Adam Ramanauskas and Brent Harvey, your experts on ABC Sport.
Yeah, no show at all, I think, from Melbourne. 15 inside 50s in their favour to only Collingwood's 9. But Collingwood have got the 3 goals won on the scoreboard. But I think the big story is right on the siren there in the last contest of that quarter. Christian Petrarca in a marking contest has just copped an absolute knee to the ribs from Darcy Moore, all very, very legal. But we watched him for that entirety of the quarter time break pretty much, and he only just made his way to the huddle, and he didn't stop. He's down in the rooms at the moment. I know Lauren will be all over this, but if he comes back and plays, it will be unbelievably courageous from Petrarca, as he looked in all sorts of pain coming off the ground. Couldn't stand up straight. He's had the help of 2 trainers coming off the ground. So you hope it's not broken ribs or, even worse, where the kidney becomes involved there. But yeah, he looked in all sorts of pain coming off the ground. Collingwood in that quarter, unbelievably efficient, only 9 inside 50s, but the way they worked the ball from back half of the ground to front half of the ground through speed, their energy has been infectious. It wasn't one player for Collingwood showing enormous energy. It was all 18 players that were on the ground at any given time that were showing energy. I love Hoskin Elliott's quarter. He kicks the first goal of the game when he had Stephen May as his opponent, but then involved in Nathan Kruger's goal with a big contested mark in front of us, and then the ball goes forward. And as I mentioned, Kruger's able to kick that goal. So it's probably not necessarily been anything tactical from Collingwood. It's more been energy and effort.
Well, the tackles as well, Ramos, 17 to 13. They've had more of the football. 9 entries to Collingwood, 15 to Melbourne, which is huge considering Melbourne have not kicked the goal. And after only kicking 7 goals last week, not to kick a goal in the first quarter is a terrible start for them. But Collingwood's won. Woody's what got them over the line again in the first quarter. Ramo, it's their ball movement from defence, as you touched on. So Melbourne have got to change a few things up. Collingwood have got the good matchup that they want on May. Hoskin Elliott got the first goal on him. Schultz was playing on him. They hit up on him. May doesn't want to be that player that has to defend like that. He wants to be the goalkeeper. So wonder if they're still going to go with Neil Bullen on Dacos. Worked for them, but let's see how we go.
Jeremy Howe leads the way with 10 disposals alongside Jack Chris. For Melbourne, it's Christian Petrarca. Lauren Borden on the boundary just before quarter time. He was involved in that collision with Darcy Moore. Is he there, or has he headed down to the rooms?
No, so he's headed straight down to the rooms. You could see the excruciating pain he was in. He was holding on to the left side of his ribs and the left side of his jumper as well. But he's gone down to the rooms. Jack Billings, though, still hasn't been activated as a sub, so we'll wait and see for an update from Melbourne.
So the fear is it could be game over for Christian Petrarca. Second quarter underway. Max Gawn one down the tap to Viney. We thought it was a Melbourne free kick, but in fact, it's Nick Dacos' free kick in the middle of the ground. Held to just 3 disposals in the opening quarter against Alex Neil-Bullen. Works it out to Markov on the wing. Drives it inside 50. Hoskinelli at the target. Tom McDonald spoils it away. McRae for Collingwood. Back to Nick Dacos. Hand pass out to Quaynor. Top of the 50. Hand pass inside 50 to Sidebottom. He's going to chip it back all the way to Cameron. At the top edge of the centre square. Left half forward for the Pies.
Cameron thought about going infield with his kick. Now he'll take the more direct route. Into the pocket, looking for a marker. Schultz, virtually uncontested. Takes the overhead mark deep in the left forward pocket for the Pies.
You're right, Benny. Max Gawn was there. McVee was there. Just didn't want to go in that contest with Lockie Schultz to spoils right near the boundary, so it's an easy kill over the boundary, but Lockie Schultz just had eyes for the ball.
He's going to go with the right foot snap, and it's dandy. The Pies are all over them. The first 4 goals on King's birthday. 4-1-25, plays 4 behinds. 90 seconds into their second term. Adam Ramanauskas and Brent Harvey.
Well, Nick Dacos touched the ball twice in that play. I'll be on Dacos and Neil-Bullen watch for us for the day, boys. He come off from the half forward again, like we've called in the first quarter, but Dacos touched the ball twice. When Rama will they have to swap that? Because Neil-Bullen is a bit of a barometer. He gets up and down the ground for Melbourne. If he's going to play a defensive role like that, he only had the 2 touches in the first quarter. He did nullify Nick Dacos, but for Melbourne to win this game, they're going to need some of Neil-Bullen's goal-scoring ability to not only kick him but to set him up. So it's going to be interesting when Melbourne say, nah, we can't go with this anymore.
Sort of feels like Simon Goodwin's plugging holes, doesn't it? Trying to change the forward line. Cosy Pickett in the midfield. Back in the middle. Gawn wins down the tap. It's Finn McRae who gets the clearance. Kicks Collingwood up to half forward. Salem can't gather. Rivers brought down. Did he have prior opportunity? No. And the umpire will pull it up.
And this is the problem, Clinchy. You don't create a natural run-with player in your team. Your whole structure goes out the window if you try to do it.
No Jack Lever, of course, for Melbourne as it's thrown back up. Cameron tries to knock it down. Chandler, hand pass inboard to Laurie. He's able to chisel a kick up towards half forward. Created by Darcy Morey. Hats it out of the air. Pickett knocks it to half forward. But it's Sidebottom. It kicks a wobbly ball off the middle of the ball all the way across half back, which might work for Melbourne. Fritsch gets the hand pass away to Chandler. Now to Windsor. Inboard, a good searching kick, which finds Salem for the Demons.
He gives it off to Neil-Bullen running by, slips the McCreary tackle, handball out to the half-forward flank. Bowie bursting by, firing on goal, and missing, just sneaking it through for a score.
Those holes that you were talking about plugging is going to be very, or a lot worse if Christian Petrarca doesn't come on, because he does plug a hole up forward when they need to score, as we've seen probably 6 or 7 weeks ago when he kicked the little bag.
Collingwood by 20 points, 3 minutes into the second.
Howe into Markov, kicks up to the wing. Harrison couldn't hang on to the mark. Stephen May came late to spoil. Clayton Oliver onto it. Kicks up inside 50. Van Rooyen rises and takes the mark. On the back of Markov. The Demons desperately need someone to impose themselves on this contest, and Jacob Van Rooyen takes a good mark.
Well, he had the perfect ride there, Van Rooyen. Mark off the smaller opponent in front, just put the knee in the middle of the back and take we'll call it a nice little hanger.
Yep. Missed 2 of the last 3 with a concussion against the Eagles, and last week with a hip injury against the Dockers. The young Demon out to the left, will kick from right on 50, and don't they need it. Van Rooyen's shot on goal. Does it get there? I think it did. A spoil from behind the goal line, and Melbourne finally have their first goal of the match through Jacob Van Rooyen at the 4-minute mark of the second quarter. Cosy Pickett in the first was denied with a goal review as it made its way back to the middle. It was deemed it came off Charlie Dean's finger, but the Demons are finally on the board in King's birthday footy. 1-5-11 to Collingwood 4-1-25.
Well, to say they needed that Ramo would be a bit of an understatement. As soon as he marked that ball, there was about 3 or 4 Melbourne players that all turned and pointed to the goal. They needed a breath, and more importantly, they needed that goal. Hopefully that sparks something in in the Demons. But it was a weird decision by Steele Sidebottom exiting at the defensive 50.
Yeah, with like a torp.
Yeah, and he had Johnny Noble on just a small 5-metre handball, and Noble gave him a bit of a cook, I think. But he tried to exit sideways with a torp that just didn't come off.
Van Rooyen, one of 4 inclusions for the D's for this King's Birthday clash. Back from an adductor issue. Perfect bounce back in the middle. Cameron hooks it down, but onto it, Keziah Pickett. Runs straight into Josh Dacos. Spills out for the D's towards Laurie. Handball out towards Windsor. Chips it on. Chandler trying to get it moving forward. Coughs it up. Collingwood are there on their half-back flank. Harrison away to Markov. Snaps to Josh Dacos. Collingwood by 14 points. These have just kicked their first goal of the game. Josh Dacos handball to brother Nick. He loses it under pressure. Wins his handball errant. Allows in Noble, but getting back involved Viney. D's at half forward. Laurie's handball errant and allows in the Pies.
Kick up towards the wing. Stephen May runs onto it in front of Hoskin Elliott. And the kick is just kept in play by Jack Viney. Hand pass to Laurie. He hand passes out of play. The umpire says throw it in. Collingwood fans on the Shane Warne stand side just trying to put the pressure on the umpire as to whether there was enough intent to keep it in. Lauren Borden on the boundary.
Well, Melbourne have let me know that they were still assessing Christian Petrarca. He's literally just walked up from the rooms now and he's about to go for a little test and a run along the boundary line. So we'll see if he does come back on after he's in so much pain at quarter time.
All right, thank you, Loz. Keep us close as it's thrown back in. Gawn wins down the tap. Laurie kicks inside 50. Petty beaten in the air as Darcy Moore takes the mark. The Collingwood captain hand passes to Howe. He slips over. Van Rooyen races after it. He overruns the footy. Howe's back onto it. Taken over the boundary line and a tackle by Sparrow. Under the Ponsford stand at the city end. A throw in with Collingwood leading by 14 points. The Demons deep in attack.
Looks like Christian Petrarca might come back into this game. Lauren Borden downstairs. What can you see?
Well, he's just done his little fitness test and he's sat right back down at the front of the bench. So it looks like he will be coming back into the game.
He will be a sore boy. Gawn wins the tap decisively for Viney. Under pressure immediately. Half-forward flank here for the D's. Laurie goes in. McCreary knocks it out. Bowie there for the D's. Off towards Chandler. He gives it off to Viney. Stripped. Holding the ball. Schultz wins the free kick for the Pies.
Rocky Schultz didn't get to Josh Dacos. Petty takes the intercepting mark for Melbourne. Looks inside 50. Van Rooyen one-on-one with Darcy Moore. And Jacob Van Rooyen takes the mark. The youngster up for the matchup and is able to claim it in the left forward pocket, 25 metres out.
That's what you want from your young key forward. Darcy Moore, All-Australian defender, premiership captain. Van Rooyen just making his way in the game. Critical moments here for Melbourne early in this second quarter where Van Rooyen's been able to really impose himself on the contest.
Held goalless in the opening quarter. Jacob Van Rooyen opens the angle and he's finding the way back. With the first 2 goals for the Demons coming off his boot as Christian Petrarca makes his way back onto the ground.
Jeez.
The number 5 on his back and he's going to continue to charge on. The Demons 2-5-17 after a slow start to Collingwood's 4-1-25. 8 minutes gone, second quarter on ABC Sport. Adam Ramanauskas, Brent Harvey, how painful can it be to play with broken ribs?
No, well, Boom, he'll certainly have had some pain relief, there's no doubt, but I guess what's fair in love and war in the football game?
Oh, mate, if he's out there to play, he's got to be ready to go because his opponent, he'll be giving it to him a little bit. It's interesting to see he went straight to the middle too, Ram. I thought he might have snuck up forward just to be out of the contest.
Got to make a statement. If you're going to come back on the ground.
Fantastic work. And that goal there, again, on the back of a Collingwood mistake. I think it was Schultz on the half-back flank who had a fantastic tackle, switched the ball and intercepted by Petty.
A restart in the middle. Gawn tries to pull it towards the back of the contest. Getting after it. Sullivan there for the Pies. There with Petrarca. And he piles on top of him. Eventually extracts it. Still doesn't leave the vicinity. Trying to knock it out, Oliver. Lots of players around it. Ball just bobbling around. Gawn picks it up. Handball for Bowie. Gets rid of it towards Turner. Lateral kick, a good one. And Windsor marks backward of the logo. Members side of the ground.
As Windsor looks up towards Neil Bullen. He takes the mark at half forward. Straight in the middle, Christian Petrarca. There's nowhere to hide. The ball comes out in front of him. He looks ginger. The kick for Windsor up towards half forward. Didn't get to Turner. Noble lost it for a moment. Turner regathers for Melbourne. Kicks towards the teeth of goal, but it's out of bounds. On the full, unable to control it. And a free kick for the Pies in the left back pocket. And Braden Maynard, you can probably hear, he's taking the free kick.
In the hurly-burly of the game, would the Pies be absolutely aware of What's happened to Petrarca, or can he miss those sort of things?
No, I don't think they would have missed him walking off the ground as he was during the first quarter break.
Wade Maynard kicks up to Darcy Cameron. He marks at half-back. Who would be the Collingwood villain, do you think? I didn't really have to ask, did I? As Cameron kicks up towards the wing, and Max Gawn is able to take the mark over the top for Will Hoskin-Elliott, the Demons captain, trying to steady the ship, with the Demons having kicked the last 2 goals in the last 4 minutes, having been held goalless in the first quarter.
Just stabs it short on the half volley. Quaynor quickly comes in to apply the tackle on Turner. King's birthday footy here on ABC Sport. It's become a very special day on the footballing calendar and the Australian calendar. Tap down to Lipinski, gives it to Noble, kicks the Pies to half forward. Bouncing ball, McDonald wins it. Frampton went to ground, shakes him right out of his boots, sells a little bit of candy and delivers perfectly for Gawn. Tom McDonald.
The typical ruckman there, Darcy Cameron, just making out like he was spoiling Max Gawn, and then just kept going over the top of him.
Clumsy, very
professionally clumsy.
Very Dustin Fletcher-like.
Gawn with a high ball up towards Van Rooyen. Can't take the mark. Markov's hand pass straight to Petrarca. Kicks off the outside of the boot and puts it out on the full on the left.
Just looking at him after that kick.
He's had a little bit more time, didn't he? I don't think he wanted the contact to come.
No, but he just saw.
He is playing under duress.
It's how long you can last for. Like that the pain relief will start to kick in the next sort of 10 or so minutes, you would say.
The kick finds Noble from Dean out at right half back, works it around the Shane Warne stand side to Hill, who runs away from Langdon, kicks up towards Schultz. What a pass. He marks on his chest at right half forward in front of House, turns inboard, McRae's on, Oliver getting back, gets a desperate touch to it. The Melbourne midfielder wins it back, kicks into the middle of the ground, Fritsch underneath it, Darcy Moore makes the spoil, spills out in front of Chandler, tries to break the tackle at Nick Dacos.
Oh, come on.
And Dacos locks him up. It could have been over the shoulder. He did try and spin out of it, Chandler.
That's a bad miss.
No doubt that was high.
Nearly decapitated him, Nick Dacos. Cameron lays it down for Josh Dacos. Handball forward. Spills to ground. Picking it up quickly. Rivers kicks laterally. Hangs it in the air. Just gets to Langdon. Centre half back for the D's. Collingwood by 8 points. Midway through the second term. Kicks out to the Shane Warne stand wing. Fritsch on a searching lead marks. King's birthday footy on ABC Sport. Fritsch looks around that southern wing. Tries to just wait his kick for Turner. It's a good one. Onto his chest. Comes infield for the D's, turns it over. Lipinski marks, and the Pies will be away.
Bobby Hill looks up, and Nick Dacos is streaming towards goal. Puts it in front of here, Neil Bullen. Nick Dacos going to get boots of ball. No! Well done by Neil Bullen. Never gave up and won the battle. Hand pass to Tom McDonald. They clear defence. Away to Rivers. Can they now turn it to attack? Great kick to Laurie. Marks middle of the members' wing. Hand pass to Clayton Oliver. Looks inside 50. Petty on his own. Gets it to him.
That was a genuine foot race between Nick Dacos and Neil Bullen. And Neil Bullen went with him every step of the way. Then was able to lay a terrific tackle, win the ball back, didn't concede it behind, and then went from one end of the ground to now Harrison Petty having a shot for goal at the other.
Absolutely huge win.
Yeah.
Both have their hands on their hips inside.
And they should, because they both sprinted 70 or 80 metres.
Yep.
What a test on the turf here at the MCG in front of a big crowd, and now the moment is in Harrison Petty's hands. Simon Goodwin needs him to be a forward. He struggled at this area. He comes in from right forward pocket, starts it at the left goal post, and it's rushed through for a minor score. So the margin comes down by 1 for Melbourne, who are making inroads, but still Collingwood by 8 points.
Maynard with a short kick into Quaynor in the pocket. He'll run around the man on the mark. Send it up towards the wing. Rivers in best position. Arriving late, Kruger spoils it down onto it. Petty for the D's. Handball from Viney towards the attacking arc, but Sullivan gets back for Collingwood. Handball to Nick Dacos. Gives it to Maynard. Kicks into the middle of the ground. Schultz slips, recovers. Sweeps a handball over the top. Crisp running. In waves the Pies. Kicks inside 50. Hoskin-Elliott juggles it and marks. And that is Collingwood's slingshot. From half-back to inside 50, straight through the corridor.
Again, from half-back, they win the ball back and they slingshot, Ben. That's the word that it's perfect to describe, isn't it? It was just quick ball movement. It was 1, 2, 3, 4 handballs. Crisp, nice kick inside 50.
Kicked the first goal of the game 45 seconds into it, hangs this out to the left. There's barely any pies there. Frampton in a 2-on-1 and Petty marks at fullback. Missed a shot a short time ago, but now at fullback, Collingwood by 7. Quarter-hour mark of this second term.
Harrison Petty kicks long towards Van Rooyen, up against 2 or 3, and Kruger in from the side. Takes the mark, supporting Jeremy Howe. Matt Klitsch and Ben Cameron calling the action. Lauren Borden on the boundary. Adam Ramanauskas and Brent Harvey, your experts on ABC Sport, as Braden Maynard takes the mark. The boos turn to cheers as the Collingwood crowd tries to take over. It is a Magpies home game. As Maynard kicks long inside 50. Frampton's there. Hoskin Elliott flies as well. Petty brings it down. Salem couldn't knock it clear. Charging through, Bobby Hill can't take it. It's underneath Jack Viney and Salem, and the umpire will ball it up. It's only 25 metres around from the Magpies goal at the Punt Road end. Collingwood leading by 7 points. They got out by 21 points with the opening goal of the second quarter. Schultz can't take possession. Neil Bullen doing the job on Nick Dacos. Kicks up towards the wing. Kruger can't take the mark. Petrarca was slick. Hand pass to Pickett. They've got space at half forward. Kicks towards Van Rooyen. Now no one's in front of him as Turner and Fritsch charge inside 50. Van Rooyen drives it long. Looking for Fritsch or Turner. Turner can't take the mark. Markov now lays the tackle. And the umpire will ball it up 35 metres out from the Demons' goal at the City end.
Great decision by Van Rooyen then not to turn and go, because if he did, he was kicking the 3 Collingwood players.
Petty doing the ruck work, trying to tap it down for Laurie, leaves it behind and allows the Pies in. Lipinski to Josh Dacos to Sullivan. Kick out towards the southern wing. Going to ground McVie. Hill keeps his feet, picks it up for Collingwood. Pokes it forward, Hoskin Elliott takes it. Wide out, just forward of the centre line beneath the Great Southern stand. Dabs it over the top. Lipinski's run on. Just pushed as he kicked. Dabs it towards half forward, and will he get a free kick? He will. He get a little push in the back from Ed Langdon. Of course, Langdon's brother Tom played at Collingwood. Sure he knows a few of the boys out there. Lipinski takes his kick and goes short to Josh Dacos, 2 kicks from home.
Collingwood by 7 points, 4-1-25 to Melbourne 2-6-18. It's Josh Dacos at right half forward. Sends it high inside 50. Frampton was being held, couldn't get a run at it. Spills off hands and goes out of play for a boundary throw in. A crowd of over 80,000 at the MCG. From our commentary spot, blue beanies left, right and centre. A beautiful winter's day with the sun poking through early. I'm sure the floodlights now will come on at half-time. As it's thrown back in, Frampton doing the ruck work against Petty. It spills down. Salem tried to knock it on to Sparrow. Neil Bullen knocks it on. Could have been held with 9 in possession. Side bottom lays the tackle, holding the ball. Umpire deemed that.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Tried to take on the tackle.
Yep. No, he did. Well, he took the ball, then he spun. So there's opportunity there to dispose. Then he gets nailed in a tackle. So there's prior opportunity.
Kay Chandler, having successfully done it once, wasn't able to do so on that occasion.
I don't have a problem with that one, Boomer.
No, that was once you spin out of a tackle or you try to fend off, you got prior opportunity, you're going to get pinged every day, especially with the new rule over the last fortnight, Rama.
So the footy in the hands of the 33-year-old Steele Sidebottom. Second behind Scott Pendlebury in the games records for Collingwood. He's the senior campaigner out there this afternoon. He comes in, gives it everything he's got and drags it left, trying to get every millimetre. And a minor score. Collingwood by 8. Hang on, Rama. Lauren Borden on the boundary.
A bit of fun on the boundary line. So as you mentioned, Alex Neil Bullen and Nick Dacos have been following each other on and off the bench. Dacos went to come off. Craig McRae told him to stop. He nearly turned around. And then he had a bit of a laugh and a joke and actually said, no, you are coming off, as Neil Bullen was running to the Melbourne bench.
I like that from Craig McRae. May with the kick in, brings it towards the members' side of the ground. Roving the pack, Clayton Oliver gives it off to Rivers. Running around the wing for Melbourne, turns it over. Maynard marks, knocked out of his hands there by Langdon, not 50. So Maynard, back edge of the logo. Members' side of the ground. Collingwood by 8 points. King's birthday footy on ABC Sport. Maynard kicks up to half forward. No one able to mark it out the back. Spills towards Hoskin Elliott. Shovels the handball over his head. Rivers pinches it. Forward handball for Sidebottom, who just carries it out in the Windsor tackle. Throw in half forward flank for the Pies.
Just wonder how long Christian Petrarca persists. He can't sprint at the moment. He's clearly in pain. So it's whether it's been the doctor's call or his call. But yeah, he can't get out of a jog. He's just in too much pain.
Adam Ramanauskas with you on ABC Sport. Max Gawn wins down the tap, eventually emerges with the clearance. Hand pass to Wins that dodges and weaves and chips it up towards Clayton Oliver. Sullivan couldn't hang on to the mark for Collingwood. Oliver got it to Wins to Petrarca. Fires a hand pass to Van Rooyen on the members' wing. Works it back to Clayton Oliver. Couple of involvements. Can't get it to Pickett. And Isaac Quainer takes the mark. With a number 3 on his back. Hand pass to Darcy Moore. Hand pass puts Sullivan under pressure. Over his shoulder, a hand pass to Noble. Taken high by Stephen May. Just slipped well over the shoulder and almost coat-hanging him. Thankfully, there wasn't that much force behind it.
Noble just going short. How able to take it. He'll go with a traceable at inside 50 to Harvey Harrison. It was like a heat-guided missile. And Harrison takes the mark 35 metres out, as good as directly in front.
Just the last 4 times I think it's been Melbourne have tried to kick the football forward. It's been a really ugly kick. I'm not sure if that's due to Collingwood's pressure. It's just poor decision and poor execution by Melbourne. But Collingwood have turned the ball over the last 4 kicks of Melbourne going forward.
Rising Star nomination in round 11. Kicked 3 goals on that occasion. Harvey Harrison sneaks it through. A steadier for the Pies. They're out by 14 points. 5-2-32 plays 2-6-18. 21 minutes into the second term. King's birthday footy here on ABC Sport. Here with Adam Ramanauskas and Brent Harvey.
Well, the physio's out with Christian Petrarca now. He just gave him a couple of more tablets to try ease that pain again. Then they had a little conversation again there, which, you know, you're only doing that, Boomer, if there's a real issue, because otherwise you don't even want to talk to the physio if you're a player. So the next few minutes here.
So it's brave, but is it beneficial at the moment? That's the question.
He's had 5 possessions this quarter, so he's had 1 kick, 4 handballs.
Yeah, it looks like he doesn't want to kick the ball though, doesn't he? He wants to get the ball straight out of his hand.
Is Christian Petrarca at 60-70%
better than Jack
Billings? And if they have another injury, that's the other point. They'll be weighing all of that up, the Ds.
The floodlights have come on here at the MCG on cue as Chris gets the clearance to Collingwood. Hand pass to Harrison to McCreary. Like a wave charging out of the middle. Finn McRae fires on goal and misses to the right-hand side. They look damaging Collingwood when they can move the ball with time and space. They lead by 16 points.
Would it be a better option, Ramada, playing forward? Playing out of the goal square?
Now, like, the way he's protecting that left side, the left arm's dropped. He doesn't want to swing when he runs.
Hey, he's not taking contested marks like that, is he?
Long kick in from Bowie is marked uncontested by side bottom, half forward flank for the Pies. Collingwood by 15. 2 goals apiece in this second term. King's birthday footy on ABC Sport. Side bottom sets it up to the pocket, looking for a marker. Kruger just cruises through the pack to take the chest mark 20 metres out. Very tight angle. About 5 metres in from the boundary line in the left forward pocket.
They just kicked to the numbers there, side bottom.
He gives it off to Bobby Hill, who snaps for the finish and bends it too far. It'll come back.
I think Bobby Hill went through the mark to get that handball.
He walked up to give him high five. The umpire let it go, and then he took the football off him.
It's a trick you might try over.
I reckon Boomer has tried.
I don't reckon that rule was around when I was playing. You're allowed to do that.
Kicked a goal in the opening term. Just looking up at the big screen as well, enjoying his own work, waiting for the timer to tell him it's time to go. Wrong side for a left footer. Hard up against the boundary line. Left forward pocket. Kruger steers it through. Threads the eye of the needle with immense skill. Collingwood kick away again. They're out by 21 points. 6-3-39 plays 2-6-18. 24 minutes into the second. Adam Ramanauskas, Brent Harvey.
That's his second goal, Ram. I'm not sure why he wants to give those ones off if you're kicking the ball a little bit of left or right swing on it.
Because
beautiful
pesky little forward pockets try and get the ball there, Boomer.
Yes.
I think I can recall Drew Petrie taking a mark and you doing that a few times.
Well, maybe he was on his other side. I might have. Marks Chewy.
He last played a game of AFL footy, Nathan Kruger, in round 7 against Adelaide in 2013. He kicked 3 goals in the VFL last week. And Craig McRae thought it's time to bring him back in. He's kicked 2 goals. It's been 788 days since he last kicked a goal. And a celebration to match. Collingwood out by 21 points with 3 goals to 2 so far in this second quarter. King's birthday footy on ABC Sport. Cameron tries to take it out of the ruck. He's tackled by Gawn. And the umpire will throw it up. In fact, he's recalled the bounce. Slightly delayed. Matt Clinch and Ben Cameron calling the action. Lauren Borton down on the boundary. Adam Ramanauskas and Brent Harvey, your experts on ABC Sport. Thrown in the air. Cameron wins down the tap. Dacos, that's Nick on the move. Couldn't take it. Spills the way of Finn McRae. He drives a kick inside 50. Underneath it, Tom McDonald. He takes the mark against Nathan Kruger and kicks Melbourne out to half-back. It hung in the air for a few moments, but Windsor was able to mark despite the late challenger Josh Dacos. Up towards the wing. Charlie Dean works his way to the front. Takes the mark for Collingwood against Daniel Turner and wins the ball back centre wing members side. Short to Isaac Quaynor. The Pies by 21.
Tries to deliver a pinpoint pass from McCreary, can only turn it over. Half-back flank for the D's, mark taken by Bowie. Comes infield to Salem, right on the defensive arc. Collingwood by 21 points. 25 minutes into this second term. Salem kicks to the logo, looking for a marker. Pack forms off the hands of the pack, down in front for Josh Dacos. Gives it off to Crisp. He'll kick the Pies to the half-forward flank. Bouncing ball. McDonald traps it. Has room to run and just ambles away from them. Sells some candy again. Second time today for McDonald. Kicks to half forward. Howe's there. He punches it away. And out of play it goes. Throwing to come between wing and half forward for the D's. What about Tom McDonald? Shaking them out of their boots everywhere today.
Yeah, but then the kick going forward, it's kicked 90 to 10 in percentage-wise in terms to Jeremy Howe. It should have been a mark to Collingwood. It was a fantastic play to balk someone, but you've got to be able to execute the second part of that as well.
Thrown back in. Gawn tries to slap it over the back. Josh Dacos knocked it on. It's volleyed forward by Salem. Cameron races after it against his opposing ruck. Max Gawn swings onto his right-hand side. High up in the air it goes. Dacos one direction, Viney the other, and Josh Dacos takes the mark. Hugging it to his chest at left half back. Collingwood by 21 points, closing in on half-time. Dacos chips it over the top, and Quaynor takes the mark. On the SMS, 0437 774 774. Rob from Greensborough says, just like Dusty with his fend-off, there's a different interpretation for the Dacos boys. Get the thoughts of Rammer and Boomer in just a moment as Noble kicks high towards half-forward. Kruger comes charging out, a couple of goals already. Spills to the ground level. Hoskin Elliott couldn't gather. Oliver can for Melbourne. To Salem, under pressure. Laurie had it, lost it. Onto it, Nick Dacos. Hand pass inside 50. Mays hand pass almost chopped off by Hill. Trying to make it work. Howes works it back to Bowie. Hand pass away to Tom McDonald, who kicks to Gawn.
Gawn takes the mark, just backward of the logo. Members side of the ground. Kicks forward to the wing, looking for Petrarca, and Howe comes across to mark for the Pies. And Petrarca looks very ginger. Howe will kick it back from where it came. Gawn's there and he takes the mark. They're playing kick to kick. The mark is up. Jeremy Howe and Max Gawn. So half back for the D's. Gawn puts his boot through it. Back in the Howe direction. Comes in from the side. Punches it this time. Crisp gathers it on the logo. Kicks the Pies to half forward. Kruger will take it in stride.
Beautiful kick.
Now he looks inside 50. Can he spot a target? Gives it off to Josh Dacos by hand. He'll try and kick it inside 50. Ricochets off the hand of McDonald. Comes down for Crisp. He gets a handball away. Lipinski coming through. Can't trap the footy. Knocks it out to McRae. Dumps it on the boot. Kick to full forward. Hoskin Elliott slithers around May to take the mark. And May on all fours can't believe it. Directly in front. 15 out. Hoskin Elliott will go back after the siren. And Melbourne, who have had their chances, haven't capitalised throughout the afternoon. We'll watch Will Hoskin Elliott come in and deliver a heartbreaker on half-time. His second. And Collingwood will lead by 27 at the main break. 7-3-45 plays 2-6-18 on King's Birthday Footy on ABC Sport. They're wounded. Petrarca's hurt. They're not down. They're down, but they're not certainly out at the main break. Adam Ramanauskas and Brent Harvey after the goal kickers. Hoskin Elliott with a couple. Kruger with a couple. McRae and Schultz, while for Melbourne, it's only the one goal kicker who has two, Jacob Van Rooyen.
Wow, it's the heartbreaker. Is that what you said, Benny? The heartbreaker?
Yeah.
I reckon it was, because Melbourne had the game in control at about the 10-minute mark of that quarter, where they had 2-1 on the scoreboard, and they looked like all the play was going their way. And then from there, the next 3 goals went to the Pies, and that last one certainly was a heartbreaker to give them a handy lead going inside at half-time. So, what I'm thinking, Rammer, is I'm one for the tagger, but I don't think they can do it with Neil Bullen. They need to shuffle these cards around and do something completely different. What's going to happen now to Petrarca? He's going to go in and seize up. He's going to be really sore. If he's going to come out and play, he's going to need some more painkillers.
Well, Neil Bullen's actually doing a good job on Nick. Nick Dacos has only had the 8 for the half.
I totally agree, but I think
you're talking more about Melbourne's structure.
Well, they've kicked 2 goals and one bloke's kicked both goals. Yeah. I think they need another avenue to goal, and Neil Bullen, we know, can play that role, and he's very good at it. So.
But if it's Simon Goodwin, you're reluctant to...
He's had 8 possessions. He had no effect on the game. All his possessions have been really... He hasn't broken the line.
Kicks, 4 handballs,
he hasn't broken the line. He hasn't kicked one inside 50. So it's absolutely, it's working. You might want to go with it.
Meters gained as well.
You might want to go with it for another 10 or so minutes. But if Collingwood kick the first goal of the next quarter, it's probably over and done with. So you want to be able to pull the trigger at some stage, no matter what you're going to do. But Melbourne's ball use going forward there, and I called it. There was 4 in a row. Then they had a couple of okay ones, and then there was another 2. Max Gawn kicked one directly back to his direct opponent. The ball use of Melbourne, Rammer, it wasn't good. And what that allows Collingwood to do, which we know, they win the ball back at half forward, and they go forward like it's crazy. The slingshot, as Benny called it, was very evident that quarter, where they kicked the last 3 goals and kicked 4 out of 6 goals for the quarter. The slingshot plays where you don't want to turn the ball over. He's half back, and that's exactly where Melbourne turned the ball over.
Well, it's the inside-outside game for Collingwood. I think that is having the most effect, really. So you look at that and go, with Viney, Oliver, Sparrow, I know Petrarca was injured that quarter, you would say they'd have the advantage through clearance, but it's 16 apiece clearance there. But it's the outside. Once the ball then gets to the outside, Melbourne just look too slow at the moment to really keep up with Collingwood's ball movement. So it's a really interesting, because I think Caleb Windsor on that wing is doing a good job, but then you flip it onto the other side of the ground, and it seems to be Collingwood are able to find a gap at the moment, or find the space at the moment where it's a 2-on-1 or a 3-on-2 in their favour, and Melbourne just can't go. They can't stop. They can't put enough pressure on the ball at the moment to really force the Pies into turnover. Yeah, their forward line is a bit of a worry at the moment. Van Rooyen is the only goal kicker there. Bailey Fritsch, he hasn't had much of the ball. He only had the one possession that quarter. He's had the 6 for the game. Petty's had 7 for the game. Turner has had 8 for the game. But inside 50s, Melbourne are leading that 23 to 21. But Collingwood are picking them apart behind the ball.
18-9 tackles again, Rammer. So they're desperate. Collingwood look more desperate. So it's going to be a big challenge for Melbourne here. Is it out of the question? Absolutely not. But they're going to need another avenue to goal. Van Rooyen kicking their 2 only goals. They need something from Fritz. They need something from their small forwards. Can Petrarca potentially go forward?
Well, I think you've got to make a call on it.
And it's a big call, isn't it? Because you take him out of the game, well, Billings comes on. He can play forward, so maybe that is another avenue towards goal. But it's going to be a big call by Simon Goodwin and the coaching staff of Melbourne, what they do with Petrarca.
I would take him off personally.
Yep.
He's clearly in discomfort. He doesn't want to kick the ball at the moment. Now, can they relieve the pain any more at half-time? Well, how much pain relief can you give somebody?
Rammer, you called. He doesn't look like he wants to run. And when he does run, that left arm is protecting the ribs.
Yep.
So if you do play him deep forward, he's going to have to lead up the football. And it's probably not the ideal spot, is it?
Well, you stick your arms up in the air
and then someone gives you another one. So you sort of say, just put him forward. He can kick you 2 or 3, but the only thing he could do is potentially take a good player away from Melbourne's defence.
I also think what happens if Petrarca does come off the ground, Billings does go forward, play as a forward. That then allows Neil Bullen to still continue on with that role on Nick Dacos. So Sparrow then comes up onto the ball a little bit more in this in this second half. So you've got to sort of rejig the magnets a little bit, but it's no point having a 50% fit Christian, but he's not even 50%, I wouldn't say at the moment.
Adam Romanowskis and Brent Harvey. So the Demons lead the contested possession by 16. They lead the inside 50s by 2. And yet at half-time, they've kicked 2 goals, 6-18 to Collingwood's 7-3-45. So the Jacob Van Rooyen goals at the 4-minute mark and the 8-minute mark, which were their first 2 goals of the match. After Collingwood got out by 21 points with the first goal of the second quarter, the Pies finished with the next 3 to lead by 27 points at the main break. 7-3-45 to the Demons, 2-6-18. We'll bring some of your thoughts on the SMS, 0437 774 774. But first, let's get the latest from the ABC Newsroom.
ABC News with Glenn Lauder. An immigration detainee accused of bashing an elderly Perth woman unconscious has been charged with drug offences. Majid Jamshidi Kushkan is one of around 150 detainees who were released late last year after the High Court ruled indefinite immigration detention was unlawful. In April, it's alleged Mr Kushkan, along with 3 co-accused, impersonated police officers to gain access to an elderly couple's home in Perth's north. He allegedly tied up a 76-year-old man and assaulted a 73-year-old woman before stealing her jewellery. He's faced additional charges of possessing methamphetamine and a prescription drug. He'll remain in custody until his next appearance next month. The public's being warned against panic buying eggs amid a bird flu outbreak. Coles Supermarkets has limited customers to buying a maximum of 2 egg cartons per person everywhere except WA. So far, avian influenza has been detected at 5 poultry farms in Victoria. But health authorities are reassuring the community the chance of spread to humans is low. Victorian State Government Minister Natalie Hutchins says purchase limits shouldn't scare customers.
Sometimes when there's discussions around shortages, it promotes people's thinking to think that they need to stock up. They don't need to stock up. There is still some very good supply. We are the 3rd biggest supplier around the nation.
It's likely the search for a missing surfer in WA's southwest would be called off by the end of the day. The 47-year-old Margaret River local got into trouble at Surfers Point in Prevelly on Friday. His board's been located, but the man remains missing. Sergeant Simone Taplin from WA Police expects the local community will continue patrolling beaches, even if the major search gets called off.
Unfortunately, if he isn't located today, we'll go back to police patrols of the beaches, and the search would likely conclude at the end of today. And we've spoken to the family and advised them of that, but that won't stop our local community and our police officers from checking the beaches regularly.
Friends and colleagues are remembering the ex-South Australian Premier Steele Hall as one of the most influential political reformers of his era. Mr Halls died aged 95. His parliamentary career spanned 33 years, including a term as the South Australian Premier from 1968 to 1970. In 1974, he began a federal career in the Senate. By 1981, he'd been elected as the member for Boothby in Adelaide, which he held until 1996. The former SA Liberal Premier John Olsen remembers Steele Hall as a leader who'd risk his government on a matter of principle.
He was a politician that had courage of his convictions and followed through on them, even though it put at risk his government and his premiership. That was a hallmark of the way in which he operated, always a principle, applying integrity and certainly courage in politics.
The British television presenter and Dr Michael Mosley's being remembered for the impact he had in Australia. The 67-year-old spotty's been found on the Greek island of Symi after going missing during a short walk while on holiday. Sleep expert Danny Eckert from Flinders University met Dr Mosley when he came to Australia and took part in a world-first sleep treatment program for a television series.
We learnt a lot about how important it is. You know, there's no point in doing science and medicine if you cannot get your messages out there to those who need it most. And he just did that so incredibly well. It was a really unique gift.
Vanuatu's electoral commission's deferred announcing the results of the country's constitutional referendum because of what it calls mismatches in polling data. Voting was held a fortnight ago, with people choosing whether to support constitutional amendments aimed at improving political stability. The results were to be released today, but the Commission says verification work's ongoing and it will make an announcement as soon as possible. And Ariane Titmus has impressed in her first heat swim at this week's Australian Olympic and Paralympic selection trials in Brisbane. The 23-year-old was the fastest qualifier in the women's 400-metre freestyle ahead of tonight's final. Titmus says even though she's the reigning Olympic champion, she was nervous before the heat.
Yeah, it's so crazy. Like, if I just do what I know how to do, it's just another heat swim, but for some reason at Olympic trials you just get way more nervous about everything, being safe on the start, not going to make it through, that type of thing. But it's just, just something. But it's a good little hit out. I'm pretty happy with that.
That's the latest from ABC News. For more news at any time, you can download the ABC Listen app.
Time to steady and pull this trigger.
Have you heard the latest AFL podcast from the ABC? Join myself, Catherine Murphy, and AFL legend Paul Roos as we discuss all the big storylines. Feed your footy obsession or just learn more about the game as we bring you all the latest news and analysis. Find the ABC AFL Daily Podcast on the ABC Listen app.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Christian Petrarca down and a little sore as well. Got a massive knee in the ribs from Darcy Moore.
Oh, yes. Arms up. And it's a direct hit, too, with the knee.
He does not look in a good way. Cameron into the pocket, looking for a marker. Schultz, virtually uncontested. He's going to go with the right foot snap, and it's dandy. The Pies are all over them. The first 4 goals on King's birthday.
Clayton Oliver onto it. Kicks up inside 50. Van Rooyen rises and takes the mark. The young teaman out to the left will kick from right on 50, and don't they need it. Van Rooyen's shot on goal. Does it get there? I think it did. And Melbourne finally have their first goal of the match. Petty takes the intercepting mark for Melbourne. Looks inside 50. Van Rooyen one-on-one with Darcy Moore. And Jacob Van Rooyen takes the mark. Held goalless in the opening quarter. Jacob Van Rooyen opens the angle and he's finding the way back as Christian Petrarca makes his way back onto the ground. The number 5 on his back, and he's going to continue to charge on.
He'll go with the traceable at inside 50 to Harvey Harrison. It was like a heat-guided missile. Harvey Harrison sneaks it through. A steadier for the Pies. Sidebottom sets it up to the pocket, looking for a marker. Kruger just cruises through the pack. Hard up against the boundary line. Left forward pocket. Kruger steers it through. Threads the eye of the needle with immense skill. Collingwood kick away again. Lipinski coming through. Can't trap the footy. Knocks it out to McRae. Dumps it on the boot. Kick to full forward. Hoskin Elliott slithers around May to take the mark. And Melbourne have had their chances. Well, watch Will Hoskin Elliott come in and deliver a half-breaker on half-time.
For AFL Premiership season.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Half-time at the MCG, King's birthday footy on ABC Sport. The Magpies led by 15 points at quarter time, 4 goals to 2 in that second quarter to open up a 27-point advantage at the main break. 7-3-45 to the Demons 2-6-18. Matt Clinch and Ben Cameron calling the action. Brent Harvey and Adam Romanascus are your experts, with Lauren Borden down on the boundary. On the SMS, 0437 774 774. We'd love to hear from you. Make sure you let us know your name and where you're listening in from. Riley's been in touch. How about those Kangas, Boomer? The chase from the Big X was fantastic.
Yes, it was. He owed us one because he got pushed underneath the ball, and the boys, and they kicked the goal, the ruckman, for the opposition, and the boys were filthy on him. So it was good, and because he was chasing Liam Ryan, wasn't he? And it was, of course, he's super quick, and he done fantastic. But it was great to be over there and watch a win for the first one for the year.
From Steve in Hobart, I really wish the AFL would go back to the rule interpretations instead of making them so damn complicated. I know a lot of people have said it, but nobody knows these days what the rules are for holding the ball. Is it going to be paid, not get paid? A simple solution is, if you have the ball, if you have a chance to get rid of it and you get tackled and you don't get rid of it correctly, then it should be a free kick. So frustrating. The problem is not the Demons forwards, but the Melbourne's woeful delivery inside 50. Hi guys, Steve and Joe here, listening from Essendon Caravan Park on the York Peninsula on our way home from Adelaide. on our way home to
There's
Adelaide.
one a little
from
bit
WA.
further down. Get going
Great
down.
calling and go D's. Okay, Rama, just hang on, I'll get to them. Fran from Melbourne says, "G'day guys, enjoying the call. Go Pies. Boys, Doggies game, why did we lose that? D's not as good as the Doggies were. Hope we don't lose the lead. Congrats to the Kangas." That's from Fran. Melbourne are in disarray. They have turnover merchants all over the ground. Number 6 in particular, Kayla Wins, has been called out. They can't convert. Why not have Petrarca permanent forward, especially when injured? Rod from Hobart says, "Hi, guys. The D's are turning the ball over by a foot, really hurting them." Which one do you want, Rama? Hi, guys. Listen to the game whilst doing absolutely nothing. This sounds like you, Rama. Lazing on the couch. Fun fact, I work with a guy who, if you put a Demons jersey on him, he would look exactly like Max Gawn. Only thing is, he's only 5'5", so I call him Mini Gawn. Go Pies. That's from Nathan in Darwin.
Min Gawn.
Min Gawn. He calls him Min Gawn. That's actually pretty good.
Oh, I like that one.
So if you're listening to us, especially on the crystal clear ABC Listen app, just click on the AFL button. Let us know. 0437 774 774. So the story of the match has been Collingwood jumped out of the blocks. They kicked 3 goals to none in the opening quarter. The Demons have been inaccurate. We think Christian Petrarca has broken ribs, but he is running out with his teammates. That was right on quarter time. So he's been able to play the second quarter. The pantomime has been that the Melbourne fans have tried to boo Braden Maynard. Everyone's getting involved on social media as well, including Dane Swan, who said it's cute to hear the Melbourne supporters try to boo Maynard, but if you're going to do something, do it properly. Collingwood fans have tried to drown them out with their cheers whenever he touches the ball. And, of course, the Pies holding a 27-point advantage at the main break. So both of these sides outside the 8, desperately trying to fight their way back in with victory this afternoon.
And you're sort of looking now, I think, for who can lift for Melbourne. And look, clearly they want more out of Bailey Fritsch. I think Tom Sparrow is one that they need a little bit more out of. Ben Lagden on that far wing. He's only had the 4 possessions in that first half.
He's played a little bit more forward today, Rama.
They want more out of Petty and Turner, no doubt.
Fritsch needs to hit the scoreboard.
Viney's only had the 8 possessions. Pickett's only had 8 possessions. So, there's probably more down for Melbourne that they could get a real spike in improvement in this third quarter. Collingwood have been pretty good. Crisps had the 16 possessions. Josh Dacos has had the 15. Maynard 13. McRae 13 and a goal. So, but what Melbourne haven't been able to do is stop Collingwood's ball movement. And that's where they're usually so good at structurally setting up behind the ball and not allowing teams really to pierce through them really quickly. So Collingwood have had only the 21 inside 50s for 10 scoring shots, 7 goals, 3. So their efficiency is really good. Nathan Kruger's been really good for them up forward in that first game in a long time. And it's just they've played they have played with a lot more energy, Collingwood, in that first half. And that's been really noticeable around the ball. And I talk about that inner circle, that inner 2-metre circle, Boomer. But then when it goes to that outer circle, that 5 metres and out, they just look quicker.
And with their ball movement, absolutely it does.
Adam Ramanaskas and Brent Harvey with you in the NRL today. Round 14, their King's birthday clash as the Parramatta Eels who lead the Canterbury Bulldogs 10 points to 2. Coverage, of course, is available on the ABC Listen app. Just click on the ABC Sport button. It's the AFL button for all the AFL commentary throughout the season. I couldn't get to sleep last night, Benny, after doing the King's birthday eve. So I watched Carlos Alcaraz win his first French Open title as he got past Alexander Zverev. Took a bit longer than what I thought it was going to take. 5 sets, 6-3, 2-6, 5-7, 6-1, 6-2. And in the Formula One, Max Verstappen claimed the Canadian Formula One Grand Prix. And if you weren't listening, Rama gave the 3 votes in the ABC Football of the Year to Brian Johnson, Pat Rafter, who went down the slide, channeling the AC/DC with the Thunderstruck, very much playing to the occasion. Lauren Borden on the boundary.
I've just been watching Christian Petrarca after he ran out with the team. He didn't do the warm-up. He walked straight to the bench, sat down, and he's gone back into the rooms. So it looks like Jack Billings actually might be taking off his warm-up top as we speak. So he could be coming into the game quite soon.
As you said, Boomer, seizes up at half-time when you sit down, and then you go through the warm-up and starts to hurt again.
It certainly does. That's the worst part of an injury, isn't it, Remy? Especially a corky or something, you've got to keep it moving. You've got to jump on the bike.
Just on the Freeze MND target, $3 million. They're at 2.26. So closing
Plenty of time to Dig deep, everybody.
Collingwood by 27 points into the second half we go with Ben Cameron.
Launching early, Gawn, winning it down. Cameron bursting through Dacos. That's Nick. Quiet in the first half. Handball to Crisp. Handball to Cameron. Tries to dab a kick inside 50. Low down. No mark taken. D's work it out through McVie. He gets it to Viney, who kicks into the middle. Gawn flicks a handball for Pickett. 1-2 with Langdon. Through the attacking edge of the square. Into the pocket. And Van Rooyen marks.
And that's what they needed. Just that spark earlier. Terrific by Judd McVie. It's a real low kick inside Collingwood's forward 50, and he was there to intercept. They got that ball then to Viney. Viney a short kick, and then 2 handball receives by Cozzy Pickett, and the ball's inside forward 50 with Van Rooyen again.
It's that breaking the line of Cozzy, isn't it? He needs more of that.
Need plenty more of that.
On the trot, on the way in. Van's the man for the D's today. He's got all 3 of their majors. And he brings it back to 21 points. First goal of the second half, 7-3-45. Plays 3-6-24. Early stages of this second half. King's Birthday footy on ABC Sport.
Well, we talk about energy on the football, and it's exactly what just happened then. A couple of players got involved that you mentioned at halftime that you need a lift from in terms of Pickett and Viney as well. So the ball started on the half back, and they transition it through Pickett, who broke a line, gave a forward handball, and I love players that can give a forward handball, use their pace, especially like Pickett, and get the ball back, and it was a beautiful finish into Van Rooyen's hands, who's kicked all 3 goals for the Demons. So hopefully this sparks them, and we've got a game on our hands, boys.
He is trying to keep the Demons in it. Back in the middle. Gawn up against Cameron. Cameron wins down the tap. Pickett on the move. He leaves it for Oliver. Can't get a clean hand pass away. Salem tries to knock it on. Now becomes the tackler against McCreary, and the umpire will ball it up. Still in the centre square, just to the right of the centre circles. A lot of numbers around this as Gawn and Cameron engage. Gawn got it down to Neil Bullen. It spills out to Oliver. Doesn't get a lot of purchase on his kick. But up with the flight is Sparrow. Can't get a disposal away. And Sullivan lays the tackle, and the umpire will ball it up. Pies by 21 points. King's Birthday footy. Cameron wins down the tap. Lipinski kicks into the middle of the ground. Might suit Windsor. Gathers from Melbourne. Tries to break past McCreary. Under pressure back to Rivers. Has to swat it down to Oliver. Under pressure to Bowie. Tackled by Chris. McCreary over the top. And the ball is locked underneath them. The umpire will ball it up. Still in the centre square. Pies by 21.
Neil Bullen continuing to go to Nick Dacos as well. Being fairly physical at him at all stoppages. He needs a little bit of a help here, Nick Dacos.
King's Birthday footy on ABC Sport. Winning it down Gawn. At the bottom of the pack, Oliver trying to shovel it out towards Viney. Nowhere to go. Neil Bullen involved too, and a ball up. Pies led by 27 at half-time. That is their biggest lead of the afternoon. Cameron winning the tap. Crisp can't emerge with the footy. He was held onto, though, free kick. Just on Christian Petrarca, if he doesn't play next week, we'll end a 145 consecutive game streak. Second in the AFL to this man, Jack Crisp. He's playing 227 today. Drives it low inside 50. Through the hands of the pack. McCreary soccers it on. Falls to Frampton. Snaps the goal. Instant reply for the Pies. Back out by 27 as they were at the half. 8-3-51 plays 3-6-24. Before Adam Ramanauskas and Brent Harvey, Lauren Borden.
So with Christian Petrarca down in the rooms, the Melbourne medical doctors actually have called the AFL independent staff to come down as well into the room. So they've got them down there helping Christian Petrarca as Jack Billings just has put on his jumper. He's got his GPS and he's ready to go out now as the sub.
Well, it's a weird one because it's not a concussion.
No, well, it might.
Maybe green whistle, maybe?
Yeah, whistle or getting the ambulance organised. Yeah. I'm not sure.
Yeah, right.
Well, luck's a fortune sometimes in football there. So McCreary just kicked the ball out of mid-air and just landed in Frampton's hands. So.
Went a metre and a half. And he was in the right place at the right time, wasn't
he? Exactly. So Stephen May went up into that contest and dropped off Frampton. Frampton then just falls out the back and kicks the goal.
Get a goal assist for that, McCreary?
Should.
The goal apiece so far in this third quarter. A free kick for a hold. It's going Collingwood's way, and Jack Crisp will take it. Looks out to the members' side, chips it to Isaac Quainer. He wants to play on with a hand pass to Josh Dacos. Down low he gathers the footy. Centre wing on the members' side. Kicks up towards McCreary. It's close to the boundary line. Umpire says it was still in. Very close at the right half-forward line, just in front of Trent Rivers. Bo McCreary looking inside 50, where Cameron has pushed forward. He sends it in that direction. Bobby Hill's there as well. Cameron's the target. Can't take the mark. Spills down towards Crisp. And Max Gawn tries to clear it. He just jags it on his boot. A high ball towards Petty and Maynard. Petty can't take the mark. Onto it, Dean. Tucks the shoulder. Fritsch's tackle is over the shoulder, and Charlie Dean will take the free kick. Lauren Borden on the boundary.
Just official confirmation coming from Melbourne. Christian Petrarca has been subbed out with a rib issue. So they've said it's ribs for Petrarca, and we'll just keep an update to see if he does head to hospital.
Thanks, Loz. Great work. Charlie Dean looking into the pocket. In the Cameron direction. He's clunked it. Just in the field of play, 25 metres around from the goal, and the mark is set a metre in from the boundary line.
Fantastic mark. He had Gawn putting a lot of pressure on him and had the boundary right there, so he's throwing chairs now, he's throwing water bottles, he's not happy with the trader that didn't move it for him.
So hard up against the advertising hoardings. He'll push off them on his approach. Needs a little bit of left to right swing on the drop punt. The big man is highly skilled. Collingwood are in takeover mode. The game well and truly in their keeping. They're out by 33 points, 9-3-57. Plays 3-6-24. 6.5 into the third. King's birthday footy on ABC Sport.
Well, boom, they're doing it around clearance at the moment. It's 3-0. In clearance in this quarter, but again, that ball should be killed over the boundary line by Max Gawn. Yes, good mark by Darcy Cameron, but it was a kick that is really easy to defend. It should be easy to defend, and then how many times has the ruckman got to kick a goal from the boundary like that?
It's always good when your direct opponent is one of the all-time great ruckmen too, so you can get one over him. It was a fantastic left to right, wasn't it? A little bit of ball drop makes the ball swing back right way, which Cameron just did.
Fifth goal of the season for Darcy Cameron. Back in the middle. Nick Dacos tries to get the clearances. Picked off by Max Gawn. Half pass gathered by his opposing ruck. Darcy Cameron, he can't get a disposal away. And the umpire will ball it up.
What a free kick? No.
Kind of gestured with his right arm, but no, just clearing space as he throws it up. Gawn and Cameron once more, down to Steele side bottom. It kicks up towards Kruger, trying to juggle the mark in front of Tom McDonald. Can't hang on. McDonald gets it out to McVie. Hand pass out to Billings. The sub into the action. Kicks up towards half forward, over the head of Turner. And the mark is taken by Darcy Moore. The Collingwood captain still on all fours as he gets a hand pass forward to Markov. Not a great kick as he bangs it up the wing. And Stephen May takes the intercepting mark for Melbourne.
Gives off the handball to Neil Bullen running by. Long kick inside 50. Over the back. Mark taken by Howe defensively for the Pies. Collingwood by 33. Gets 4 of the last 5 goals of the game. Lateral kick, a dangerous one from Howe. Skids away from Johnny Noble. So I'll throw in half-forward flank here for the D's. King's birthday footy on ABC Sport. Round 13. The final game of it from the MCG.
Floodlights have taken over here at the MCG. Pies have got out by 33 points, a game-high margin. As it's tossed back in, Gawn sets himself in front against Cameron. Tap down to the front, Nick Dacos on the move. Hand pass to Finn McRae at half-back. Turns and kicks up the members' wing. Kruger underneath it. McDonald shoved him underneath. Illegally, says the umpire. And Nathan Kruger, with 2 goals next to his name, will take the free kick centre wing members' side. On the SMS, 0437 774 774. Coming through loud and clear on the Camino Trail in Spain, where Joanna is doing the walk. Love listening to the ABC commentary. There's a big fly from Steele side bottom. Up on the top of Billings, turning back the clock.
That's a nice hang.
Turner was underneath and side bottom able to get some good hang time for the Collingwood crowd. Thoroughly enjoyed.
Got the knee up on the shoulder there of Turner, still side bottom. He's smiling about it as well.
He was smiling before he landed.
Yeah. Channeling his best, Jeremy Howe as Steele side bottom, right on the shoulder of Daniel Turner. To turn back the clock. Can he finish with a goal? From outside 50, Sidebottom comes in, doesn't get much purchase on it. I think it's touched. Was it? No, out of bounds on the full. He got very close to the man on the mark, but never looked like a great kick off the boot.
He's had 2 today outside 50.
Yeah.
It just makes that goal in the grand final all the more remarkable.
Doesn't adjust.
It went over the fence, that goal in the grand final from Steele Sidebottom.
Adrenaline's a crazy thing, isn't it?
Well, in the last 5 minutes of the grand final.
Unbelievable. Van Rooyen wins it from the kick up to the wing, gives it off to Laurie, pokes the kick over the top for the D's. Turner, that sore shoulder from Sidebottom's knee, takes the mark, loops it over the top to Laurie, spins out of trouble, evades the Sidebottom tackle, kicks around the boundary, and Dean's there. The Pies mark, halfback flank on the southern side of the ground.
Switches back inside 50 to John Noble. He bounds away from Bailey Fritsch, takes a bounce. Fritsch offers chase. He kicks out to Josh Dacos. Marks it right half-back member's side, around his body, up towards Schultz, caught behind against Tom McDonald, who takes the mark. The Melbourne defender just has to shove off Schultz. He's trying to hold on to him as he swings back on his right. Wants to move it forward to Fritsch. He has it at left half forward. Pickett's in the pocket. Fritsch beautifully on his left, just controlled the pass and just found Pickett in the field of play. He's deep in the left forward pocket, up against the boundary line.
Good strong mark by Tom McDonald.
It was a great mark. This is going to be a big kick in it because he's 45 out, Ramo, and when you're snapping it.
Pickett opens up the angle, curls it towards goal and puts it through.
Great goal.
Just what Melbourne needed, a spark, and Cozzy provides it. The Demons pull the margin back to 27 points Collingwood's way. 9-3-57 to the Demons, 4-6-30. And finally a goal scorer, which isn't Jacob Van Rooyen.
And what Melbourne have got on, they don't need to do all the work in this quarter. So if they're within 3 or 4 goals at the last break.
Well, they're only 27 points now. It's not out of reach.
No, it's just not allowing Collingwood just to stretch it out to that 40-point margin, where it's, that's going to be really, really tricky in a last quarter. So keep the game close. Try to control the tempo now for this next period of time. Plenty of time to go in this quarter, but stop Collingwood's run. Like John Noble there, he was able to run across the ground and kick that ball quite easily. Fritsch apply a little bit more pressure on that occasion.
Well, against Carlton, they were goalless in the opening term to 5 goals straight from the Blues and slowly chipped away and ended up only going down by a point. Can they do it again? Crisp takes it out of the middle, kicks the Pies to the forward pocket. May takes the mark. Kruger just slipped over. Dangerous kick for Salem, just gets there. Salem goes up the middle to Oliver.
Yeah, they're starting to take that corridor kick a little bit more. In the first and second quarter, they would have went a little bit wider.
Centre half back for the D's. Gives it off by hand to Salem. Cruising by. Finds Bowie on the wing. He'll look towards half forward. Howe comes across. Punches it into row G. And a throw-in to come between wing and half forward for the D's. King's birthday footy on ABC Sport. Collingwood by 27.
As we look down to where the ball's about to be thrown back in, I reckon 80%, maybe even 85 to 90%, all have the blue beanies. For the Big Freeze, number 10, King's birthday footy on ABC Sport. Thrown back in. Max Gawn takes front position against Frampton. It clears the 2, gets to the back. Salem and Langdon trying to run onto it. Salem's hand pass back to Gawn over his shoulder. Looking for Sparrow, can't take it. McRae slides in, knocks it out to Crisp of Collingwood. He can't keep his footing. Wins it with a hand pass to Laurie for Melbourne. Hand pass away to Salem. Kicks inside 50. Fritsch on the lead. He marks on his chest.
That's what they need to do. Start dropping their eyes, Ramo, and hitting those leads up. Pickett leads hard forward. Fritsch leads really hard forward. If they can drop their eyes and make the Collingwood defenders defend, they're not going to like that.
Well, Moore, Maynard and Howe all love to drop off their direct opponent. Even Quaynor loves to drop off his direct opponent.
7 disposals this afternoon for Bailey Fritsch. Was held goalless last week against the Fremantle Dockers, but just the second time this season. He's out to the left. The Demons looking for their spearhead. He comes in and crosses 50. Fritsch fires on goal. It's a good effort. It drifts left to right and just through for a minor score. Collingwood by 26 points. 14 minutes gone. Third quarter on ABC Sport.
He wasn't even just goalless last week, Clinch. He was scoreless. First time since 2020 that has happened as the Pies quickly move it to the wing. May, good contested mark. Skittles the pack and comes down with the footy. He's back in possession. Infield kick to Sparrow. On the logo. Shallow inside 50 for the D's. Petty goes up off his hands. Fritsch coming through. Right foot snap. Floats it on goal. Sidebottom getting back. He juggles the mark and just takes it in play. Right on the last line. That fat side winger getting back and doing the
Terrific running
defensive
by
work.
steel side bottom. That's just pure work rate.
Nearly called him side steel bottom.
Yeah, I did.
Short to Maynard, who kicks long up towards the wing, and well, position was Howes. He takes the mark with good support from Turner. Right half forward for the Demons, trying to lock the ball inside their forward half.
Happy to admit my mistakes, Benny.
Inboard to Turner. Don't try and read a text message when still side bottom's in the air. I didn't think he was a likely culprit. As Howes drives it inside 50 in the direction of Gorn. He's out number 2 on 1. Frampton brings it down with more support. The ball locked up with Charlie Dean. And the umpire will board up right forward pocket for the Demons. Pickett on the move. Christian Petrarca having been subbed out of the match. Gorn slaps it over the back. Josh Dacos races onto it. Maynard into Fritsch. He bounces off him. Hand pass to Howe. Collingwood through half-back to Noble to Sullivan. Arches the back. Brought down by Billings. No whistle. Sullivan goes again. Salem tries to get it clear for Melbourne. Away to Billings and now to Pickett. Pulls his kick. Looking for Fritsch. Quaynor makes the spoil. Big moment for the Collingwood defender. Spills out to Oliver. Hand pass to Salem. Good sidestep.
Yeah, gets around Schultz. Kicks on his left boot into the pocket, flying in from the side, no mark, comes down for Fritsch, dribbles it on goal and side bottom tracking back. Just make sure it goes the left-hand side of the goalpost, minor score.
He's had a good couple of minutes, Bailey Fritsch.
The kick in goes straight to Maynard, he's bundled over, will it be 50? Yes.
Oh.
So the non-controlling umpire said that's 50. Umpire Justin Power, who was right there, just went and stood the mark.
No, that's 50. Because Maynard had hit the ground, then Howes came in late and bowled him over. So it's a 50-metre penalty.
Maynard kicks laterally to the logo. Mark taken by Noble onto side bottom. And moves it on to Harrison, half-forward flank for the Pies.
There's a goal this afternoon. Harvey Harrison out to the left. Melbourne have had a lot of inside 50s in this quarter. Pulls his kick to the pocket. Frampton the target, clears him. And Gorn. Kruger tries to knock it onto Hill. Under pressure, Langdon runs out of room. And it goes out of play in the left forward pocket for Collingwood. At the city end of the MCG, the Pies by 25 points at the 17-minute mark of the third term. Toss back in. Gorn takes front position against Frampton. Fists it and gains a good 15 metres. Max Gorn. Side bottom becomes the tackler. Spills out away from Chandler. Oliver gets the hand pass to Langdon. Over the top to Pickett. Into the middle of the ground. Needs support. Gives the hand pass away to Sparrow. Arches the back away from Maynard. Kicks up to Fritsch on the bounce.
And he just coolly gathers it. Now he looks to pull his kick towards full forward. Langdon arriving late. Clatters into Turner. Ball jars free into the pocket. Onto it, Howe for the Pies. Evades one. Caught by Pickett. Could have been holding the ball. It is.
Well done, Cosy Pickett.
And he's bundled over, shoved over by Howe. No 50 there. Braden Maynard charges over to get involved.
I'm sure what Ed Langdon was trying to do there. Just ran straight into his teammate in Turner in that marking contest where just didn't need to. He should have just got to the fall of the ball.
Cosy Pickett to try and ignite his team. He's bending it. And the second time today he's hit that post. Third overall.
Third overall, yeah.
Collingwood by 24 points. King's birthday footy on ABC Sport.
They're just pushing here, Melbourne.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of heat in the game now. Four players just went over to Cosy and told him that he should have kicked it. And he's one you don't want to fire up because he will go hard.
13-8, the inside 50s in this quarter, Melbourne's way. Brett Harvey and Anna Romanascus, your experts. Matt Clinch and Ben Cameron calling the action. Lauren Borden on the boundary for ABC Sport. Moore kicks out to Howe. He marks in the right back pocket. Kicks up to Josh Dacos. Wants to give it back to Jeremy Howe. In the fluorescent orange boots. Kicks around the boundary line to McCreary. He takes the mark. Josh Dacos has kept running. Receives the hand pass. McVee tries to corral him. A centering ball looking for Harrison. Can't get down low. It spills off the boot of Tom McDonald. Who volleys it straight to Nick Dacos. He marks right on 50.
Yeah, Neil Bullen was right there
He
too.
was about 3 metres away from him, Boone. And it fell into
just one of those
Dacos' lap rather than Neil Bullen's lap.
And all Alex Neil Bullen can do is shake his head. Nick Dacos goes back from outside 50. What can he do here? Dacos veers out to the right. Gives it everything he's got. It's close to the goal line. And might have got there! Nick Dacos with a long-range bomb. And the Pies superstar inserts himself in the match. As Melbourne were banging down the door at one end, Nick Dacos stands up and takes his moment. Collingwood by 30 points, 10-3, 63 to the Demons, 4-9, 33. 20 minutes gone, third quarter on ABC Sport.
And that's one that's really going to hurt Melbourne because they've had all the play, Rammer. The last 6 or 7 minutes, the ball's been in their forward 50 a lot of the times, and that one just gets a little bit of luck, and Nick Dacos finishes it beautifully from outside 50.
Well, Collingwood's 3 goals this quarter. The Frampton little topo from McCreary, lucky. Darcy Cameron kicks a goal from the boundary, lucky.
Third row.
And that drops into Nick Dacos' hands with a kick off the ground. So it's just been 3 goals of fortune for the Pies in this quarter.
You won't be surprised to know that Peter Dacos jumped out of his seat and gave it a big fist pump. Restart in the middle, Van Rooyen in the ruck for the D's. He's given away a free kick. Darcy Cameron to receive it. Kicks the Pies out to the wing. Oleg Markov with running room. Goes for a little trot. Kicks inside 50. Turns it over. Overshoots Kruger and May can take it. Back pocket. Bites off the kick up the middle. Looking for Van Rooyen. Slides into Mark, centre half back.
Hand pass away to Rivers. Tackled late as he got his kick out towards Chandler. Maynard underneath. Couldn't keep his footing. Chandler did. Hand pass forward to Fridge. Pressure came from Quaynor. Kicks not a good kick that suited Petty. Although Moore dropped the mark. Dean's hand pass away to Cameron. Tells Darcy Moore. He has Quaynor at right half back. Fires the hand pass away after receiving the instruction. Kicks up the members wing towards McCreary. Can't take the mark. House gathers. Hand pass to McVee. Works it forward to Viney. Kicks inside 50. Turn of the target. Moore worked him underneath it. It clears to the back with Dean gathers for Collingwood. A chance to clear.
He will send it up for side bottom. Right there with him, Neil Bullen, reaching over the top to spoil.
That's a perfect example. So that ball goes inside Melbourne's forward 50, and it's 4-on-3 in Collingwood's favour. So they're able to clear the ball again.
And the kick's not to advantage, Rammer. It's a kick, and I hope we're good enough to mark this.
That's right.
You're just not going to get that on Darcy Moore. You've got to keep talking about dropping your eyes against them.
Collingwood by 5 goals neat. Tapping it down, Cameron on the burst through Nick Dacos. Gets a handball to Lipinski. His handball releases the run of Noble towards centre half forward. Handball knocked down. McVee pinches it for the D's. Goes back the other way. Handball away towards Oliver. Handball misses Viney. Nick Dacos takes it back for Collingwood.
Gets the hand pass to Markov and out of McRae. Inside 50. Frampton on the lead. Can't take it. Couldn't change direction. The kick didn't suit him. Swallow under pressure though as he tries to knock it clear. Tackled by Kruger and Lipinski, and the ball locked up. Jack McVee has it locked to his chest, and a ball up 45 metres out from Collingwood's goal.
Not good enough there by Clayton Oliver. That handball's got to hit in the middle of the ground.
Van Rooyen against Kruger, spins down to Lipinski, blazes away towards the teeth of goal. Stephen May got an awkward bounce against Frampton. He's able to knock it on though. Howes goes short and Rivers marks at left half back. Collingwood by 30 points, 23 minutes gone, third turn.
These have had their moments though. Rivers, long kick for Turner, hands to it, follows up at ground level, tackled straight away by Cameron. High free kick. Wants to get back off the mark, gives it off to Windsor. Steps his man Dean. Handball to half forward. Fritsch wide out. Centering ball. Langdon comes into mark in the long sleeve. 25 out, 45 degree angle.
There it is, Boomer.
Yep, that's a perfect kick, and it's very hard to stop when you kick the ball 20 metres and someone's leading at you. You want to be Superman to try to stop that, and unfortunately for Collingwood, Markov, he's not Superman. Gee, what a big kick this one's going to have to be. Just keeps him alive. Just, Rammer.
Yeah, well, it takes the margin back to 4 goals.
His brother Tom played for the Pies. But he's a demon through and through to keep them coming, bending it back, nicking off the post.
Is that 5?
That's 4.
4 posters, 2 on the full.
Oh,
dude, they've had their opportunities.
Geez, you swing those 4 posters. They're 4-10-34, playing 10-3-63. When you do the maths quickly, that's 20 more points to their total. So it would be 63 playing 54 and only 9 points.
We're going down the champion data projected scores angle, but for Melbourne fans, it's deflating in the MCG. They're working hard. Markov played on when he was out of play, and a throw in at right half forward for the Demons. Collingwood 10-3-63 to Melbourne 4-10-34, as Ben mentioned. The Pies by 15 points at quarter time, by 27 at half time. And the Demons' endeavours have lifted despite despite Christian Petrarca having been subbed out of the match. Thrown in. Quaynor for Collingwood. Hand pass away to Crisp. Links up with Lipinski. Kicks across the ground. Out towards the members' wing and out in front of McCreary. He gathers in front of Howes. He looks up towards half forward. Kicks looking for Frampton. Mayswell situated in front. And he takes the mark. He played on though. Hand pass chopped on by Crisp. He gets it down. A chance for the Pies here. Hoskin Elliott gathers. Swings back onto his left. Long towards Kruger. Against Tom McDonald. Used his body. Dropped the mark. Racing back Bowie for Melbourne. Hand pass to Sparrow. Short to Rivers. To Howes and Melbourne out of defence.
Howes just off a step, kicks up to the wing. Dean rids himself a petty, drops the chest mark, recovers with the handball to Noble. Handball back to Moore, Pies on the wing, kicks inside 50. May comes across, left-handed spoil, down for McCreary, half-forward flank for the Pies, gets it on the boot. Out of bounds. That was out of bounds, and we will get a throw in. Right at the elbow of the boundary line and 50. Collingwood by 29 points, King's birthday footy. Here on ABC Sport, close to three-quarter time.
Umpire readying himself to throw it back in. Floodlights on here at the MCG. As day starts to turn tonight. Thrown back in. Gawn takes himself in front position against Darcy Cameron. Spills down to the front. Rivers' hand pass over the top to Viney. Trying to break the tackle of Josh Dacos. Hand pass to Oliver. Trying to spin out of a McCreary tackle. Got it forward to Neil Bullen. It ricochets off Noble and goes out of play. Not far from the two benches. Collingwood by 29 points, closing in on three-quarter time at the MCG.
Umpire flings the yellow footy back in. Cameron reaches over Gaunt to bring it to the front. Crisp trying to get through with the footy. Can only knock it on, and the D's are there. McVie picks it up. Across halfback. Turns it over. Handball to Noble. Gives it off to Crisp. Kick into the pocket for the Pies. Punched away by Howes. Halves as opposed to
little
Frampton and
mistakes,
Hoskin Elliott.
Just little mistakes that Melbourne are making with handball.
Yep.
Three or four occasions this quarter, Collingwood have been able to intercept the handball. And, if they get that handball through Melbourne, they're through the pressure.
Adam Romanascus with you on ABC Sport. Thrown back in. Gawn knocks it down in front against Cameron. Josh Dacos gathers, shares it with brother Nick. Kicks a centering ball for Harrison. Great kick. Good mark as well as Billings came late. And Harvey Harrison marks directly in front, 45 metres out from goal.
Well, he hesitated, Billings. They just needed to continue on with that spoil. Didn't take the body.
The third-year Magpie from South Australia has kicked 6 goals in 7 matches this season so far. 9 goals in his 11 matches of his career. He gets close to the man on the mark from 45 metres out. No problems for Double H. Harvey Harrison with his second. And the Pies, with a couple of goals before three-quarter time, stretch it to a 35-point lead. 11-3, 69 to the Demons, 4-10, 34. Lauren Borden on the boundary.
I'm just watching Nick Dacos run off to the bench now. He's limping away, and it looks like he might have an issue with a leg or an ankle, as it does Jake Bowie on the Melbourne bench. So Bobby Hill fell on his ankle. He's got an issue with his ankle as well, but Nick Dacos on the bench now for Collingwood.
They're doing real damage this quarter through clearance, Collingwood. 13-3 in their favour, and that was a demonstration there. Josh Dacos takes the ball in the contest, gives the little short handball out to his brother Nick with a beautiful squaring kick to Harvey Harrison, then for a goal.
Beautiful finish too, wasn't it?
Yeah, lovely.
48 metres out.
Back in the centre. Gawn laying the tap down to Oliver, who gets it onto Viney. He dribbles a kick forward. Oliver will go and pick it up. D's out of the middle. Viney towards the attacking 50. On the left, his shot. He's missing the lot. Pitching in play and tumbling out. So I'll throw in deep in the left forward pocket for the D's. Just looking at Nick Dacos, a kick, and then his right shin. So it was a left foot kick, his plant leg. Then he cops a knee right on the shin bone from Alex Neil-Bullen, so that's the issue.
Thrown back in, Cameron knocks it down to the front. Chandler races after it, can't keep it alive in the Melbourne forward line. Clayton Alders tried to lift in this third quarter. 10 disposals with Christian Petrarca having been subbed out of the match. He's had 8 hand passes and 2 kicks alongside 2 clearances. Thrown back in. Gone in front position against Cameron. Taps it down. Josh Dacos gathers down low. Hand pass towards the boundary for Quaynor. At right half back, Noble cleverly slapped it on. Gained another 5 metres. Rivers hard against the boundary. Pickett has space. He finds him just inside 50. Deep in the left forward pocket. Really something out of nothing as Rivers just kicked around his body, and Pickett was smart enough to push inside 50.
Yeah, too far to go around his body now, so he'll run out to the right, get a little bit more open side, and kick a drop punt from here.
It's a goal in this third quarter, Cozzy Pickett. 16 goals for the season so far. He starts out to the left, outside 50. Pickett fires on goal. It's left all the way. And another behind to make it 4 goals, 11-35 to the Pies, 11-3-69. Half an hour gone, third quarter on ABC Sport.
Going for that extra distance.
Yeah, 15 scoring shots to Melbourne, 14 to Collingwood, and they've kicked 2 on the full. So bad kicking like we've seen over this weekend could cost another team a game.
Darcy Moore runs to the pocket, sends a long kick that's marked by May. On the way down, goes back into the pocket for the D's, looking for Pickett. Quaynor in front of him, juggles it down, doesn't complete the mark. And saved by the bell, Collingwood. They kicked 4 goals to 2 in that third term. And the goal kickers for Collingwood, Kruger with a couple, Harvey Harrison also with a couple. And then singles to Schultz, Darcy Cameron, Billy Frampton, Finn McRae, Hoskin Elliott and Nick Dacos, who hasn't had his biggest day, has a little leg injury at the moment. Christian Petrarca subbed out of the game with a rib injury. The goal kickers for Melbourne, it's pretty simple. There's only 2 of them. 3 to Van Rooyen and 1 to Cozzy Pickett. Collingwood by 34 points at the final change.
The final match of round 13 of the AFL King's Birthday Footy on ABC Sport.
G'day, this is Becky Cole inviting you to join me each week for Saturday Night Country. For more than 30 years, we've been playing the best in Australian country music, as well as the overseas artists that you know and love. So whether it's the classic tunes that you grew up with, the best new releases, or the interviews of your favourite acts, you'll find it all on Saturday Night Country. Saturday Night Country, hear it anytime on the ABC Listen app.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Flicks a handball for Pickett. 1-2 with Langdon. Through the attacking edge of the square. Into the pocket. And Van Rooyen marks.
It's that breaking the line of Cozzy, isn't it? He needs more of that.
Need plenty more of that.
On the trot, on the way in. Van's the man for the D's today. He's got all 3 of their majors.
I've just been watching Christian Petrarca after he ran out with the team. He didn't do the warm-up. He walked straight to the bench, sat down. He's gone back into the rooms.
Through the hands of the pack, McCreary soccers it on. Falls to Frampton, snaps the goal. Instant reply for the Pies.
Just official confirmation coming from Melbourne. Christian Petrarca has been subbed out with a rib issue.
Charlie Dean looking into the pocket. In the Cameron direction, he's clunked it. Just in the field of play. Needs a little bit of left to right swing on the drop punt. The big man is highly skilled. Collingwood are in takeover mode.
Fridge, he has it at left half forward. Pickett's in the pocket. Fridge beautifully on his left, just controlled the pass. Just found Pickett in the field of play. Pickett opens up the angle, curls it towards goal and puts it through.
Great goal.
Just what Melbourne needed, a spark. And Cozzy provides it. It spills off the boot of Tom McDonald, who volleys it straight to Nick Dacos. He marks right on 50. Dacos veers out to the right, gives it everything he's got. It's close to the goal line. It might have got there. Nick Dacos with a long-range bomb. Josh Dacos gathers, shares it with brother Nick, kicks a centering ball for Harrison. Great kick. Good mark as well as Billings came late. 9 goals in his 11 matches of his career. He gets close to the man on the mark from 45 metres out. No problems for Double H. Harvey Harrison with his second.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Three-quarter time at the MCG King's Birthday Footy. A crowd of over 80,000 in attendance. It's the Pies who lead by 34 points, 11-3-69 against an inaccurate Melbourne 4-11-35. Matt Clinch and Ben Cameron calling the action. Adam Ramanauskas and Brent Harvey are your experts. Lauren Borden down on the boundary. Christian Petrarca subbed out in that third quarter, meaning Jack Billings came into the match. Nick Dacos went to the bench in that third quarter late. We'll keep an eye on that. But Rama and Boomer, can the Demons continue to fight on and come up with a final quarter comeback?
They can come back, but they can't win the game for me. They've kicked 4 for the game. They're going to have to kick 8 goals or probably 7 goals to win the game without Collingwood kicking one. And I just don't think they've taken enough risk. I would have liked halfway through that quarter they start pulling the trigger a little bit more and using the corridor. They did that with their first goal and they scored when Van Rooyen kicked the goal. Pickett done some good stuff through the corridor as well, but just for me, that they took too long. They're going to have to roll the dice right now and take some really big risks. So, Rama, this could blow out because the more risk you take, there's more risk going the other way. But if it can come off, they can certainly get themselves back into the game. I just don't think they can kick 7 goals, especially with 2 goal kickers. Pickett and Van Rooyen being their only 2 goal kickers for the day. I just think that they've left it a little bit too late, their run.
Well, it's really, how prepared are they to roll the dice?
Well, they have to be. It's lose by 80 or try to win the game. It doesn't matter, does it?
So their ball movement that quarter was better, albeit they were making some really basic handball errors through the middle of the ground where Collingwood's hands, they had active hands on defence where they were able to intercept the ball and take it their way. But clearance in that quarter, 14-4 in Collingwood's favour. And that's such a strength of Melbourne for so many years. Oliver, Viney, Sparrow, who's played minutes in there. So
Gawn giving them first use.
Yeah, Gawn even a lot of clearances at times. So, but 14-4 in that quarter that's a real smacking that the Melbourne midfielders copped. So that's where Simon Goodwin will be disappointed. The other part is really Collingwood in that quarter. I mentioned that 3 of their goals were really lucky.
Yep.
Frampton, Cameron from the boundary line, then Nick Dacos with just a kick off the ground where he was in the right place. So, yeah, look, just got to roll the dice here, Melbourne. Like Cozzy Pickett's going to start in the middle of the ground here to try to give it some life through the middle. Collingwood can't defend and try to hold this lead. They probably need 1 or 2 goals, and that should see it out.
On the SMS 0437774774. Sharon is listening on the ABC Listen Out from Paris. She says, go Pies. As the final term is underway, Cameron wins down the tap, gets it to Sullivan, kicks up towards McCreary at half forward. It clears he and Bowie. Salem tries to race into it to offer support, taps it towards the boundary. Tom McDonald gathers and eventually is taken out of play with a shove from Bo McCreary. Lauren Borden on the boundary.
Nick Dacos has started on the ground in the fourth quarter. He got a rub on his right calf/shin area. He's limping though. If you have a bit of a look at him as he's running around, he's definitely limping.
And Alan Richardson said on Channel 7, Christian Petrarca is still at the ground. He hasn't gone to hospital, is sore but okay. Will need scans on his ribs. Thrown back in. Gawn wins down the tap in defence. It comes down to Neil Bullen. Hand pass to Salem. Quick hand pass back to Neil Bullen. Kicks over the head of Billings. Racing after it. He just reels in the mark in front of Steele Sidebottom at left half back.
So they'll wait for scans on Petrarca. What he does have, Boomer and Ram, is a really uncomfortable night ahead of him, doesn't he?
Yep.
As he kicks, this is Billings around the southern wing and mopped up there by Howe for the Pies. Gives it to Noble. And he sends a kick out wide to Sidebottom.
He has an extra week too. They've got to bye next week, Benny, so that will give him a little bit of relief.
Just ruins the holiday plans. As Sidebottom runs around the boundary line, kicks inside 50. Frampton juggling, doesn't take the mark. Not impeded, out of play, thrown to come.
Be watching a drama movie tonight rather than a comedy movie. So
laughing uncomfortable.
Laughing's shocking.
Oof. You break a rib?
I tore my rib cartilage.
Oh, yeah.
What about you, Boomer?
No ribs for me. Too much muscle on the sides, mate.
Gawn slaps it down from the throw-in, picked up by Crisp. He gets it on the boot, dribbles it towards full forward. Schultz coming out, loses it in the tackle. Spits out to Hoskin Elliott. He snaps and misses. Kicked the first goal of the game. Well, Hoskin Elliott nearly added the first to the fourth, not to be. Collingwood by 35. 2 minutes played.
He's been okay, isn't he? Good inclusion, 11 possessions, 2 goals, 4 shots on goal, I think he's had.
Yeah, he's good in that first quarter. Kicked the opening goal of the game and took the big mark that created a goal for Kruger.
Yeah, they've got to go, Demons. They can't just mark the ball and go back behind the man to mark. They've got to get the ball moving.
Jack Viney from half-back, kicks up to Turner. He takes the mark in front of Darcy Moore. Has Max Gorm pushing forward. Tries to wait the kick over Cameron. Can't get it to him. Cameron spoils it down. Gathers against the boundary. Gorn lays the tackle. The ball stayed in momentarily as the two tangled up against the fence. Eventually it goes out.
It's not a good job.
Brushed themselves off to charge back to compete in the ruck battle.
Darcy Cameron done a good job. Max Gorn, 17 possessions, 5 clearances, but just hasn't had that influence around the ground.
Spoke to Rowan Marshall, the St Kilda ruck on AFL Sunday. He said Max is still the benchmark when it comes to rucks in the competition. As Viney tried to take on the tackle of Josh Dacos, and the umpire says pull it up.
Well, that goes against everything we've seen in the last fortnight.
Yep.
I was dropping the ball.
On the ball up, tap down and out after it quickly as Markov gets rid of it to Josh Dacos. Arriving the D's, Clayton Oliver then leaves it behind. Allows in Sullivan. Handball towards the boundary line, picked off by Pickett. Gives it off to Langdon. Spirals the ball towards full forward there on the last line. There's Jeremy Howe to punch it through against the old mob. Collingwood by 34. King's Birthday footy on ABC Sport. Round 13 from the MCG, the final game of the round.
Howe brings the Pies back in. The Dean, risky kick looking for Markov. Almost Turner able to spoil. But Darcy Moore provides good support as Oleg Markov bounds away from halfback. Hand pass away to Sidebottom. Works it up around the wing. Harrison has it. Shane Warne stands side. Kicks for Lipinski on the bounce trying to gather against Viney. Hand pass didn't quite get to Schultz who tries to charge in and gather. Gets a hand pass out to Harrison. Can't take it cleanly. Billings to May down low for Melbourne. Hand pass to Clayton Oliver. Back to Howes and now to Billings at left half back for the Demons. Kicks up towards Turner. Charging out Markov. Made the spoil. Laurie gathers for Melbourne. Hand pass away to Viney. Kicks a high ball up the wing. Collingwood have the numbers and Darcy Moore going back with the flight is able to take the mark in front of Daniel Turner.
Goes all the way back inside defensive 50. Straight to Maynard. He brings it members side. Mark taken by Josh Dacos. Pokes a pass for a leading McCreary just in front of the interchange gates. Collingwood in possession of the match at the moment. They lead by 34 points. Have led by as many as 35. Comes infield, back to Josh Dacos, inside 50. Frampton leading up, takes it on his chest, 49 metres out, 45-degree angle.
It's a good kick by Josh Dacos.
Yeah, it's honouring the lead, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just put it out in front, let the forward do the work.
But you go back to the Van Rooyen contest, it's 3-on-1. In that contest where Darcy Moore takes the intercept mark.
So where are those other two players, Ramo? They're trying to...
They're up at the contest.
Hadn't kicked a goal this season before today. Got lucky a little earlier. Now looking to take his moment from outside 50. Goes to the goal square. Big punch from McDonald. Launching up into the air and putting his right fist through it.
It's been a really disappointing performance by the Melbourne Football Club today. 7 goals they kicked last week, Ramo. They've kicked 4 with only 2 goal kickers right now, so not looking fantastic the last fortnight, has it?
Now we in a Tom McDonald up towards Bailey Fridge, who put the hands in the back of Markov to try to fly. Couldn't hang on to the mark or knock the ball forward for Melbourne. It goes out of play in front of Steele Sidebottom and a boundary throw in. Out right half forward for the Pies. Collingwood 11-5-71 to Melbourne 4-12-36. Matt Clich and Ben Cameron calling the action. Lauren Borden down on the boundary. Brent Harvey and Adam Romanascus with you on ABC Sport. Thrown back in. Gorn in front position. Can't take a clean position out of the ruck. Hand pass away to Neil Bullen. Gives it to Billings. Kicks up the wing, but Markov is waiting. Takes the mark on his chest for Collingwood.
Backpedaling off the mark. Points long. So often does Oleg Markov, and then just drives it in that direction. Gorn unopposed. Takes the mark wide out on the half-back flank for the D's. Kicks into the defensive 50 at centre half-back Salem. 4 goals to 2 in the third term. Away the Pies, no goals yet in this final term. Salem looks out towards the wing, off the hands of Van Rooyen, down at ground level, picking it up side bottom. Pies back in possession, handball out in front of Maynard. Spills to Harrison, gets past Van Rooyen. Clever handball infield, it opens up for Sullivan. He'll look wide out, the kick just finds Hoskin Elliott. 51 metres out, right on the boundary line.
Just taking his time to allow players to stream inside the forward 50. Frampton's the deepest target alongside Stephen May. Sends it in that direction. Bowie in from the side. Peeled off McCreary well and takes the intercepting mark. Goes short to Laurie, who marks in the left back pocket. Collingwood by 35 points. Short, put his teammate Bowie under pressure. Spills to Harrison. Would you believe it? For his third. The pressure forced the turnover. Lockie Schultz and Hoskin Elliott turn provider, and Harvey Harrison makes the most of it. Collingwood out to a game-high 41-point lead with the first goal of the final term at the 8-minute mark. 12-5-77 to the Demons, 4-12-36.
Yeah, but it's poor by Melbourne. The kick going back to Bowie was never going to be more than 15 metres. And it just put him under pressure, and then the Collingwood players just swarmed. So,
how concerned are you for Melbourne? I mean, this is a team that lost by 92 points last week. All of a sudden, they're playing a pretty threadbare Collingwood, missing many, and they're getting whacked on King's birthday.
They're losing the pressure battle. Collingwood are just applying enormous pressure, and they're also losing the ball movement battle. Collingwood just are way more efficient.
Gawn decisively with the tap from the restart. Comes to Viney, gives it back to Gawn. Sparrow, strong tackle Markov.
There's a perfect example.
Drives him into the turf.
Ball drops straight to Tom Sparrow, and there's a Collingwood player in Markov onto him instantly.
Gawn hooking it down, but it spills to Crisp. Dumps it on the left boot. Kicks Collingwood to half forward. No one's able to mark. Comes down at ground level. Chandler attacks it. Loses it in the tackle from Hill. Pies swarm, but the D's work it out. Sparrow gets it on the boot. High kick towards centre half forward. Quaynor's there. He and Moore spoil each other. It spills to Pickett. Pokes a kick to the pocket, and it is perfect for a leading Van Rooyen. 45 metres out on a 45-degree angle to the left.
So what's he got for the day? Three. To make it 4 out of 5 goals for the big forward, the big young forward as well.
How about that weighted kick?
Yeah, it's a beautiful touch, isn't it? And they haven't been able to do that for most of the day. The only other guy that really does that is Bailey Fritz. And you really want him to be on the other end of it.
Van Rooyen points the ball at the goals, as he always does. Trudges in. All in straight lines, except for the kick. He tugs that left. So Collingwood by 40, Lauren Borden.
It's Nick Dacos that's come off for Collingwood. He's basically subbed himself off in a way. He walked to the bench and just basically told Jack Bytel to come on. So it looked like it was a bit prearranged at three-quarter time. He gave it a go and then has decided to come off after having an issue with his right calf.
Thanks, Lauren. Long kick by Darcy Moore. That's a good 50 metres up to the wing on the Shane Warne stand side, where Jeremy Howe takes the mark. Howe pass away to Sidebottom. Kicks around his body up towards Bobby Hill. He marks it right half forward. And a few metres on Joe McVie to take the mark. Collingwood by 40 points. As Hill just wants to chip it over the top. Sidebottom kept running. Take it just inside the field of play. The umpire says yes, he did.
And for those playing at home, Nick Dacos, 6 kicks, 9 handballs, 15 possessions, 7 clearances, so he can be tagged. Nibble did a terrific job on him today.
Sidebottom into the pocket, looking for Kruger. It clears him, and Sparrow at the back of the pack takes the mark.
Why don't we see more of it? We've seen a little bit of a renaissance with the tagger, haven't we?
Oh, I think it's happening.
Sparrow in the back pocket. Long kick, Van Rooyen again. Plucks it out of the sky, turns and kicks forward of the wing. Howe goes up, takes it down, he pinched it from Moore. Just reminding his old club what they're missing.
Yeah, that was elementary for Jeremy Howe.
If anyone else took that is an absolute screamer. Jeremy Howe took it and you went, oh yeah, it was okay.
Yeah. Did he get higher than Steele Sidebottom today?
Nah.
Collingwood with it on the members' wing, in the hands of Josh Dacos, kicking up to half forward. McCreary the target, spoiling it. Sparrow, and then McCreary carries it out.
It was probably a cute mark, I think is the best way to describe it for Jeremy Howe.
Of course, he left the Demons to go to Collingwood, was told he was going to play forward under Nathan Buckley. Got a chance to play forward a few weeks ago and was pretty happy, I think, to go back to defence, having got injured. Cameron takes it out of the ruck, kicks inside 50, touched off the boot. Rivers is mowed to the turf by McCreary, and the umpire will ball it up. The Magpies by 40 points. Of course, the Demons only managed 49 points last week against the Dockers, so just 7 goals, 4 today. Still a fair bit of work to do to avoid their lowest score of the season. As Crisp can't break clear, and the umpire will do it once more. Another concerning part is Christian Petrarca subbed out. Broken ribs, Nick Dacos subbed out, so a couple of superstars of the game in the longest home and away season we've ever had. As Clayton Alder can't break clear, he's trying to do his bit for Melbourne. Locked up by Crisp and also Lipinski, and the umpire will ball it up in front of the 2 benches. Collingwood by 40 points.
Up it goes. Frampton there with Gawn, both with hands on it. Frampton turns tackler on Sparrow, holding the ball.
He had time.
Tackle count today, Rammer 56 to Collingwood, 43 to Melbourne. Out-tackled them as well. They've been great in the pressure area, the Pies.
Frampton with the free kick. Tries to chisel the ball into the pocket. Getting back, Rivers stands in front of the pack, punches it out. Collingwood by 40. King's birthday footy here on ABC Sport. So what's your level of concern for Melbourne, Rammer and Boom?
Scoring number 1.
Yeah.
I think we spoke about that before the game. And if Bailey Fritsch doesn't kick a 4-goal bag, they're going to look to... And he hasn't kicked a goal today. They've kicked 4.
Gawn with the tap, coming through. Oliver Rabbit to get it out to Windsor. Handball to Rivers, under pressure immediately. Threw it away, surely. Umpire lets them play. Sullivan gets the handball forward.
Yeah,
out it goes.
I also think they need a slight tweak of their defensive structure. Like teams that now are starting to cut through them, so they know just run the ball at Melbourne as quickly as you can, and you're able to score that way.
And then where the game starts, Rammer, is contested football, which they've been right off in the last little bit.
And that's the part, isn't it? Simon Goodwin spoke about them sort of losing their identity in terms of contest and defence. As Sparrow trying to break his way through, tackled by McCreary. And Jack Bytel who's coming to the action.
So the last 2 years they've been a top 4 side, gone out in straight sets on both of them. Now they're in danger of missing the 8 entirely.
The question starts to loom as to whether the Demons' golden generation, golden era, is over after just one premiership. Lipinski long to the goal mouth. He might get a coin bounce. There it goes. Oscar Elliott doing the wrestling with Stephen May at the top of the goal square, and it's able to bounce through for a goal. Pat Lipinski. A rather fortunate goal for the Magpies, his first of the afternoon, and Collingwood lead by 46 points. 13-5-83 to the Demons, 4-13-37. 2 goals to none so far in the final term.
And we spoke about throwing caution to the wind at 3-quarter time. I still haven't seen Melbourne's ball movement be anywhere near what they should be, going back through the middle. Rammer, that's probably another lucky goal to Collingwood, a little bit of bounce, but the bad luck. Now they're in the position that if Collingwood kick another 2, with still 10 minutes remaining, this is going to blow out to nearly 10 goals.
Yep. That's a big question, isn't it? For Simon Goodwin.
You go from, what did they lose
92.
by last week? 92, and then you get another 60-point loss in 2 weeks. Gee, it dents the confidence, and I know they've got the bye coming up. As a collective, they probably need it. As an individual, you hate losing and going to a bye.
And this really in prime time with the eyes of the footy world watching. Josh Dacos gives the handball to the run of Noble. He moves it on to Crisp, kicking inside 50. May hands to it, doesn't mark. Spills free inside 50 for the Pies, picking it up Salem. Handball to Rivers, gives it off towards Howes, dumps it on his right boot, floats towards the boundary line and will tumble out.
And I actually think Collingwood's forward line has worked today. Kruger's been good, Hoskin Elliott's been good, Bobby Hill's had his moments. Schultz has played his part, Harvey Harrison when he has been there, McQuarrie, we know with his pressure.
And the Pies will move into the 8 and then have North Melbourne to come and a chance at a second half assault on the season.
Jack Crisp from the stoppage gets a hand pass inside 50 for Collingwood. Schultz couldn't take it. Viney for Melbourne. Hand pass away. Working it at half back is Rivers. Up to Langdon. Wanted it back. Langdon ignores him. Drives a long kick over the head of Petty. Better suited Darcy Moore. Going in from the side. Howe couldn't take the mark. Turner gathers for Melbourne. Breaks the tackle. Hand pass to Petty. To Fridge. Hand pass inside 50 to Pickett. Hard against the boundary. Dribbles towards goal. That's a classy finish from Cozzy Pickett. He does that so well. Running towards the boundary in the right forward pocket. End over end for his second. And the Demons fans would like to see a bit more of that. Collingwood's lead back to 40 points, 13-5-83 to the Demons 5-13-43. 17 minutes gone. Final term on ABC Sport.
Well, it was a good go on. It's a classy finish from a classy player who's been pretty good today. I think he's been a winner today, Rama. I'm not sure what his possessions look like. Well, he's had a little bit of the ball for a half forward, 18 touches. 2 goals for. He's had 6 shots on goal. He's hit the post twice, I think. He's probably been a winner for Melbourne today. Starts in the centre square. Neil Bullen comes on and goes to Dacos, and he pushes forward. But he hasn't had many teammates going with him. And he's still only two goal kickers for Melbourne and 9 for the Pies.
Shots of Christian Petrarca down in the rooms getting loaded onto the, I'm not sure what you call it, the little trolley to go in the ambulances. Out of the middle go the Pies again. Lipinski, his kick will tumble into the pocket and the D's will get there through Howes. Little handball away to McDonald. Is it a gurney? I think that's more when you get wheeled into surgery, but the kick up towards the wing and free kick to Chandler. His mum was talking to him. He didn't look rapt, Christian Petrarca, but there was a little bit of a chuckle and his mum was trying to lighten his spirits.
He's in all sorts of pain, the poor fella.
Collingwood by 40 points, 18 minutes into this final term. King's Birthday footy on ABC Sport.
Salem inboard to Rivers through the middle of the MCG. Spots up Chandler. Takes the mark in front of Quaynor. Gives the hand pass back to Rivers. He's kept running. Kicks up to Cozzy Pickett. He's 60 metres from home. Fritsch leads to the pocket. He sends it out in front of him. It's not a bad kick. It's better than that. Vitale coming in late. Makes contact but wasn't facing the ball. And gives away the free kick under the slide in the left forward pocket for the Demons. Bailey Fritsch with a chance to try and kick his first. Collingwood have confirmed it's a corked calf for Nick Dacos. So they'll be a bit sore and sorry ahead of their match against North Melbourne, and they have the bye after that. The Demons head to the bye next week. So Bailey Fritsch, couple behind so far this afternoon. Out to the left. The Demons spearhead. Starts his approach, trying to cash in late. It's across the face of goal. It's a worry. 5 goals, 14. 44 to the Pies, 13-5-83. You imagine Mark Williams might have his work cut out for him this week to do some goal-kicking practice.
To hand back these. Kick doctorate if they keep going like this. As Howe takes the kick in, driving ball up to the wing. In front, Bobby Hill comes down for Noble. Picks it up for the Pies, handball errant. Stealing it for the D's is Chandler. Tumbles it inside 50. Moore's there. Gets the handball away before Pickett closes. Gives it to Noble. Kicks laterally. Josh Dacos on the half-back flank. Moves it up to the wing and Harvey Harrison. He has room to go for a run. Bounce doesn't come back to him. Langdon closes. Now he's under the pump. Can't get rid of it. Holding the ball. Picks it up Langdon and gets the handball forward away towards Max Gawn. Viney gets it on the boot under pressure. Coming through though, Howe for the Pies. Gathers the footy. The sting out of it a little bit. Lipinski down the members' wing. Misses Harrison with his handball. Out of play. Collingwood by 39 points. You'll be pleased to know, Rama. It is a gurney.
It is. Well done.
King's Birthday footy on ABC Sport. Round 13 from the MCG. The Pies are going to win and return to the 8 for the D's. Another week of soul searching.
Toss back in. Clayton Oliver tries to get the clearance. Slaps it out to Max Gawn. The Melbourne captain. Hand pass to Viney. To Neil Bullen. Centre wing members side. Sullivan. Great smother. Then ricochets out of play. Sullivan couldn't keep it in play and a boundary throw in. So the crowd posted at 84,659 fans. So the 88,000 in attendance last night alongside 84,000 today. It's a big 48 hours at the MCG. And I think that's the biggest crowd for the King's Birthday, Queen's Birthday clash at the MCG. As Windsor can't break away as Lipinski lays the tackle. Collingwood by 39 points. Shot on the monitor of Nick Dacos sitting at the back of the bench. At least he's able to smile, which is a little more than Christian Petrarca.
Got the ice on the front of the leg, which was where it looked like he was, or he received the corky. The ball up for a second time on the logo. Collingwood by 39 points. Sun is set on round 13. Smacked forward by Gawn, taken by Neil Bullen. Driving ball inside 50. Howe launching, staying down Fritsch. Loose footy bobbling around. Spills out to Fritsch. Swings on the left and snaps a goal. A goal for Bailey Fritsch after he was held goalless last week. And not even just goalless, scoreless. A sixth major for the D's, back to 33 points, 13,583. Plays 6:14.50. King's birthday footy on ABC Sport. Adam Ramanauskas, Brent Harvey.
1 goal, 3 for him as well. Rama, he had a little bit of the ball, hasn't he? 16 touches.
Been better in the second half.
He has been better in the second half, and that was just a crummy goal. Collingwood were desperate to get in the air and brought the ball to ground, and lucky little bounce there for Fritsch, who was also in that contest. And when he's on that left side, snapping around his body, he's very deadly.
Are the issues they have repairable?
Oh, yeah, because they're a good team.
Yeah, there's too many good players.
Yeah, that's right. So
There's
you
too many good players.
can repair it, but then it becomes back to a mindset of those older players if they want to conform.
Adam Ramanauskas and Brent Harvey with you on ABC Sports. Side bottom gets a hand pass forward, spills to Lipinski, 60 out, kicks to the leader, Kruger can't hang on to the mark. May makes the spoil.
Oh, no.
Lipinski gets a hand pass out to side bottom. There's a Melbourne play down in Stephen May. The kick comes to Bobby Hill. Under pressure, play on the call. Hand pass back. In the end is Spytel who loses it. Billings, the opposition sub, gathers for Melbourne. Quick 1-2 with Van Rooyen. Kicks up the wing towards Turner. He takes the mark centre wing. What have you seen of Stephen May, Rammer?
Well, I think it's an ankle. He's trying to run it off at the moment.
And he's just hobbling through the middle of the ground with the trainer. The kick comes infield to centre half forward. Gawn just smacks a handball forward. Fritsch gathers, tackled immediately. Maynard closes him down. And he's caught holding the ball. He couldn't escape the clutches of Braden Maynard. He'll get it at fullback.
Maynard read that really well. Fritsch gets the ball. He knows he's going to his left side. He knows that, so he protects the left side and just goes hard. Great tackle.
Maynard goes to the back pocket with his kick for Dean, who moves it on. In turn, short again to Jack Bytel, the sub. He'll look up towards the wing and Kruger on a searching lead. It does feel, Rammer and Boomer, like it'll be a lot of soul searching during the bye and try and have that come to Jesus moment, doesn't it?
Yep.
As the Pies through, Kruger kicks long up the wing, but Matt's gone in front.
What it allows time. Well, you don't have the pressure of playing next week, so the coaches can go to work.
Into the middle of the ground for Neil Bullen as the Collingwood chant is starting to rain out around the MCG. Windsor marks on the members' side, inside 50, Chandler on the lead, spoiled by Maynard in front with Darcy Moore offering support. And Josh Dacos gathers for Collingwood. Hand pass to Maynard at half-back. He's tackled by Chandler, gets a hand pass away to Josh Dacos, to Harrison at left half-back, kicks up the members' side, up towards McCreary. He takes a one-hander mark against Howes. In front of the Collingwood fans in the Olympic stand, he made that look easy.
But Blake Howes needed to be a lot more aggressive in that contest.
Bo McCreary veers out to the right, drives it long, Gawn's got back, sets himself in front of Kruger and Frampton. It spills off the hands of Salem. Still a chance for Collingwood. Lipinski brought down by Stephen May, so good to see he's still out there. And the umpire will ball it up 35 metres out from the Collingwood goal at the punt road end.
Umpire puts it aloft, trying to swat it down Frampton onto the boot from Gawn. High up and under. They come from everywhere. Kruger! Leaping chest mark. 40 out directly in front.
Just eyes for the ball, Boomer. Attacked it in the air. Direct opponent, Tom McDonald, was a couple of steps behind him.
He's if he kicks this, he's kicked 3 for the day. It's a great inclusion. Yeah. He's that tall target that could play alongside Brody Mychek. No problem at all.
No problem at all, yeah, correct.
Looking for a third, which would be just a cherry on top for him and for Collingwood. He comes in and pops it through. It's a King's birthday celebration for the Pies. They lead by 39 points. 14,589 plays 6:14.50. 26 and a half into the fourth. Adam Ramanauskas, Brent Harvey.
Yeah, and Boomer, it's about taking your opportunity. So he's had
Absolutely.
The 11 possessions now. He's taken 7 marks in this game and the 3 goals. So he's really taken his opportunity when he's been called up. He's had a lot of rotten luck with injury over previous seasons. But now to come in and he looks strong, he looks quick, he looks like he's still got the athleticism there. So I think his name will go on the whiteboard again next week.
His magnet will be staying there, and I'm not sure when Brody Mychek's due back, but when he is due back, and I think they'll be playing alongside each other, and that gives them that 2 tall prong attack that most teams have.
They've got Dan McStay as well. He's recovering from an ACL. Hopeful he might feature before the end of the home and away season. But they are contrasting storylines this afternoon. Jack Viney tries to knock it out for Melbourne. In the end, it's Sparrow who just hacks a kick out to the Shane Warne stand wing. Bytel taps it to his own advantage against Rivers. Rivers works him underneath. Hand pass for Melbourne. Down low for Billings. Can't get a clean hand pass away. Rivers tries to slap it forward. Josh Dacos comes charging in. Footy stuck underneath the few. The umpire's going to pay holding the ball. I assume this is a Melbourne free kick. In fact, it's a Collingwood free kick, so it's Josh Dacos' free kick, and the umpire deeming it was tucked under Sparrow.
He's been good again today, Josh, and I know he won the best and fairest last year, but so many people talk about Nick's games most weeks. He's just an incredible player that doesn't get the importance that he probably needs.
He's incredibly consistent.
Possession number 33 as he goes short around the boundary line, finds Jack Crisp. Of course, there is the Neil Danaher medal for the best player judged to field this afternoon. Inside 50 towards Frampton. Can't take the mark. Turner's locked up. And the umpire will ball it up in the right forward pocket for the Magpies. 14-5-89 to the Demons. 6-14-50. 28 minutes gone. Final term on ABC Sport.
Gone slapping it down. Straight to Lipinski. Trying to work his way through. Nowhere to go. And another ball upcoming. No, free kick in fact. Free kick will go the way of Langdon. Holding the ball. Collingwood by 39 points. As I've said, they're going to move back in the 8. Melbourne will be left languishing outside it. Kick up to the wing. Good mark from Petty. He marks on the southern side of the ground.
As Petty drives it as far as he can up towards Fritsch. Howe in from the side. Fritsch juggles the mark. Just inside 50. Out to the left. Chance to go back and kick his second of the match, and Melbourne's 7th. And potentially could be the last kick of the match.
9 possessions for Harrison Petty. No goals, no behinds.
At what stage you can see the experiment is not working.
No, I think it's run its race.
So Bailey Fritsch starts his approach outside 50, out to the left, comes in, strikes on 50 and misses to the left-hand side, a minor score. So the Pies looking to hold it together, claim a valuable 4 points, awaiting the reinforcements, while the Demons, it's falling apart as they lose 4 of the last 5. The Pies by 38 points on King's birthday.
Side by side they stick together to uphold the Magpies' name. See the barricades are shouting as all barricades should. Ships a cakewalk for the good old Collingwood.
Collingwood led by 15 points at quarter time. The D's were held goalless, managed just 4 behinds. The Pies by 27 at half time. Christian Petrarca was subbed out of the match in the third quarter with suspected broken ribs. The Pies by 34 at three-quarter time. Nick Dacos subbed out of the match. We believe it's a corky for him in front of the biggest crowd between Collingwood and Melbourne since 1964. 84,659 fans. The Pies 14-5-89 to the Demons 6-15-51.
They know how to play the game. Side by side they stick together to uphold the Magpies' name. See the barricades are shouting as all barricades should. Oh, the premiership's a cakewalk for the good old Collingwood.
The Pies get the bragging rights and the spot in the 8. They jump up to 6th spot on the AFL ladder. 7 wins, 2 losses and 2 draws. While for the Demons, at one stage, they were 6-2. They've now lost 4 of their last 5 to be 6-5. The Pies winners by 38 points, 14-5-89 to Melbourne 6-15-51. For the winners, 3 goals to Nathan Kruger and 3 goals to Harvey Harrison. 2 goals to Hoskin Elliott, individual goals to Lipinski, Schultz, Cameron, Frampton, McRae and Nick Dacos. While for the Demons, 3 goals to Jacob Van Rooyen, 2 goals to Cosy Pickett, Bailey Fritsch the other goal scorer. The questions will come quick and fast for the Demons. Adam Ramanauskas and Brent Harvey, your assessment of Collingwood's 38-point win.
Well, it was dominant from the start, wasn't it, really? They kicked 3 goals to nothing in the first quarter, set the tone for the day. Not only were they on top of the score, but I thought their pressure was far more superior than Melbourne. They just looked like they wanted it a little bit more. It's been really disappointing the last fortnight for Melbourne after losing by 92 points to Fremantle when just nobody's seen that coming. Rama spoke about the contested side of it before the game, and we know that Simon Goodwin spoke about that during the week and didn't really look like they made too much in-ground.
Well, they won contested football, but lost clearance by 10 and lost tackle by 21.
And the tackle part is the desperate part.
Let's head down for the presentation of the Neil Danaher Trophy.
To the best player on the field here today, and I'd like to invite Ben Danaher to award the Neil Danaher Trophy on behalf of Fight MND.
The winner of the Neil Danaher Trophy is Jack Crisp.
He finishes with 27 disposals, 11 contested, 6 clearances, 9 inside 50s.
Firstly, just like to say thanks to the whole Danaher family and what they've been able to do the last 10 years. Such an amazing occasion. Obviously, thanks to Demons again. Put on a wonderful show every year. And lastly, thanks to all the fans for showing up and showing their support. Really means a lot. Thank you.
Jack Crisp wins the Neil Danaher Medal for Best On Field in front of 84,659 fans. It's the biggest home and away crowd between Collingwood and Melbourne since 1964. Second highest leading possession getter on the ground behind Josh Dacos, who had 33, but he had 576 metres gained, Jack Crisp as well.
Yeah, he was a good player, wasn't he? We spoke about consistency before on a couple of players, and he's one that just keeps getting the job done very well. The Pies like the ball in his hand. He's a beautiful left foot kick. Doesn't usually waste it. Josh Dacos was another one that was probably flip a coin between the two. I thought Josh was fantastic. So it's a big win by the Pies because they're undermanned, and like we spoke about, I think it says more about Melbourne right now than it does about Collingwood. Don't take nothing away from Collingwood. Fantastic win. They've got 6-7 players that come back into this team. But Melbourne didn't have too many out that I can think of, and they need to look at that forward structure. Rama, you manage Ben Brown. Where's he at the minute? Can he slot back in? Is there something that...
He certainly can.
It was an emergency this afternoon. Yeah. So I guess the Collingwood question is, can they bank enough wins until the reinforcements arrive? We feel like they're a good enough side as the defending premiers. They've shaken their slow start and the premiership hangover, but felt like it was a crucial 4 points. They have North Melbourne next week, so outside the 8, it's just how far back you don't really want to be chasing the season. So a big win today against an opponent who they knew would be wanting to respond. And Collingwood just had more contributors in the end in front of goal and were able to take their chances.
Yeah, and you're right. Josh Dacos, Chris. I thought John Noble had an excellent game today. Lipinski, Howe was good side bottom on that wing. Maynard was good. Harvey Harrison with his 3 goals. Kruger with his 3 goals. So they had a lot of contributors today in the game. I thought Hoskin Elliott's start to the game was critical for the to the outcome of how Collingwood played. So, yep, I was looking for more of a response from Melbourne, particularly in the combative stuff of the game. To lose clearances 39 to 29 and the tackle count 69 to 48. Like they're 2 key areas of. I say combat, but that's the area where the contest is, right there. Are you prepared to go in and get the ball off a ruck tap, or are you prepared when Collingwood get the ball to go and apply enormous pressure so you force your opposition into turnover? And that's what Melbourne didn't do today. They didn't want to force Collingwood into turnover, and that put a lot of pressure on Melbourne's defenders. Stephen May, I thought, played a pretty good game, but he was having to really, really work hard on a couple of those spoils. They're a different team without Jake Lever, no doubt.
He's a big out, isn't he?
Yeah, the way they set up, it's sort of like Jeremy Howe up the other end of the ground. Collingwood are a different team without Jeremy Howe in the team because of that versatility. Like today, he plays on Bailey Fritsch. Jeremy Howe does a terrific job in that first half. Fritsch came into it in the second half, but it was all too late. Cozzy Pickett was pretty good, I thought, for Melbourne today.
He's had 6 shots on goal. He's played his part as a small forward, hasn't he?
I thought Van Rooyen was okay for periods in that game. Salem, Windsor, Rivers were okay, but
the stats says that Max Gawn dominated the game, but it certainly didn't.
No, it didn't feel like 25 possessions to Max and 9
to Cameron. Did it?
No,
Cameron hit the scoreboard with a goal, and he did a couple of really good things. So I don't think you can get sucked in by the stats on the Gawn v Cameron.
I think the one part where Melbourne's coaches will go to work is that it's the ball movement of opposition right at the moment that's costing them. So Collingwood was simply too quick and too efficient today with the ball, whereas in the past Melbourne have been able to slow teams down really quickly, and the reason they've been able to slow teams down really quickly is because they put pressure at the source. And once that pressure goes and teams are able to flick handball around and get out into the open, teams know now to run the ball at Melbourne's defence rather than kicking it long, rather than like bombing it on their forwards' heads, because Melbourne's defenders have been so good for so long.
Which I felt Collingwood, Melbourne did that up the other end of the ground. You're talking about that. I felt like they did that and played into Moore's hands, where he just could sit back, read the play, and take some marks.
So Collingwood, on the other hand, it's fantastic to get a win, particularly with some players to come back into the team, and they got North Melbourne next week now.
Melbourne next week, and they'll get quite a few of their players back.
But then you look after their bye, they've got Gold Coast, Essendon, Geelong. So
that's the test.
Yeah, that's a ton. They got Gold Coast up at Carrara there. So that's those 3 games after the bye are probably going to be critical to where they finish the season.
Mason Cox still about 5 weeks away. Jordan DeGoey with an abdomen injury, 3 weeks. Jamie Elliott is still a little while away, and Brody Myercheck 3 weeks with a hamstring. So that's sort of 4 or 5 of their first-class picks in their forward line, and obviously Scott Pennery with that bicep still a few weeks away. Tom Mitchell to come back in as well. So the Pies waiting for some of their players to come back in. Melbourne once more with the scoring shots have had more than Collingwood, but the Pies...
Isn't it amazing? You flip the scoreboard around and it's 15 goals, 6 to Melbourne. They win the game.
Yeah, 21 scoring shots to 19.
All of a sudden have won 5 of the last 6 against the Demons. Down to the Magpies rooms with Lauren Borden.
Thanks, Clinchy. They've all just rolled in fairly calmly, actually, as they come in here. Pretty packed rooms with, 85,000 out there. I feel like there's probably about a quarter of them that have come into the Collingwood rooms. It's pretty packed here, and a lot do have their blue Big Freeze beanies on them as they're waving at players, and everyone's actually got out their smartphones to film this one. So they're slowly getting into the circle here. Darcy Moore's just a few whispers to Craig McRae at the moment, actually. I'm not sure if he's trying to organise for someone to jump in to the circle, but they're having a little chat at the moment. Steele side bottom after taking his spectacular marks. Got his couple of kids. So has Bobby Hill. His little one's got the earmuffs on as well. So just to stop a little bit of that noise coming from the song that's here. But they're slowly linking up arms. Will Hoskin Elliott, one of the last ones coming in, and Darcy Moore's gradually making his way in as the captain joins the group. And we'll have a listen in.
Am I missing someone? Pat, get in here. Yeah. Side by side we stick together to uphold our magpies.
Roos here belting out that song. We'll try and get a little bit of reaction afterwards to see how they all assess the King's birthday win.
All right, thank you, Loz. We'll have to try and work out who Pat is, but when the captain says, hang on, we're missing someone, I thought, geez, that's great awareness. And he comes in with a big freeze beanie and stands alongside Darcy Moore and Jeremy Howe.
Clubs are doing that really well now, recognising others, and you saw the kids in the huddle and
Bobby Hill, I think Jack Crisp, and Jeremy Howe, all the kids in there.
Clubs are doing that well. It means I'm sure there's a story behind Pat, and it would mean the absolute world to him being involved in that.
He started the song too.
Yeah.
That's always still Sidebottom's role, isn't it? And Bobby Hill gets the votes for giving his youngster the earmuffs because they do go quiet and then belt it out.
Very smart.
Collingwood winners by 38 points at the MCG, 14-5-89 to the Demons, 6-15-51. Matt Clinch and Ben Cameron, Adam Romanascus and Brent Harvey were with you for another 24 minutes, so we'll still have plenty of time to bring through your SMSs and reactions from the Collingwood rooms, 0437 774 774. There's a lot of Collingwood fans who are keen to get in touch. Brendan from Hobart has a little taste. Does Stephen May still believe the D's are better than the Pies? So they got the bragging rights, Collingwood, this afternoon. I guess the examination is going to be around Melbourne. Without Christian Petrarca, without Jake Lever, all of a sudden the questions are now starting to come as to how reliant are they on personnel over system? And is there enough to get it back?
That's two of your very best. So, there is a critical mass of any team when they've got their very, very best out, and Petrarca and Lever are certainly two of those for Melbourne. So.
You look at the Pies' output, very even over the field. You get...
I'll cut you in there, Boomer, because I think we can go straight back to Lauren before we expand. Lauren Borden.
Thanks, Clinch. I've got Jack Crisp down here, who's just won the Neil Danaher Award for Best on Ground today. It must be a nice moment given the meaning of the day.
Oh, 100%. It's obviously a surreal occasion, and what the Danaher family's been able to do, especially over the last 10 years. It's been awesome, and it's an honour and privilege to play in this game, as it always is. Can't do what I do without the rest of the team. It's obviously a team effort to get the job done today.
And on that moment, Darcy Moore just brought in Pat, who is Craig McRae's brother-in-law. He's being diagnosed with MND. It was a nice moment to get him into the song at the end of the game just now. Can you tell us a little bit more about that and what maybe Craig McRae said during the week?
Yeah, it was obviously very special. We had him come in and his family come in yesterday to our captain's run and got up and obviously spoke about his story a little bit and how he was obviously diagnosed not long ago, and he's just talking about living his life and not sure how long he's got. So just making the most of it with his family. He did mention having a lot of beers over the weekends, and that was making the most of it. But it's such a special occasion. And we love having those stories and love having those people come inside the club.
No, it's lovely that Craig McRae did share that. And you look at the game today, there were some great goals, some great marks as well. What did you make of Steele Sidebottom just leaping up there at the top of the 50?
Yeah, I was on the bench. We all went nuts. But unfortunately, he couldn't obviously go back and finish. But good to see the old fella still got some hops in him. If he had any hops in the first place.
I'm sure there'll be some more questions from upstairs. I'll send you to our ABC Sport experts, Brent Harvey and Adam Romanascus.
Jack, well done on your performance today. It felt like to start the game, the team's energy was sky high. Was that spoken about before the game? You just looked a lot more urgent, a lot more physical, a lot more intense than Melbourne to start the game.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's been our one wood for a while there, bringing the obviously heat and pressure. And when we do that with good method, the dominoes will start kind of falling our way. We did speak about, I think it's towards the back end of the first quarter where Melbourne were getting a bit of territory and a bit of run on, that our pressure wasn't there. So it kind of works hand in hand with the way we want to play football.
And what about Nathan Kruger? 3 goals today. He's had such a stop-start career with injury, but he just looked like he fit into that forward line perfectly.
Yeah, it's so good to see. What an amazing story. I think it's been over 400 days since he played. He has known to be injury prone in times, but good to see him come in with a lot of confidence and kick a few snags to finish off.
Yeah, Jack, congratulations. Brent Harvey up here, mate. Collectively, it looked like you guys are so even over the field, and clearly you've got some stars out of your team, but when you can add Sullivan, Harrison, McRae to the team and they can just get a job done, that must fill you guys with enormous confidence, not only for the short term but certainly for the long term as well.
Yeah, definitely 100%. We've always had a next man up mentality, but we really believe that at the moment. We have been tested obviously at times, but the boys have been playing some great footy in the VFL, and then when they got the opportunity to come into AFL, they've grabbed it with 2 hands and they haven't looked back. So it's good to see them playing some good football.
And we've seen Nick Dacos just limp off towards the end of the game there. Obviously got a fairly heavy tag by Neil Bourne tonight. He's okay?
Yeah, I think he just got a couple of knocks on his foot there, so just precautionary. Get him resting up for next week. Got a 6-day break.
Jack, I don't want to tempt fate here, so I'm sort of hopping on one leg, but the game streak at the moment, 227 consecutive games, how on earth do you do it, particularly given you've got young kids and they're unbelievable germ carriers, etc.? Like, how have you done it?
Yeah, I've got a little runny nose at the moment, but we've got a good wife and like the kids are really nice. Good. Hang on, let me start that again. The wife's really good at letting me get some good rest at home with the kids. Sorry. So and Murphy's teething at the moment, so it makes it a bit challenging at times the last couple of weeks. But I'm getting plenty of support there, and then I get a lot of hands-on physical treatment with physio, osteo, and myotherapy as well to really look after the body.
Hey, Jack, it's Matt Clinch upstairs. You obviously lost to the Western Bulldogs last week, but you did have an 11-day break. Given some of the challenges you've had on the injury front, how beneficial was that to some of the older guys ahead of a bye still a couple of weeks away?
Yeah, 100% hit the nail on the head. I think obviously we got Will back. Cruz got to come in. I actually felt so fresh at our second training session. So we had 3 days off. Then I had a bit of a deload anyway. And then by the first main training, I was feeling fresh as a daisy. So I think it did the team wonders. We had played probably 3 quarters of football the last couple of weeks. So it was good to see 4 quarters today.
And the crowd felt involved in the theatre at various stages. Stephen May was being booed. Braden Maynard was being booed. We wondered sort of what impact that might have on Braden Maynard. It didn't seem to change his style too much, charging head first into contests.
Yeah, no, we love the way he plays his football. He's one of those players that are great to have in your team. You probably hate to play against. But, his heart and soul, he fights tooth and nail to scrap and try and win the ball going forward for your team.
Did you guys speak about it, whether they would come for Bruzzy and whether you'd need to look after him or be ready for it?
Nah, not at all. We just did our normal business. I had a few focus areas, what's going to work, what's not going to work, and just, make sure everyone knew their role.
And do you know whether you got any reinforcements coming back in? I mean, Jordan De Goey's still a few weeks away and Brody Myercheck as well.
Yeah, I think they're probably on the precautionary side with a few guys, and we'll wait till after the bye, so maybe not in the 6-day break anyway.
And after a slow start, do you feel like you're sort of pulling it all together as best you can?
Yeah, no, definitely. We feel like we really are. We've got back to our DNA a little bit there. We didn't start, obviously, as connected as we would like to, but we feel like we've got some good, consistent football going. We've got blokes coming in playing role. So we feel like, we're definitely going really well.
Congratulations, 6 clearances, 27 disposals, 576 metres gained and 11 contested possessions. We always appreciate your time on ABC Sport.
Thank you.
Jack Crisp, who was the Neil Danaher Trophy winner as best player judged to field in Collingwood's 38-point win over the Demons. 14-5-89 to the Demons, 6-15-51.
He's underrated. And I'm not sure how you could be underrated after...
He was a steak knives once upon a time, thrown in with the Dane Beams deal, which everyone sort of forgets, and played across half-back and now goes back into the midfield. And really, Craig McRae has been able to unleash him wherever the Magpies need him most.
It's just a nice little point of difference for them, isn't he, with his sort of speed and his ability to burst out of the middle for them.
Yeah, but it's consistent output. Yeah. It's week in, week out. I can't remember the last time he played a bad game. Like he's just, and that's testament to 200 and whatever games in a row that he's played. But you talk about preparing, and some guys go, way over the top with their preparation because they think what they do. He just sounds like he keeps it pretty simple. Yeah, I just get a bit of extra sleep, and the wife's really good to me, and
he said that
a bit of massage and all that sort of stuff. So that's not revolutionary.
No.
Whereas some guys like now, what they're trying to do to recover.
What are they doing?
I can't tell.
Wim Hof.
I can't tell.
Secrets.
Just give us a hint. What are they doing?
Salt rooms.
Really?
All sorts of things.
Floating tanks.
Yeah. Look, stay hydrated. Get 8+ hours of sleep a night.
Well, pretty easy.
Who was the Bombers boys have got involved in a recovery studio? Is that Andy McGrath?
Yeah, a lot of those recovery studios are around now where, they go into these sleep pods, and there's cryo chambers that clubs have got now where they get down to minus whatever freezing. And
what was your recovery like back in the day, Rama?
6 pots.
Yeah, there's always a couple of pots, but probably a little bit of beach, a little bit of hot and cold. But in all seriousness, what our doctors would say, because a lot of players take supplements and all that sort of stuff. The most nutrition you'll get is what you eat.
Yeah, right.
And if you eat properly, after the game, during the week, all that sort of stuff, you should be fine.
How much did it change over your career, Boomer? 96 through to 2016?
At the start, it was crazy, and there was a big drinking culture, not only at North Melbourne, but in the AFL. You'd go out on a Saturday night after a game, and you would see 5, 6, 7 players from every club that was in Melbourne, and the interstate guys that were over stay an extra night so they can have a beer somewhere as well. So that's how it was at the start. Then you'd go to the beach and do some active recovery, the next day. It wasn't huge nights. And then from there, training just changed completely, where you're at the Kangaroos now, steam room, saunas, hot and cold baths, everything you want. Recovery boots are big now, so there's all types of different things. So, I've seen the whole change in the cycle of it, which I really enjoyed.
The Magpies winners by 38 points at the MCG. Simon Goodwin would be pondering how deep to Melbourne's woes run. And we can overreact in the media, and we often hear coaches make responses. It's never as good as it seems, it's never as bad as it seems. But
this is the thing. It's you go. There's 3 ways you can go. You can go, okay, no, we've had a bad month of football, but we've just got to go. We're going to have a break. Go back to what we actually know and what we've trained for. Or you can do a couple of minor tweaks here and there, and that might be a little bit of personnel, changing position, or how you set up around clearance, how you set up behind clearance, in front of clearance. Or you can just completely throw the toys out and start again.
Yep.
Now, I don't think Melbourne are at a stage where they're completely throwing the toys out and going, we've just got to revamp the whole thing, because they're a mature team. Now, you might be able to do that if you're a younger team and it's going completely wrong, but look, Melbourne, I think their best football is still very capable in this year's competition. It's just simply the last month they really haven't put that together.
So how would Simon Goodwin use the bye, do you imagine? Because they need to freshen up, but they also need to fix what's not working.
Well, I would, Boomer. I'd take the players out of the club completely.
Well, most teams through that bye, through the AFLPA, you've got to have a mini break.
Yeah.
And that's 4 days. So I'm not sure if Melbourne's used their 2 or 3 that you get a year, or they're using it during the bye. But I'd say right now, if they've got one of those up their sleeve, they'll be saying to the boys, rightio, let's review this game maybe tomorrow, and then you'll have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, potentially Saturday off.
When do they play?
Would they say to them something like, go away and have a think about what you want to get out of the season, what you need to do? And
there's always that message. When you leave the theaterette where you watch your review, there's always, boys, we haven't been great. So go away, have a think what you need to improve on individually, what we need to work on collectively, and when we get back, take a deep breath, boys, because it's on. If we want to play finals in 2024, we need to go bang, 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 bang. And that would be the message I'd say from Simon Good. That's if they got their break. We
were running through ladder predictions and where we think teams might finish, with the Bombers losing last night. I kind of still had Melbourne and Port Adelaide as the big curiosity around. Are they top 4 sides? And today, you sort of...
No, they're not top 4 from today.
Are they a top 8 side?
Yeah. Well, but they've kicked 7 goals last week, and they kicked 6 goals. And I know they kicked 6-15, but the reality is...
They're having enough scoring shots.
But the reality is they've kicked 7 goals and 6 goals. Is it personnel? Who can you rely on?
Do you go glass half empty or glass half full there? They've kicked 6 goals, but they've had 21 scoring shots.
Yeah, exactly.
The trend is your friend. This has been feels like it's been happening for a long time, doesn't it?
Notoriously, they don't kick over 11 or 12 goals because they're so good defensively.
Yeah, they haven't needed to.
They kick 11, they kick 12, but they keep the opposition to 9, and that's okay. But when the opposition are kicking 14, and they kick straight today, the Pies, 14-5, and you've kicked 7 last week and 6 this week. So if I take you back there, Rama, to their forward line, who can you rely on every single week to hit the scoreboard? Fritsch?
Yep.
Yes. Pickett?
Yep.
Yes. Van Rooyen? Not so much. Today I thought he was the only pillar up forward that really looked like it. Right? So there's 3 maybe. Then go to the rest. Petty?
See, Neil Bullen's usually good for a goal a game.
He played a different role today, didn't he? Took him away from that.
They're trying Turner, who initially came to the club as a defender.
And I'm talking consistent.
Yeah.
Fritsch, yes, you say yes, he hits the scoreboard.
Yep.
Pickett, he'll have 4 shots, 3 shots every single week. And Van Rooyen, it was a no before today for me. He's just popped up and kicked 3 goals. But other than that, so now do they toy with the idea of bringing Ben Brown back into the forward line to have a hit-up player, because he does hit up.
Yeah.
Have a hit-up player where they can drop their eyes and kick it to him. Is there someone else in there?
Tom McDonald, does he go forward?
Does he go forward?
Does he go back?
Or Tomlinson comes back into the team?
They're the questions, aren't they? How much can they can they fix themselves, and how much do the coaches need to step in and go, you know what, this isn't working? And I just think Melbourne's forward line is so reliant on their ball movement, and when their midfield is not winning in clearances and stoppages, that's where everything else starts to come apart at the seams. And without Jake Lever there, their defence has been such a reliable part of things. But, I mean, this has been a conversation around Melbourne's key forward for a couple of seasons now. Which player can we recruit to come in? And I sort of feel like, you look at Collingwood at the other end, you know, they just need a Brody Mychek. They just need someone who can compete in the air. And Harrison Petty hasn't been that.
Yeah, and that was Nathan Kruger today.
Yep. Whether it's Tom McDonald, I don't know whether it's a confidence and a system around their delivery inside 50. But the hope was that maybe they'd play smaller in their forward line with Cozzy Pickett and Shane McAdam. But Shane McAdam had a slow start of the season and lost his spot where he went back to the VFL as well. So more questions than answers for the Demons heading into their bye.
I totally agree. I've always said for Melbourne, can they kick a big enough score to win games when it really counts?
Is there a danger that... I'm not in a rush to end this era for Melbourne.
No.
I'm not, but... well, it's back-to-back years out in straight sets, and then they're a chance of missing the finals.
Yeah, but if you say you're going to end it, how are you ending it? Like, I
don't mean blow it up, but that's not so much what I meant. I guess the question is, can they come again? And your suggestion is they will because they've got so much talent.
Well, Petrarca, Gawn, Viney.
Gawny's getting on a little bit.
He's still the best ruckman in the competition.
I agree.
He's carrying a lot on his shoulders.
Stephen May, Lever, Bailey Fritsch.
So Gawn and May are both 32 now, though.
Yeah, well, look, Gawn doesn't look like he's slowing down. Stephen May doesn't look like he's slowing down. I think if they're slowing down, I'd go, yeah, maybe you got to think about that. But I still think their best players are more than capable within the competition. So if you're talking about blowing a team up, you're thinking about trading one of those to start to rebuild through draft picks.
They can clearly regenerate on the run. It's just whether
I think that's what I'm getting at. You look at recent history of teams that have regenerated. Sydney's the perfect example. Yeah. They sort of dropped back for a year and a half, and got a lot of games into kids, and then look where they are now.
Yeah. So that might be the model if this season goes awry.
Well, clubs are starting to talk more and more about now not rebuilding.
You live in this space.
It's too hard. It's too hard to rebuild, and Boomer, he's been living this for a long time, and particularly now with Tasmania around the corner as well, and draft concessions that will potentially go there. Like, I wouldn't want to be ripping the heart out of a team and then going to a draft and trying to do that now.
It's hard to imagine that they would with, Clayton Oliver clearly had a disrupted off-season, but he's 26. He's already a four-time club best and fairest. Christian Petrarca, 28, and we know players are peaking later now, which, I did say that Max Gawn and Stephen May are 32, so that's only 4 years. But and then they've got Jack Viney in there as well. So it feels like there's still a bit in there, but it's just what does it look like moving forward, and how do they handle it if they miss the finals?
It's probably your next group that you've got to look at. Like, who's going to be the next superstar of Melbourne?
Yep. And definitely there's been some conversations with the retirement of Angus Brayshaw, Harms moving to the Western Bulldogs, Dunstan no longer at the club, that some of their depth.
The Brayshaw one certainly hurts.
And at the moment, Melbourne has some challenges.
James Jordan.
They lost
him as well.
He's been a good player.
Who's just gone to Sydney and played the system and played his role, which they probably missed someone like that today.
The 3-2-1 for the ABC Footballer of the Year. Chris Fagan spoke on ABC AFL Saturday and spoke about long-term contracts, and that maybe the AFL might have to look at mandating that while the market requires long-term deals to keep your best talent. He wondered whether it was in the best interest of the game. Paul Roos was stronger than that. He said that on the ABC AFL Daily podcast that it was the player managers who were driving the market, and the fact that
people like Rammer.
That's basically the player managers were able to hold clubs that if they want to keep their players, they have to pay the terms. What's sort of the response of the industry as someone who works in this?
Well, a player is only worth what somebody's prepared to offer.
That's everything in life.
But if a club turns around and says, well, we're prepared to give you 6, 7, 8 years. I think there's an 8-year contract somewhere.
Which was kind of the point that Fagan was making. He was like, we really want to keep Hugh McCluggage, so the market drives up. If we don't give him the 7 years, St Kilda will, or someone will.
And you're talking,
so we have to.
You talk, like, say McCluggage, for example, if if Brisbane only wanted to give him 4 years, but someone's prepared to give him 7 years, you're talking probably $2.5 million difference in a contract.
And you're talking, you could potentially run into a contest next week, hit your head, and you might never play again. Such is the concussion situation. Aaron Norton has that 8-year deal.
Yeah. So it's not necessarily player managers that are driving up. Like clubs that the player is at, they want to know what the market is offering. Now, it's up to them if they're prepared to go to that level or not. Then it's up to the player whether he wants to, if the club they're at wants to give less years and less dollars, it's up to the player whether he wants to stay there.
And I guess the Sydney Swans are probably the example at the moment with Will Hayward was offered long-term deals and he decided to stay at
That's right.
the Sydney Swans. Errol Goulden was supposedly offered this Godfather's figure of a 10-year deal at the Adelaide Crows, decided to stay.
That's why your culture at a football club is so important.
It did make me laugh when Brad Scott said he's a free market capitalist, so he's happy for the market to work as it should.
Who's got the votes this afternoon? So
yes.
I can ask you, Rama. Dustin Martin plays his 300th game this week against the Hawks at the MCG. It is a subscription game, so coverage on the ABC Listen app and on ABC Radio. If you don't have access to that, probably won't do any media this week. Should the AFL force him?
I think, and I hope he'll do something with the club at least.
I don't think so.
He has to do something on their club website.
Look, I hope he does.
So he might speak to the fans after the game.
We don't hear enough from him, obviously, and why he doesn't want to do that, whether he's shy or not interested. That's his prerogative. But
is there an obligation?
There isn't the CBA.
Yeah.
So would the AFL consider fining one of their biggest stars to make a statement?
Probably not.
And would you achieve anything by doing it?
No, I don't think.
I think you'd get more pushback on why you're doing that to one of your all-time great players.
Yet in the NBA or the NFL, they'd have no problem sending the statement.
But I would hope at a minimum he does something for the website and Richmond can then use that on their socials, whether Matthew Richardson interviews him or Jack Riewoldt interviews him.
I think all those questions have been asked. Yeah. Matthew Richardson, Jack Riewoldt, Trent Cotchin, and for the moment he said, no, thank you. I'll happily just play the game and maybe speak to the crowd if we win. Which, again, if they don't win, Hawthorn are playing some pretty good footy. Maybe we don't hear from him at all, which adds to the mystery and intrigue about...
Look, Buddy Franklin never did a press conference when he retired.
No, a lot of people were disappointed with that.
I would be I would love to hear more from Dustin Martin. I think everybody would, but it's hard. If they don't want to do it, it's sort of... The only way around it is to fine him, but I don't think... Do we really want to do that?
The votes for the ABC Football of the Year. Brent Harvey.
Okay, we went with one vote for John Noble, 24 possessions, but went at 93% kicking efficiency. His rebound off halfback was super important. 2 votes, we went with Josh Dacos, 34 possessions, 6 clearances, one of the better players on the ground, and we agree with Jack Crisp, who won the medal today. 27 touches, 576 metres gained, 8 handball receives, 9 inside 50s. Outstanding, very well-deserved winner of the medal and our 3 votes today.
Jack Crisp gets the 3 votes in the ABC Footballer of the Year as we bring down the curtain on round 13 of the AFL. Round 14 gets underway on Friday night. The Brisbane Lions taking on the Saints.
Where is that? Is that at the Gabba?
That's at the Gabba.
Okay.
Not quite as glamorous.
I wonder if they just turned the corner, the Lions. When was it? Friday night?
They have, Rama. That's my tip.
The third week of the bye. So, of course, we have less matches with 6 clubs having the weekend off. Thanks very much to everyone involved. Rama and Boomer, great to have you.
Involved.
Well called, boys.
Thank you to Ben Cameron, to Lauren Borden down in the rooms, to Stuart Hollywood Baker behind the buttons, and to Mitch Turner back in the studio. What an occasion it was. Big Freeze 10, a crowd of 84,659. The biggest home and away crowd between Collingwood and Melbourne since 1964. It's the Magpies who take their spot in the 8 and the bragging rights. The Pies winners by 38 points. Thanks for your company. We'll chat to you again next week as the AFL continues on ABC Sport.